Hello, everyone. I trust that everyone is doing well. I would like to extend a warm welcome to the channel. This story explores the possibility of Naruto being a genius born from the Uchiha and Senju trees. So, this is part 1 story. If you want to listen to the next one of this story, please complete 100 likes on this channel. Now, without further delay, let's dive into the video. Prologue. The Uchiha Boy location. Village hidden in the leaves, Konohagakure no Sado, Country of Fire. The village hidden in the leaves, one of the most powerful ninja villages on the elemental continent, if not the most powerful, is renowned for giving birth to many great shinobi. This great village is also feared for its victory in the 3 great wars. Ninjas that plagued the world, and even though all the big shinobi villages ended up weakened after the wars, Konoha is the only village that stayed strong, even if it had more villages against it. This village is surrounded by a great wall that serves to protect it. Within the walls of Konoha, civilians live happily, people without the position of shinobi, who dedicate themselves to living their lives normally, without any type of agitation or change, creating a business, sell something, or just be there. But Konoha is a shinobi village, not just any shinobi village, but the most powerful one. Within this village are the people who are dedicated to protecting it, and those who live there, the ninjas, people who have gained the ability to manage chakra and with the help of it, are able to practice the shinobi branches. Just as there are common ninjas, there are also ninja clans. Generally they are families that have a special ability, and this is passed from generation to generation through their blood. Uchiha and Senju, founding clans of Konoha, but that is another matter. History. After these 2 clans created the Leaf Village, many more clans joined it, such as the Hyuga, Yamanaka, Akimichi, Nara, Aburam, and Yuzuka clans, among others. But, I think that was enough information. You are not reading this to learn about the village, but to learn about our protagonist. To know about him, we have to look at a small, but beautiful event that is happening within the village at this moment. Location. Konoha Hospital. In a room at the Konoha Hospital, there was a woman with long, straight hair, black with small touches of blue. Her eyes were really dark black color, it almost seemed like you could get lost in them and never come out. Her skin was a really light skin color, with a pale complexion, but not that pale. But well, the important thing is that this woman found herself in a situation. A situation in which appearance was the least important thing. She was giving birth. She was going to bring her second child into the world. For a strange reason, her husband was not at her side to support her. But that doesn't matter now, please, Atomi-sama. Bit a little more, said a nurse who was helping in the delivery. And what do you think I'm doing? The one already known as Atomi said in a very loud tone of voice that even though she was normally very Cortez, she believed that now was not the time to be a little girl educated. After a while of pain and screaming, a small cry was heard in the room. Doctor. It's a male. Atomi lays down on the hospital stretcher for a moment. She was really tired. How she hated the feeling of putting so much force on her belly, but it's worth it to bring her little angel into the world. The nurses quickly picked up the baby to clean him and give him to her mother. The process was quick. The nurses picked up the baby who was still crying. They took him to her mother, who took him in tenderly. Hello Naruto, it's me, your mommy, your dear mommy. You're finally here with me, and although you've only been in this world for a short time, I already love you more than anything, Atomi whispered to her baby's little ears. Who, upon hearing his mother's soft voice, calmed down and for the first time opened his little eyes, black as coal. However, they seemed to have some shine, in addition to the fact that his hair was also black and his skin was pale, not as pale as her mother. Oh, I want Shisui to see you. He will be so happy to see you, Atomi said, remembering her other son. Outside the hospital room, there was a small boy, no more than 8 years old, with light skin, black eyes and messy black hair, like his father, although he also had a lot of his mother. The Uchiha's genes are indeed strong. After all. The boy looked nervous, biting his fingernails and walking from one place to another. He had learned to control his emotions, however, this time he couldn't contain them. His little brother was about to arrive. He was so excited, he wanted to teach his little brother so many things. He knew he had to wait for that, but he didn't care. He had already waited 9 months, he can last a few more years. Shisui was taken out of his thoughts when his keen sense of hearing picked up a small cry inside the room. Although it was a cry, it sounded so tender and adorable. He knew whose cry it was. Shisui Uchiha. Called a nurse, opening the door. Here. An almost choked voice shouted. The nurse just smiled when she saw how excited the child was and told him. You can come in, your little brother was just born. The nurse was surprised when she saw that Shisui was no longer standing in front of her. She turned around and found a Shisui next to her mother, seeing a small figure between some blankets that her mother was carrying. Is he? Shisui asked, trying to stretch his neck as much as he could to see the small figure between the blankets. His mother gave a little for his attitude. I was really very excited, Atomi thought as she responded with a simple yes. The woman tilted her position a little, showing the face of the little boy, who by chance was awake, perhaps experiencing the sensation of feeling alive. The little boy directed his gaze to the boy next to him. Shisui smiled. His little brother seemed to look at him with a bit of curiosity and interest, until something happened that he didn't think would happen. The little boy somehow managed to free himself from the blankets he was in and stretched his little arms towards him. Making him understand that he wanted him to carry him. "Hello little one," Shisui said as he carried him and extended one of his fingers. The little one took the finger with his little hands and began to pull his finger. "I'm your Nai-san, Shisui." He drinks only laughs in response. "I will be the best brother for you, I'll tell you the truth," said Shisui, while he watched lovingly as the baby began to fall asleep. Shisui's soul returned the baby to his mother's arms once he fell asleep. After that, Itomi was discharged and she and her 2 children were able to return to the Uchiha clan compound. 2 months later. It was a very quiet night, more than normal. Outside the village the 4th Hokage was in a cave. Next to him on a stretcher was his beautiful wife Kushina Uzumaki, a light-skinned redhead with grayish-purple eyes. She was in the same situation as our protagonist's mother 2 months ago, however, she was giving birth to 2 children. "Minato, I swear that if you make me pregnant again I will break every bone in your body," the Uzumaki shouted at the top of her lungs while she was trying to give birth to her twins. Minato paled at what his wife said, he just nodded nervously. A while passed until a small cry was heard from a child, red-haired like his mother, however, he had his father's blue eyes, in addition to the spiky hair, which is also his father's. After a while of nothing. Another baby was born, a girl, with yellow hair like her father's, however, straight like her mother's, and deep and captivating purple eyes. Nawako Saratobi, wife of the Sandaime Hokage, 3rd Hokage, was in charge of bringing children into the world. However, you will wonder why Kushina is giving birth in a cave. Kushina is the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, the 9-tailed demon fox, because it is retained by a seal inside Kushina. Greater protection is needed at the time of childbirth, because right at that moment the seal weakens, which results in the beast inside her being at greater risk of escaping, and to prevent anyone from facilitating the escape in any way. They were in a cave outside the village surrounded by Anbu with the order not to let anyone pass. Minato and Kushina were in joy, their 2 children had just been born. Minato. What will we call them? Kushina-chan. Kushina. I've been thinking about that. The boy will be called Menma and the girl will be called Mido. Nawako. They are nice names, but it's time for you to see your babies. Just when Nawako was going to hand the babies to Kushina, a vortex appeared that seemed to make space twist. From there a masked man came out dressed in a completely black cape with a hood. He quickly cut Nawako's neck with a kunai and picked it up. At the babies, pointing the same kunai at them. Masked. Listen carefully Yondaime, stay away from the Jinchuriki. Or I will kill your beloved children. Minato. Hey wait, calm down a little, he said it cautiously, his newborn children were in danger. Masked man. Speak for yourself Yondaime. I am completely calm, said the masked man with a sinister, but a little playful voice. The masked man proceeded to throw Minato's children into the air, at which point Minato lived up to his name as the yellow lightning bolt of Konoha Hiraishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God Jutsu, Flash. Minato disappeared in a yellow flash and appeared on the wall with his children in hand. He looked towards where Kushina should be, however, she was no longer there, neither was the masked man. He looked at his children and realized that in the blankets that sheltered them, there were explosive seals that were active. He quickly removed the blankets from his children and flash. Minato appeared outside the cave next to one of his Hiraishin kunai, which he had teleported to escape the explosion caused by the bomb seals. Minato looked around and realized that the Anbu guarding the entrance to the cave were fainted, some dead. In another place, you could see a chained Kushina, from whom the Bijuu inside her was being extracted, because the seal could not be reinforced in time after giving birth. This was much easier for the masked man. After all the Bijuu's chakra was extracted came the easiest part of his plan. Masked man. It's time to destroy everything, Kyuubi. Kuchius, Kyuubi no Yoko. From the entrance of the village, a giant cloud of smoke was seen. From it, 9 orange tails swung, then, a shock wave dispersed the smoke, a tremendous roar was heard, which spread another shock wave. The Kyuubi was in the middle of the village. The masked man, from a hole in his mask, revealed a red eye with 3 tomos rotating aggressively around the pupil. He looked directly into the red eyes with black slit pupils of the Kyuubi. Suddenly, the Kyuubi's eyes took the same shape as the masked man's eye, and he began to attack the village. Several shinobi tried to stop him, but even if all the shinobi of the village united, they could never match the destructive power of the most powerful beast in the world. Not even the previous 8 fused-tailed beasts can match its power. Minato watched a Kyuubi appear in the village. A leaf began to fall from a tree. He looked tenderly at his children. He was the Hokage. He would have to fight the Kyuubi and save his wife, who, if it weren't for the Uzumaki genes, she wouldn't still be alive. Before the blade fell to the ground flash. Minato was no longer in the clearing. From here everything is as in the original story until the moment of sealing. Minato was at the decisive point of the battle. He had defeated the masked man, who used a very strange jutsu that allowed him to become intangible and send things to another dimension. However, he was no match for the level 2 Hiraishin. Now he was in front of the Kyuubi, who was subdued by Kushina's diamond chains. Who was surprisingly alive and with the strength to hold the Kyuubi with her chains, which are almost indestructible and drain chakra, and of course, also that of Ibiju. Minato was determined to use a Kijutsu, forbidden technique, to seal the Kyuubi again, this time on his 2 children. Specifically he would use the Grim Reaper's cursed seal, which would allow him to seal the Kyuubi, but at a cost, his soul. It is at that moment when the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, arrived and told Minato Sarutobi. Minato, wait. I'll make the Reaper's seal. Minato. But what does Sarutobi-sama say? You shouldn't do it, after all I am the current Hokage, it is my duty to give my life for the village. Sarutobi. Minato, unlike me, you are a young man, plus you now have a family to take care of. I am already old, and I have been Hokage for more than 50 years. You are just beginning to live your dream. I can't let you take it away from you. Besides, I want to see my beloved wife who is now in heaven. Please don't insist and let me do this to me, will you? Minato. It's okay Sarutobi-sama, he said it with his eyes a little crystalline. Thank you for your sacrifice. Sarutobi just smiled and started making hand seals at high speed. Snake, boar, ram, hare, dog, rat, bird, horse, snake. I high-five and exclaim. Shiki Fujin. Location. Uchiha Complex, a few minutes before the release of the Kyuubi. Shisui. Exclaimed Itomi, who was in the kitchen. Can you please put Naruto down? Shisui came down with Naruto in his arms. Mira out Oto, younger brother, it looks like dinner is ready. Shisui said. Little Naruto nodded his head, as if he understood what was happening. Mother, look what he was teaching little Naruto. Shisui placed Naruto on the ground while he snatched a bottle from his mother's hands and then placed it a few meters in front of Naruto. Little Naruto stared at the bottle under the watchful eye of his mother, who seemed confused. Then Naruto's little stomach growled, indicating that he was hungry. Naruto looked at Shisui, who nodded, and then Naruto looked at the bottle and began to crawling towards him. When he reached it, he grabbed the bottle and started drinking the milk that was there. Itomi opened her eyes a little. Was it serious? 2 months old and she's already crawling. Itomi looked at Shisui, who smiled proudly. So you taught him to crawl? Itomi asked, looking at her eldest son, who nodded. Yeah. Shisui said proudly, I read in a book that babies take 7 months to crawl, so I wanted to try Naruto. I put him on the floor and stood in front of him. 1 minute later, he found a way to get into that position and started crawling. So you didn't teach him, he learned on his own, Itomi said, looking at Naruto, who finished his bottle and started to finger. Shisui thought about what his mother said and she was right, she didn't really teach him, so he became a little crestfallen. His mother laughed about it until Ruoer. The thunderous roar of the Kyuubi was heard. Huh? And that? Asked Shisui, who looked out the window of her house while his mother picked up Naruto. At that, Shisui opens his eyes wide as he sees a giant fox with 9 tails destroying the village from afar. Itomi looked out the window and saw the Kyuubi destroying the village. She quickly wrapped Naruto in a blanket and then placed it in Shisui as if it were a bag, where in the front was a small Naruto, who began to sob a little. Because of the loud noise. Shisui, his mother called, I need you to take Naruto to the Uchiha shelter. I'll go later, I'll go see the head of the clan to see what we do. Shisui nodded without hesitation. His mother was a formidable kunoichi. He knew that she was going to be fine. In the meantime, he had to take Naruto to the Uchiha safe zone, the shelter. Shisui was jumping from roof to roof with a small Naruto in a small improvised bag created by his mother. Due to the shock waves that the Kyuubi created, some buildings collapsed, as well as the roofs. He jumped onto the street. When the roof he was on collapsed, he saw a large row of rubble in front of him. He tried to find another way, but it would only make the journey slower, so he had no other option. He had been working on this new technique before his mother announced to Naruto. She started a small sequence of seals and said. Ram, monkey, rat. Shunshin no jutsu. Body flicker technique. Shisui's body began to blink, and like magic, he appeared on the other side of the row of rubble that blocked the path. As they passed the rubble, a large wall of dust rose, the result of the 4th Hokage's summons falling on top of the 9-tailed beast, causing another small shock wave. It covered his and Naruto's eyes and jumped high towards another roof. In the distance he could see a little boy saving another girl from being crushed. The boy looked about 2 years younger than him. He knew him. He was the proclaimed Uchiha prodigy after him, Itachi Uchiha, son of Fugaku Uchiha, leader of the clan, and his wife Mikoto Uchiha. The girl that he had only seen a couple of times in the clan was Izumi Uchiha, one more member. At that moment he had an idea, so he approached the two boys. As he approached a little further, he could see that Itachi was carrying a bag like his, well, two bags like his, in which he could see two babies who were crying. Fortunately, Naruto had fallen asleep strangely, perhaps because of the milk. Hey. Guys. Shisui shouted, capturing the attention of the two boys. Itachi. I think I know you are Shisui, the Uchiha prodigy, Itachi said in a monotone voice. Shisui. I didn't know he was famous, Shisui said, rubbing his head, but that's not the important thing. You're heading to the shelter, right? Asked. The two boys just nodded. Well, I have an idea to get there quickly, but I need you to trust me, okay? The two boys nodded. After all, there is not much they can do. Shisui touched the shoulders of the two boys and said, Shunshin no jutsu. Shisui, Itachi and Izumi appeared in front of a door, which seemed to lead to an underground room. When they went down, they were surprised to find that their mothers were there. Mother. Shisui said when he saw his mother there, at his side a woman with long black hair, two bangs that framed her face and black eyes, clear signs of the Uchiha clan. She was Uchiha Mikoto, mother of Itachi, and apparently also mother of the two boys that Itachi carried with him. The boys approached their mothers, Izumi separated to see hers location. Outskirts of Konoha Shiki Fujin. The feeling of coldness and heaviness filled the air as the Shinigami appeared behind Hiruzen like a spectral figure. Shinigami. What do you wish for, mortal? He asked with some annoyance. He didn't like mortals calling him for his nonsense. Hiruzen. Please Shinigami-sama, I want you to seal half of the Kyuubi's chakra in one of those children you see on the altar, and the other half in the other child, please Shinigami. You know the price, right? Hiruzen. Yes. He responded resignedly. The Shinigami extended his arm which crossed Hiruzen's stomach as if it were a ghost, who did not feel any pain. The Shinigami stretched his arm until he touched the Kyuubi. After touching it he withdrew his arm, also removing a blue mass in the shape of a nine-tailed fox, which he introduced into Menma. The Kyuubi reduced its size considerably. Then the Shinigami tore out the other half of the Kyuubi's chakra, introducing it into myth. The two twins were formed a seal of 8 trigrams, in which the Kyuubi was sealed again. The Shinigami picked up his arm, and when he took it out of Hiruzen, he also picked up his soul. The Shinigami disappeared with a sinister smile. Since he had claimed a new soul, Hiruzen's lifeless body fell with a dull thud to the ground while Minato grabbed him. Fortunately, Kushina was still alive, just passed out. The next day. An Itomi and a Shisui were leaving the shelter of the Uchiha clan, along with a Mikoto and an Itachi. Shiusi and Itachi were still carrying their little brothers. Naruto lay awake, but calm, while Itachi's brothers were still asleep. Mikoto. Itachi, please stay here with Shisui until me and his mom come back, okay? Let's go to a clan meeting. Itomi. Take care, Shisui, okay? The two boys just nodded. At that moment they feel that someone is approaching them. It is Izumi, who strangely comes with a smile. Izumi. Hello guys. Shisui and Itachi. Hello. Izumi. And those faces. Itachi. Have you already forgotten what happened yesterday? Izumi. No, but I think it's better to forget it. Shisui. I think she's right, yesterday was a pretty bad event that I honestly don't want to remember. Itachi just nodded. Izumi. Hey, Itachi, are they your little sisters? Itachi. Little sister and little brother, Itachi said, looking at his little brothers, who had already woken up. Itachi showed his little brothers, a boy with hair slightly pulled back that ended like a small duck tarsier, while the girl had black hair that curiously also ended in 2 strands that resembled a duck's butt. Izumi. How cute. Can I charge them? Itachi. No, Izumi. Why? Itachi. They're going to start crying. Izumi. I don't think they're going to cry, are they, little one? She said, picking up the boy whose name was Sasuke, who immediately began to cry. Izumi, embarrassed, returned him and tried to pick up the girl, whose name was Kiyomi, but when he tried to touch her, she began to cry too. Shisui. Wow, Izumi. Okay, I officially give up. Izumi remained crestfallen until she looked at Shisui, who was playing with his little brother Naruto. Izumi. Shisui, is that your brother? Said somewhat hopeful Shisui. Yes, he is my Odo. Izumi. Can I charge it? Shisui. Sure. Izumi carried Naruto, who looked at her with curiosity. Izumi brought him her finger. Naruto took it with his little hands and started shaking it while laughing. Izumi. How cute. The girl cooed as she looked at Naruto. Itachi. Hey Shisui, do you think that when they grow up they will become friends? Shisui. I'll be honest with you, I think so. As you can see, Naruto is somewhat sociable being so small. I have no doubt that he would give his life if he became a shinobi. Itachi. Yes, maybe Shisui. Maybe 5 years after the Kyuubi attack. Location. Village hidden in the leaves, Konohagakure no Sado, Country of Fire. 5 years have passed since the terrible event, the moment in which the nine-tailed demon fox attacked Konoha. This event marked the lives of many people because they lost loved ones, family, friends, partners, well you know, beloved. Beyond Aim's children, at first, were greeted with hatred and fear, however, after Minato himself cleared the poor dwarf minds of the civilians, he explained to them that the Kyuubi was actually being kept in line by his two children, and that they should be recognized as heroes, and of course, the civilians changed sides and began to praise the little children. It was even announced throughout the village when these two took their first steps how exaggerated the civilians were, but for them, praising them was the least they could do for their heroes. Some other things have happened in these 5 years, one of those is the tension between the proud Uchiha clan and the village in general. Apparently, a person, possibly someone with high command in Konoha, gave the order to the Uchiha not to help in the attack of the Kyuubi. They obeyed, a serious mistake. After the Kyuubi was defeated, it was revealed that it was being controlled with a Sharingan. Bloodline of the Uchiha clan, as expected, suspicions fell on said clan. Little by little, the Uchiha clan was losing power in the village, thanks to the influence of the civilians who were on the Konoha council. The Uchiha clan compound was moved to a place a little away from Konoha due to suspicions about the Uchiha clan. The clan members did not like this, however, it is not like they could do much. But let's leave this aside, how about we go with our protagonist location? Uchiha clan compound, Konohagakure no Sado. The little Naruto was running through the streets of the Uchiha compound. For his age, he seemed to be a little fast. He had a small smile adorning his face. That small smile overflowed with emotion. Shisui had called him to a training camp. Naruto he had asked him to please start training him in the shinobi areas. To be honest, Shisui was waiting for Naruto to ask him that, so he responded affirmatively to his little brother. His mother replied this, until he remembered that Shisui he also started his training at that age. He gave them permission, but obviously told them to be careful. Naruto unfortunately had to wait a few more weeks because Shisui had missions that he had to complete. After all, Shisui was 13 years old and he was already a jounin, so missions abound. However, today he had the day off so he could train his little brother. Shisui was in a forest clearing. That was the place where he had summoned Naruto. After all, he had already taken him there. In that place he trained with his best friend, Itachi, who turned out to be someone very good despite his young age. Itachi was currently a chunin. However, Shisui had a sneaking suspicion that the Anbu program had its sights on him. He was brought out of his thoughts when the footsteps of a small child were heard. Naruto. Nai-san. I'm here, Naruto shouted as he entered the training field. Shisui. Oh, but it's my little Odo, are you ready for your training? Naruto. Of course. He said while giving a big smile. Shisui. Okay, today I plan to teach you two things. The first of all will be the art of kunai and shuriken, known as shuriken jutsu, and the other thing is a surprise, right? Naruto. Okay. Shisui. Well, here he said as he handed him a single kunai. Be careful, do you want that thing? Mom will scold me if anything happens to you. Naruto. Don't worry Nai-san, for now I'm not going to try anything as long as you don't teach me how. Shisui. Okay, look carefully. Naruto looked carefully at Shisui, who picked up a kunai. He threw the kunai at high speed, and it hit the center of a target that was in a tree a few meters away from him. Naruto looked at the kunai in amazement. It only took him I try to hit the center. Shisui. The secret is that you must set your target very well, then to throw the kunai, you bend your wrist a little, and when you release it, you give a small impulse with which the kunai will gain speed. You will practice this until you can hit it. Why, it is fine. Shisui couldn't finish when he saw that Naruto stopped paying attention to him and grabbed the handle of the kunai. He moved his arm back and bent his wrist so that the kunai went from having the tip turned backwards to having it turned forwards. He gave a small impulse and released the kunai. The air whistled due to the speed at which the kunai was going. Until it hit right in the center of a target that was in front of Naruto. Shisui took in what just happened. His little brother had just thrown his first kunai and it hit the target. He only managed to let his jaw drop and his eyes widen. Naruto. Nai-san, I think I made it, said Naruto looking directly at Shisui, who still hadn't come out of his trance. Shisui. Do it again, please, Shisui said with a really serious voice. Naruto was a little intimidated by the voice, but he obeyed. He removed the kunai that he had hit from the target. He placed himself in the previous position and did the same procedure to throw the kunai, which was again inserted into the center of the target. Naruto. Nai-san. Naruto asked. Shisui was not moving at all. She was really scaring him. Shisui was looking at him seriously. Shisui's serious look changed to one of happiness, and he hugged his little brother while shedding an I'm-style tears as he said. Shisui. My Odo, my little Odo, you are a prodigy. Or am I crazy? He asked himself. Naruto. Nai-san, you're squeezing me, he said while trying to get away from Shisui's bear hug. Shisui. Okay he said as he released it. This time we are going to try with shuriken, but I am going to test you, so this time you will do it without explanation, understood? Naruto just nodded his head and grabbed a shuriken that his brother offered him. Naruto obviously noticed that the shape of the shuriken was different, so he cleverly thought. Naruto thought. The shape of the shuriken is different from that of the kunai, this time there is no handle to grab to throw, however, I don't think the throwing process is that different, however, the way of holding it must be different. Shisui watched with satisfaction as his brother went on to grab the shuriken with two of his fingers, the middle and the index to be exact, he watched carefully as his brothers moved his arm backwards. Naruto, thoughts. I already have the grip, now the throw, I guess I have to throw it with force, but this time, I will bend my fingers a little to add rotation to the shuriken and keep it in the air, in addition, I will move my arm straight in a horizontal line, and just when my arm is almost straight I will throw the shuriken, we'll see what happens, the little Uchiha said in his mind. He doesn't know the great logic he makes in his mind, Shisui watched impressed as the shuriken flew rotating until it crashed into the center of the target with a thud. Shisui. Bravo. You really do it very well. Naruto smiled at his brother's praise, Naruto admired Shisui, Shisui was talented and invented a jutsu that the entire village used, the ninjas of course, Shisui was named by his own nickname, Shisui of the flickering body, also with at only 13 years old, he was already superior to most of the jounins in the village, so receiving praise from his brother made him feel very good. Naruto continued throwing shuriken and kunai for almost half the day, to the point where Naruto seemed to make no effort to throw the kunai and shuriken, it was time for the surprise lesson. Shisui. Alright Naruto, that's enough, it's time for your surprise lesson. Naruto approached Shisui with his eyes shining with excitement, he really wanted to know what his Nai-san would teach him. Shisui. Naruto, I'm going to teach you how to awaken your chakra, he said with a somewhat serious look. Naruto. I jumped with excitement, knowing that I was finally going to learn to use chakra. Shisui. Naruto, I must tell you something, you are going to learn to use chakra, but you must understand something, from now on you will follow the path of the shinobi, so you must be prepared, I know that you are very small, and that you will hardly understand what you are told. I will say, but Shisui kneels, grabbing Naruto's small shoulders. Look out Odo, you may see shinobi as great people, but you must understand something, we shinobi see ourselves as being prepared for everything, for the loss of a being. Here, to sacrifice your own pride, to sacrifice what you love most for the good of the village, but I want you to never forget something, no matter how much you have to forget and feel bad things, never forget that there will be people by your side, and that if they are no longer there, they will never stop taking care of you elsewhere. Naruto, use your skills for good. Today I have seen what you are capable of doing, you can do great things, be someone great Naruto, but protect the people you swear by. To do it, don't try to live so wisely, without falsehoods or fears, you will end up hating yourself, I hope you are ready, after all I trusted you, surprise those who were born yesterday, share with those of today, and an example for those of tomorrow, do you understand? Naruto was completely shocked by that, really, Shisui wasn't usually this serious, Naruto didn't know what to do, Shisui told him that he trusted him a lot, and that he believed that he could do great things, Naruto started to shed a few small tears. Shisui. Are you crying? I asked worried. Naruto. No yes Shisui just gave a small smile at that. Shisui. Okay, it's time for you to learn to channel your chakra. Naruto. Yes. Shisui. Well first tell me what chakra is. Naruto. Chakra is the fusion of spiritual energy and physical energy, it is the basis of all ninjutsu and jinjutsu, in addition to being the main tool of those who practice the shinobi branches. Shisui. Very good. For some reason I'm not surprised that you know that. Okay listen, you're going to get into the lotus position and you're going to be completely calm, you're practically meditating until you feel a slight warm sensation in your stomach, you're going to feel a little tug toward that feeling, then you have to spread that feeling throughout your body. You understand, don't despair if you don't get it the first time, it takes most people a full day to get it. Naruto. Yes. Naruto sits in the lotus position and begins to meditate on the floor, it wasn't long before he had to go home, but he was determined to find his chakra, even if it took more than one day to do so. 2 hours later. Shisui. He's been there for more than 2 hours, I wonder if he could do it, awakening the chakra is difficult, even for prodigies like Itachi, however, his brother was already able to surprise him once, deep down he wants me to surprise him again, Shisui was surprised when he felt a chakra rise alarmingly, he looked towards Naruto, who had a very unremarkable frown. And he saw how Naruto's chakra aura extended to the trees and cracked them until they broke, he was about to tell him to stop, until he saw that Naruto's aura dispersed and compressed into a small blue flame dark in his stomach, until Naruto falls tiredly on the ground. Shisui approached Naruto and picked him up, taking him home quickly. Location. Naruto's house. Hitomi was in the kitchen preparing food for her children. Shisui had agreed to train Naruto today. She actually wanted her second son to be as talented as Shisui. Well, maybe that is expecting too much, but she trusted her son. She was taken out of her thoughts when a Shisui with a Naruto in his arms entered the house, immediately stopping what he was doing to help his son. Hitomi. Shisui. What happened to Naruto? Shisui. Don't worry, mom, it just awakened his chakra. Hitomi. But why are you showing him that now? You could have waited a little longer, but anyway, tell me how it went. Shisui. Naruto is very intelligent, plus he learns things very quickly, and even though he does the exercises very well, he is always able to do them better over time. It is really surprising. Also, when he awakened his chakra, I could see with my Sharingan that this one was much denser than the others I have seen. I think that comes from dad. Hitomi. Yes, it could be, he said, and then activated his own Sharingan and observed Naruto's chakra. He could see the same dark blue flame that glowed in Naruto's stomach. Hitomi caressed her son's straight hair. 2 strands framed his face, in addition to having it very little tousled, and ending in other small strands that went to the opposite side. Naruto could really be so powerful. Hitomi just smiled sweetly and told him he gave his son a small kiss on the forehead before taking him to his room and leaving him on his bed to rest a little. Shisui, help me with dinner, Hitomi said to her son, who nodded. 30 minutes later Naruto was confused. At one point he was at the training ground when he felt a small tug in his stomach, then he felt a great heat throughout his body, then everything was black, and he woke up in his bed. He didn't think about it anymore, since he heard them talking in the dining room of his house. He left his room rubbing his head a little. It hurt, but not much. He saw his mother and brother having dinner. Naruto. Good afternoon, Oka-san, said a sleepy Naruto coming out of his room. Hitomi. Oh, hello Naru-chan, how are you? Naruto. Well, I just have a little headache, nothing more. Sit down and eat and tell me how your training went, Hitomi said with an angelic smile. Naruto spent the entire afternoon talking to his loving mother, who only listened to him with a smile. She loved listening to her son, although her son did not seem to have as much imagination as children his age, but she did not seem to care. After all, she loves her son above all, without forgetting Shisui, of course. Time skip. The next day. Location. Forest training ground. Naruto was at the training ground that he used yesterday. He was doing physical training. Shisui had told him that he also has to train his strength and endurance. Naruto did not reply to this. He knew that he had to do this. It has been about 2 hours doing exercises. For some reason, Naruto barely felt tired. He has been doing squats, sit-ups and push-ups. However, his body didn't hurt. But he was still a little tired. Shisui left that he had gone to get some things for his training. However, he did not return. Naruto. Shisui left half an hour ago and hasn't returned. Naruto stopped his training train when he saw someone approaching from the shadows. He thought it was his brother until he saw the person's full figure. It was a black-haired boy with black eyes, a classic example of an Uchiha. His hair was divided into 2 strands that faced his face. His hair ended in a low ponytail that reached the middle of his back. And he also had marks under his eyes that resembled dark circles. Shisui had told him about someone like him, Itachi. So you're Shisui's little brother Naruto. Nai-san told me about you. He said that you always have a stoic face and that you are the greatest representative of a bad sense of humor. Itachi didn't even change his face at that statement. Itachi. What are you doing here? Naruto. What else can I do in a training camp? Itachi. Well, you can watch your brother train Naruto. I prefer to train myself. He said it a little suspiciously. He just met this person, Itachi. And what are you training, may I ask? Naruto. Well, right now I was doing some physical training. My Nai-san told me that that was important. However, he left and hasn't come back. Itachi. I see. Itachi turned his head towards a tree. Naruto looked at him confused until he also looked towards the tree, realizing that his brother was standing on the branch of a tree watching Naruto and Itachi's interaction. Shisui. I see that you have already met Naruto. Meet Itachi, the prodigy of the Uchiha clan. Itachi. So I have a terrible sense of humor, huh? Shisui paled a little. Itachi was staring at him. He felt some fear. Shisui. Hey, calm down a little, you know. Itachi. That doesn't matter now. I want to know if you're really going to train your brother or you just brought him to see. Shisui smiled at this. He just plucked a leaf from the tree and said to Naruto. Shisui. Look out, Odo. Yesterday you awakened your chakra. Itachi opened his eyes a little at this. Shisui continued. Now you are going to work on your chakra control. You see, you may have already awakened your chakra, however, you are not capable to control it, so if you learn to control it, it will be easier for you to do jutsus, and at the same time they will use up less chakra, you understand? Naruto just nodded his head. Shisui. Very good. What you are going to do now is the first chakra control exercise. It consists of you having to stick this tree leaf on your forehead using only your chakra. I want to test you, so you will understand the exercise yourself. Naruto nodded again. Shisui handed the leaf to Naruto, who picked it up and sat on the ground. Shisui. Look at this, Itachi, Shisui said, drawing the attention of the boy who sat next to Shisui on a rock. Naruto, thoughts? Well, according to what I learned yesterday, channeling chakra requires great concentration, so that's what I should do first. Shisui wants me to stick this leaf to my forehead. Maybe. I have to concentrate more chakra on my forehead, which will make the blade stick, at least that's what I think. Naruto began to concentrate to channel his chakra. He quickly felt it, the chakra flowing throughout his body. He quickly imagined more chakra concentrating on his forehead, then he stuck the blade to his forehead. It adhered as if nothing to Naruto's forehead, and it stayed there for a long time. Shisui watched with pride as his little brother mastered the first chakra control exercise the first time. Itachi, for his part, had to admit that he was a little surprised. Someone who, like him, mastered this exercise the first time. However, he could feel that Naruto he has more chakra than the old ace. So mastering that exercise should have been a little more difficult. He surreptitiously activated his Sharingan of 3 tomos each. He could see the small dark blue flame that Naruto had on his belly. Itachi. That's strange, Itachi thought. Usually the color of chakra is a very light blue, however, this one seems to be a very dark blue. Shisui. Apparently he did it, Shisui whispered to the hatred of Itachi, who nodded. Naruto opened his eyes and stood up, the blade never moved from its place on Naruto's forehead. Naruto. I did it, Nai-san, said Naruto with a big smile. Shisui was about to say something until he heard applause coming from Itachi. Well done, Itachi said, approaching Naruto. How about we move forward a little, he said, approaching a tree and starting to walk on it, as if the tree itself were the ground. Naruto looked at Itachi surprised. Naruto. Okay, that's surprising. Itachi looked at Naruto with a small smile. Itachi. Well, from what I see you are a little genius, so let's see if you can figure out how to do this exercise, he said with a slightly challenging tone. Naruto noticed the tone Itachi was using and smiled defiantly. Naruto. Very good, I'll try it, Shisui. Let's see who's the teacher here. He said somewhat angry. Itachi had stolen his little student. Itachi. Please, Shisui, I just want to participate in this too. Naruto approached the tree and then looked at it again. Naruto, thoughts? Okay, Itachi climbed the tree using only his feet, so it can be known that he concentrated chakra in his feet to climb. Naruto closed his eyes and focused his chakra on his feet. He tried to climb the tree, but he slipped. Naruto, thoughts? Okay, this exercise is not as easy as it seems. I guess I slipped because I concentrated too little chakra in my feet. It's okay, this time I'll concentrate more chakra and see what happens. Naruto approached the tree. He tried to climb it. He put one foot on the bark, then another. Naruto was literally standing on a tree. However, the bark suddenly broke, making Naruto fall. Naruto, thoughts? But what the hell? Oh, mom would scold me if I ever said that in public, but anyway, I guess I fell because I concentrated too much chakra. So how do I know how much chakra I have to concentrate? I have an idea. Shisui and Itachi watched as Naruto approached the tree with a determined look. Naruto placed one foot on the bark of the tree and stayed like that for a minute. Then they watched as Naruto began to climb the tree without problems. Shisui and Itachi smiled. Seeing that he had managed to climb the tree. Naruto climbed to the top of the tree and admired the view a little before coming down and staring at his two masters. Shisui. Very good, Naruto, you have managed to master the second chakra control exercise. I must admit that I am surprised. Most genins find it difficult to do what you just did. Now, before moving on to the next chakra exercises, you are going to go up and down the tree again and again, but with a leaf stuck to your forehead, you are going to train your chakra control a lot. Because soon you are going to learn your first jutsus. Naruto got excited at that. Naruto spent a week practicing chakra control. Generally he did it in some trees that he found around, since Itachi and Shisui also had to use their training field, of course, although ABC went to practice his aim, which he perfected little by little. Location. Patio of Naruto's house. Hitomi was looking out the window at Naruto, who was stuck on the branch of a tree. He was upside down, with some tree leaves stuck to his forehead, arms, and some on his legs. He turned to see that Shisui was entering through the hunting door, coming from a mission. Shisui. Hello, Oka-san, how are you? She said while giving her mother a kiss. Hitomi. Well, honey, tell me how it went. Shisui. Everything is fine, but hey, where is Naruto? Hitomi. Naruto is in the patio, he said, looking again at the window that pointed to that place. Shisui approached to concentrated Naruto, who opened his eyes just as Shisui was about to scare him. Shisui was surprised by this. Did he sense me? He asked himself. Naruto. Nai-san. Little Naruto shouted to go hug his brother. Shisui. Oh, hello out Odo, I see you were practicing chakra control. Naruto just nodded. But tell me, are you ready to learn your first jutsus? Naruto. Yes. I'm completely ready. Shout. Shisui. Very good, let's see what I'll teach you first. Okay, I guess you know the Bushin no Jutsu, cloning jutsu, Naruto nodded. Will you teach me that Nai-san jutsu? No, Shisui answered simply. Naruto frowned. Naruto. But you were supposed to teach me, Shisui. I'll teach you a version of this, look, I'll explain. The Bushin no Jutsu is a jutsu that costs very little chakra, so people with a lot of chakra for their age find it difficult to learn it, as I have already told you, and I'm sure that Itachi too, your reserves are a little big for your age. Which makes it almost impossible for you to learn Bushin. Naruto nodded in understanding. Shisui. Instead of the Bushin no Jutsu, I will teach you a variant. I will teach you the Kage Bushin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu. This jutsu, unlike the original, creates completely physical clones by distributing your chakra equally with the created clone. That's why this jutsu is considered a forbidden one, due to the large amount of chakra it uses. Follow my hand position, understood? I assume you know what to do the jutsu. Naruto nodded. Shisui placed 2 fingers of each hand, the index in the middle, in a cross position. Naruto just imitated him, channeled his chakra and shouted. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. 2 Narutos appeared next to the original, they were completely identical. Naruto Clone 1. Huh. Maybe they just summoned us Naruto Clone 2. Apparently so, the original Naruto just looked at his clones in amazement. If they seemed real, they even talked to each other. Shisui called, clearing his throat a little, making Naruto and his clones turn to look at him. Shisui. As you can see, Naruto, your clones are completely physical and also have their own consciousness. These clones have a special quality, which is memory translation. You can remember and learn everything that a clone experiences. Understood. Shisui also taught Naruto the Kawarini no Jutsu, substitution jutsu, and the Henge no Jutsu, transformation jutsu. Time skip. One day location. Naruto's house. Naruto was reading some books with his clones. The books talked about the history of Konoha and stuff. He knew he was going to need them when he started the academy next year. He was immersed in his reading when he turned to the side in his room. There was a book lying around which simply said the word Uchiha. He assumed it was a book about the history of this clan. He turned the book over and saw a strange title. Sharingan, Naruto thought. He didn't give it any importance for now. I'll read it later, he thought. Naruto went to the kitchen of his house. He passed through the hallway and saw a photo of his mother and Shisui when he was little. He saw that a piece of the photo was missing. He thought of only one thing. Naruto. Odo-san, father. Naruto continued going towards the kitchen. He knew his mother was there. He had a question to ask her. Itomi was preparing dinner as usual. He felt his little son entering the kitchen. He had a look of enigma on his face. He sensed that his son wanted to ask him a question. Naruto. Oka-san, I want to ask you something. Itomi. Tell me, honey, what's happening? Naruto. Who's my father? Naruto was really getting to the point. Itomi remained somewhat silent when faced with that question. Naruto. Did he abandon us? Did he love me? Naruto blurted out question after question. I just want to know, Naruto culminated. Itomi knew that she couldn't hide that information from her son. She would take advantage of the fact that Shisui was on a mission to tell him. Itomi. Naruto, I assume you read the story of the Uchihas and the Senju. Naruto didn't know why his mother started with this, but he had an idea. She just nodded. Itomi decided to get to the point. Itomi. Naruto, your father's name was Tenshiro Senju. Naruto was surprised at that. His father was not an Uchiha, he was a Senju. The Uchihas and the Senju were always in fights. However, his parents were from both clans. Itomi. If you want, I can tell you how we met. And no, said Naruto, I just want to see it, a photo or something. Itomi. I have something better than a photo, look at my eyes. Naru. Naruto looked into his mother's eyes. He saw a fully mature Sharingan, 3 tomos rotating slightly in each eye. Then the tomos began to rotate aggressively as they unified and changed the pattern of the eyes. The 3 tomos became a triangle with a black dot in the center. On each side of the triangle, a kind of semicircle appeared which protruded from the tips of the triangle. Finally 3 black dots appeared around the triangle, 1 below and 2 on each side. Naruto gasped when he saw his mother's eyes. Itomi. Tsukiyomi whisper. Naruto's world seemed to change, the kitchen and the house disappeared, the sky turned red, and instead of the sun, there was a completely black moon with the pattern that was previously in his mother's eyes. Naruto grabbed his mother's hand. When he saw small white lights fly in front of them, Naruto saw how a light turned into his mother, who now had a somewhat large belly. At her side, the second light turned into a man with black hair with light brown eyes. His hair was a little messy, and he was very tall. The man bent down and began to grab his mother's belly, as if he were caressing her. Itomi. Look, Naru, that belly is you. I was pregnant with you, and that man over there is your father, he said, watching the scene. Naruto just watched the scene. So that you are not confused, there are 2 items in the Tsukiyomi, the one with Naruto, and the one in the memory that is being shown in the Tsukiyomi. The Itomi of the memory I will indicate like this. Itomi, Tsukiyomi, I hope it remains clear, Itomi, Tsukiyomi. Are you going to say something to Naruto? Denshiro. Yes, after all they may be the only ones who tell him Itomi, Tsukiyomi. I just hope you come back from that mission, she said while shedding a few small tears. Denshiro. Listen, calm down, I'll try to come back to see my little Naruto born. Itomi, Tsukiyomi. Please. Denshiro approached Itomi's belly and whispered some words, even though Naruto was somewhat far away, he could hear them perfectly. Denshiro. Hello Naruto, I am your father, I know that maybe you don't recognize me now, after all I don't talk to you every day like your mother does, but I want you to know that even though you haven't been born, I love you so much. I wish to be able to lull you and tell you so many stories, I don't care if I have to get up early to change your diaper, I will be there for you, when you need it most, and if by chance, I can't be with you, I want you to know that I will always love you, no matter the whichever way you choose, now I must do my duty, but I will always carry you in my mind, after all, your mother and Shisui are the best thing that has happened to me, I love you Naruto, and I will always love you. Naruto was completely stunned, his father really loved him so much, but he is no longer he never met him, but it hurt him so much to know that he is dead his father, his beloved father oh dad Naruto whispered. Itomi was still looking at the memory in front of her, she really loved seeing her late husband, even though it's not real, but she heard her son sob a little, she crouched down and hugged him. Itomi. Do you see Naru? Your father loved you very much Naruto. Why yes Itomi. I also love you very much Itomi noticed how Naruto scratched his eyes. Naruto. Oka-san, and my eyes are burning. What? Itomi. Said while turning off the Tsukiyomi, the world returned to normal, now they were back in the kitchen Itomi. Naru. Let me see your eyes my love Naruto raised his head Itomi gasped as she saw Naruto's red eyes with a tomo in each eye. Sharingan Itomi whispered in surprise, it really hurt her so much that her father was dead. Naruto's Sharingan glowed bright red as the tomos rotated lazily around his pupil Sharingan, Eye of Feelings the Sharingan, one of the bloodlines of the Konoha clans, specifically the Uchiha clan, is classified as a Dojutsu, eye technique, because it manifests itself in the eyes. The Sharingan is also known as the eye that reflects the feelings, because unlike the Dojutsu of the Hyuga clan, the Byakugan, the Sharingan does not awaken at the birth of an Uchiha, but rather, it awakens mainly when an Uchiha loses something he wanted or loved, simply, when an Uchiha feels this type of pain awakens a special chakra in the brain, this chakra is red, it itself affects the optic nerve, which causes the color and shape of your eyes to change. Giving way to a red eye. With a black pupil and some tomos that rotate around the pupil, the number of tomos evolves up to 3, but enough of the explanations, let's go with our little Uchiha location. Naruto House, Uchiha Compound, Konohagakure no Sado. Naru let me see your eyes my love. Naruto raised his head, showing red eyes with one tomo spinning, the eyes glowed red hot and the tomo were spinning lazily. Naruto. What's wrong Oka-san? Itomi. Oh Naru I'm sorry about that Naruto. What's wrong Oka-san, why are you apologizing? Naruto was really confused, however the burning in his eyes decreased a little, but it was still felt. Naruto, Itomi said while taking Naruto to a mirror that was in his room, you awakened the Sharingan. Naruto looked surprised at the new eyes he had, he turned to the right, towards the wall, he could feel that he could see everything, he was able to detect the smallest details, he could see the small ant that was walking along the wall, he was able to see even their little paws. Naruto, look at me, Itomi said, making her son look at her again. Forgive me, okay? Naruto. Why? Itomi. For making you feel so much pain Naruto. Oka-san, don't worry, what I wanted was to see my father, and you fulfilled that dream for me, I can't do anything but thank you, and I may be hurt by Odo-san's death, but I want him to know I'll be fine, okay? Don't worry. Itomi just smiled and kissed her son's forehead, it was a bit mature, but I guess that was a good thing. Naruto. Oka-san, how do I turn off my eyes? Itomi. Do you notice that the chakra is leading to your eyes? Just stop sending chakra towards them. Naruto concentrated, he quickly found that his chakra was going to his eyes, he only decreased the amount of chakra until he felt his eyes stop burning. Itomi. And how did it feel to have the Sharingan for that moment? Naruto. I felt like I could see everything, that I was able to capture the smallest detail of things, I felt so capable. Itomi frowned at that, she wanted to test her son, she didn't want her son to get addicted to the Sharingan and become arrogant. Itomi. And did you feel all powerful? No Naruto simply said I can deduce that the Sharingan is a good tool, I don't know it, but I think it is a great tool, at least I can feel it, but Shisui taught me that I should not depend on anything, he told me that I should specialize in different branches, and that, if one does not work, perhaps the other will, the Sharingan is good, but not all powerful. Itomi smiled it's good that you say that Naru after saying that she coughed a little. Naruto. Oka-san, is something wrong with you? Itomi. No Naru, don't worry, nothing's wrong with me, go to your room if you want, study a little more, next year you'll enter the academy. Naruto nodded and went to his room. When Naruto left the room, Itomi closed the door while coughing a little harder just. Hold on a little longer, Itomi said in his thoughts. Naruto was in his room until he remembered something, the book I saw before talked about Sharingan, Naruto thought. Naruto picked up the book and looked for the page that talked about Sharingan. Here it is, Naruto said. Sharingan, rotating copying eye. Naruto began to read. The Sharingan is the Dojutsu of the Uchiha clan. They generally awaken it when they are in a situation where they feel pain. This awakens a special chakra in their brain that affects the optic nerve, causing their eyes to change shape and color. The Sharingan generally awakens in an Uchiha who has had training, and its maximum evolution is the 3-tome Sharingan. Naruto stopped and thought, my Sharingan had only one tomo, I guess it's in its first phase. Naruto continued reading. When the Sharingan is awakened, it grants the following abilities. A reinforced vision ability to see the smallest details. Anticipation of movements, photographic memory by being able to see all the enemy's movements. The Sharingan gives you the ability to predict the movements that the enemy will use, because you are able to see their chakra network, you are basically able to know what the enemy will do even before he himself knows it. Ability to copy any ninjutsu, jinjutsu, even any taijutsu. Ability to see the different chakras, ability to create truly powerful jinjutsus with just eye contact. All these abilities improve as the Sharingan has more tomes. Wow, thought Naruto, the Sharingan was really so powerful, but I have to understand that it is a tool, I have to know how to contain myself, I will ask Shisui to help me control my emotions, although I think Itachi is better for that, I want to train, I want to become strong, no, I'm going to become strong. Time skip. 1 year. Several things have happened this year. Naruto trained with Itachi and Shisui chakra control. When Shisui and Itachi found out that Naruto awakened the Sharingan, they began to train him in the characteristic taijutsu of the Uchiha clan, the intercepting fist, which you began to use. Train it once you awaken the Sharingan. However, Naruto wanted to make some modifications to it, so he used the shadow clones for that. He managed to complete the exercise of walking on water. The only thing he had to do was concentrate the chakra in the feet and keep it in constant movement, since water, unlike the wood of a tree, is in motion. Naruto continued practicing his aim. He was able to throw several kunai at the same time and hit the target, the same with the shurikens. Naruto also trained his physique and his resistance. His senju side was really bearing fruit. Naruto's physique was growing exponentially, in addition to the fact that their physical strength was far superior to that of children their age, the senju. Despite not having a really extensive chakra like their cousins the Uzumakas, the Senju have a really strong and resistant body. The same applied for Shisui, after all, he was also the son of Tenshiro Senju. Likewise, Naruto's speed grew, but what was most appreciated was the increase in his chakra reserves. He was now able to create 8 shadow clones without getting tired, which was a great feat, and another point to highlight was the new tomo that rotated in his Sharingan. That's right, his Sharingan evolved to have 2 tomos in each eye. If before his eyesight was good, now it was a charm. He could see various moving objects and predict their trajectory. He was capable of throwing a kunai. Throw another one and hit the kunai that he threw later and make it hit the target. He was practicing doing that without his Sharingan and it wasn't going that bad. But now let's move on to something serious. Naruto was really worrying about his mother's state of health. It was scaring him more than normal. Before it was just the cough, however, then came the fever, the headaches and what he liked least, the fainting. Itomi has gone to the doctor many times. They had given him medicine for his illness, however, nothing helped. Naruto really hoped that his mother would recover. She was almost everything to him, the person who loved him unconditionally besides Shisui, the person who loves him above all things, his mother. Location. Training field. Naruto was practicing his kunai shooting with Shisui and Itachi. The shadow clones have been very useful to him. He was working on his new version of the Uchiha Interceptor Fist. He has learned about the history of shinobis, something useless in his opinion, but well, it was necessary at the Ninja Academy, although he didn't know why. Naruto threw the kunai which was aimed right at the center of the target, although in the end it was a few centimeters away from hitting the target. Shisui noticed this. To tell the truth, it was strange that he didn't hit the target. He looked at his brother's face who looked thoughtful. Shisui. Hey out Odo, is something wrong with you? Naruto. I'm worried about mom, Naruto said, crestfallen. Shisui had a sad look. He couldn't deny that he was also worried about his mother. Itachi noticed the gaze of his friends. He almost considered Naruto a little brother. He had truly earned their affection, and Shisui was his best friend in every way. The least he can do is support them. Itachi. Calm down guys, Itomi-sen will be fine. He couldn't be sure of that. The boys continued with their training until they were finished. They were heading to Naruto's house. Itachi was accompanying them. The boys stopped their walk when they saw that there were many people gathered around Naruto's house. It seemed like something was happening. Naruto, Shisui and Itachi accelerated their pace. Naruto felt a slight pressure on his chest, as if he knew something bad was happening. He quickly made his way through the people and entered his mother's room. She was in her bed. She looked paler than normal, and with small dark circles under her beautiful onyx eyes, she was breathing hard. Naruto came to his mother's side and knelt down. "Naruto. Oka-san, Oka-san." Naruto shouted a little desperately. Itomi opened her eyes, they looked duller than normal. "Naru," he whispered, "it's good that you're here." He coughed a little. "I'm sorry you have to see me this way." He smiled. "I feel like I don't have much time left." Cough, "but at least cough, I'll be able to tell you. To you and Shisui my last words." "Naruto. Oka-san, don't say that, I know you can get out of this, just hold on a little longer, please." I said the same thing a year ago. I guess my time is up," Itomi said. "Naruto. Oka-san, please Itomi. Naru, listen to me please Naruto." But Shisui put his hand on Naruto's shoulder and shook his head. Naruto just looked at his mother and nodded for her to speak, small tears beginning to fall from his face. Itomi just smiled and began to recite his last words. "Itomi. Shisui, I can't express how proud I am of you. I always loved you just like Naruto. I never forgot you, you were the first, and I will never forget when I held you in my arms for the first time. Your father and I, we loved so much even before you were born. I just want you to know that I will never stop loving you, and I hope you take care of Naruto. I love you, okay?" Shisui just nodded, he couldn't hold back his tears. "Naru," his mother called, unconsciously squeezing her son's hand, who also tightened his grip. "Itomi. You are one of the best things that has happened to me. I am also very proud of you. I could see what you are capable of doing. You are such an adorable and loving child. I loved being the mother of someone like you. Protect the people you love with all your heart, just like Shisui. Never fall into hatred, see through deception, see through things, see through people. The mind is capable of deceiving you, the eyes cannot." Naruto nodded, tears falling like waterfalls. Itomi. "Shisui, Naruto, never forget that the world is a cruel place, where there is darkness there is light, but where there is light there is darkness, but, above all, where there is hate there is love, and where there is love there is hate. However, I will never be able to feel hatred towards people like you, your father, and I will be watching you from wherever we are. Remember that your mother loves you with all her being." A last sigh escaped Itomi's lips, before dying with a smile on her beautiful face. Naruto could only stand there and cry. Mikoto, who was there, only managed to hug the little boy and comfort him as best he could, while Itachi comforted Shisui, who was crying silently. Naruto opened his eyes, his 2 Tomo Sharingan was active, the Tomos were still, until a 3rd Tomo appeared, then turned aggressively and proceeded to turn off. At night Naruto cried himself to sleep, his mother's death would depress him, but he will move on, he will do it for her. Time skip. One day, a day had passed since Itomi's death, it had rained all night, it seemed that even the sky was crying for her departure. Naruto was barely waking up, his eyes were still red from crying, apparently he had run out of tears, he sat on the bed and gave a long sigh, there was no point in continuing to cry, after all he couldn't stay there like a statue. She got up from her bed and brushed her teeth, in the mirror she could see the dark circles under her eyes, apparently she couldn't sleep well either, she headed towards the kitchen, it was so empty, usually her mother would be there cooking, I would turn around and give him that beautiful smile, and then say, "Hello Naru, how did you sleep?" Naruto smiled at that memory, he walked towards the dining table, there was some food on it, with a note that said for Naruto. Naruto assumed that the letter was left by Shisui. "Hello Naruto, I know that you are touched by yesterday, but we must move on, unfortunately I had to go on a mission, so I got up early to make you breakfast, I will be back late, and remember that your test is almost approaching. Uchiha clan, with love Shisui." Naruto remembered the fireball test, if he succeeded, he could wear the Uchiha clan logo on his clothes, that excited him a little. He just had breakfast and immediately went to the training field he always used. This time he was going to train alone, his brother was on a mission, and Itachi entered Anbu, so he also had missions raining down on him. He arrived at the training field and made 10 shadow clones, that did take part of his chakra. But it would be fine. He spent the entire afternoon training aim and his own style of taijutsu, he also trained some battle techniques with the shadow clones, something like combos or surprise attacks, the training made him forget the pain a little. Until he realized something, after his mother died, he felt his eyes burning. Naruto picked up a kunai and activated his Sharingan, he saw in the reflection of the kunai, red eyes with 3 tomos that rotated calmly around the pupil, she was surprised at that, perhaps her Sharingan evolved due to the pain of losing her mother, that is something cruel. He could feel like he could see everything around him, his vision was almost perfect, at least he felt that way. He approached a specific area of the training field, it was an area in which there were different targets in different sectors of the clearing, such as in the trees in front and behind him, some targets were higher than others, and curiously, there was a target that was located on the back of a rock. Naruto had seen Shisui and Itachi do the same show over and over again. Each time they did it, they had their Sharingan activated. Naruto prepared himself for what he was going to do. Naruto picked up several kunai and put them in a kunai bag, then he picked up another 8 and picked up 4 in each hand with a closed fist. He took a deep breath and jumped as high as he could. He threw the first 4 kunai. He could see them move on camera slowly. He could know where they were going to hit, so he threw the other 4 kunai. 2 of the 4 kunai recently thrown bounced with another 2 kunai in motion, changing their trajectory. Then he picked up 4 more kunai from the bag he had filled. He threw them. He took out another 4 and threw the kunai in the same direction as the others. This time 3 of the kunai bounced with another 3, changing their trajectory. All the kunai hit at different targets. One target was missing. The one behind the rock. He picked up 2 of the kunai that he had left. He threw one and looked at it carefully. His Sharingan shone, analyzing the trajectory. The tomos of the Sharingan rotated slightly until he threw the other kunai with great force. The recently thrown kunai bounced with the other kunai right at the top, changing its trajectory downwards, hitting the center of the target that was behind the rock. Just at that moment it fell to the ground gracefully. His Sharingan glowed brightly and then deactivated. Naruto looked surprised as all the kunai were firmly stuck in the center of the target. Naruto. So this is the power of the Sharingan, he said in his mind. The Sharingan is a great tool, but remember, you can't depend on anything, he thought. Naruto continued training and then finished with some physical training. After that he returned to his house. A few minutes later Shisui arrived. The days in the house now had a somewhat cold and depressive atmosphere. However, they knew that sooner or later that would pass. Some things have happened since those days, like, for example, when Naruto happened to be left alone in the house, Mikoto, Itachi's mother, would come to check on him, and going a little further, sometimes she would make him dinner. And when I say sometimes, I mean all the times that Naruto was left alone. Shisui and Itachi continued training Naruto. They told him that once he takes the Uchiha clan test, they would teach him more fire-style jutsus. After all, fire is the element of the Uchiha clan. Well, I guess the day has come. Naruto was walking through the streets of the Uchiha compound with Shisui. Both of them were going at a calm pace. Naruto now spent most of the time with a stoic face, courtesy of his teacher Itachi. He was heading to the small port that was next to the Naka River. Shisui had told him that he took the test in that place, that possibly this Itachi with his father, who was the leader of the clan. The two continued walking until in the distance they saw a small port that gave way to a river. They approached that place and saw Itachi with his father, Fugaku, and there was also Mikoto. However, behind them there were 2 more people. Well, 2 children to be exact. Naruto and Shisui came down to them and greeted them politely. Mikoto hugged Naruto. Fugaku. Well, Shisui, I suppose you brought your brother to take the test too, right? Shisui. That's Fugaku-sama, this is Naruto, my little brother, he said, while nodding to Naruto to introduce himself. Naruto. My pleasure, Fugaku-sama, I am Naruto Uchiha. Fukagu nodded in response, at which point he called out to the 2 little people behind them. Sasuke, Kiyomi, come here and introduce yourselves. Fugaku called the 2 children who ran towards him and introduced themselves. Kiyomi. Hello. My name is Kiyomi Uchiha, it's a pleasure to meet you, she said with a cute smile. Kiyomi was a girl who had long hair for her age. At the top of her hair, 2 small strands fell back, her hair reached to her waist. She was wearing a high-neck t-shirt with a beige skirt that it reached a little above his knees, and finally he had blue shinobi slippers. Naruto just nodded and introduced himself. Naruto said simply. You're kind of boring, Kiyomi said, pouting. The boy who was behind introduced himself. Hello, I'm Sasuke Uchiha, said the boy. This one apparently is calmer than his sister. Sasuke was wearing a long-sleeved high-necked shirt, black shorts, and blue sneakers. Naruto nodded and introduced himself the same as he did with Kiyomi. Sasuke just nodded. You 2 are quite boring, Kiyomi muttered. Fugaku. Well, guys, pay attention, said Fugue, so that the children turned to see him. You are going to learn the characteristic jutsu of the Uchiha clan. You are going to learn the Kaiten Dakaku no Jutsu, fire style. Great fireball jutsu, so prepare yourselves. All of you have already managed to awaken your chakra. Kiyomi and Sasuke have already done the exercise of carrying a leaf from a tree on your forehead, and you have managed to master the exercise of climbing the tree. Naruto, can you tell me why you are doing this exercise? Naruto. I have mastered the exercise of walking on water. I am currently in the exercise of swinging the kunai on my finger. Fugaku widened his eyes a little at that. Kiyomi and Sasuke had a surprised expression, but Fugaku continued. Alright Sasuke, come on in. Sasuke hurried to the edge of the bridge, stood next to his father, and waited for the instructions to do the jutsu. Fugaku. Very good Sasuke, I want you to see the hand seals and repeat them. You have been practicing on them, so I don't think it will be difficult for you to follow the seals, okay? Sasuke nodded. Very well, follow my seals. Guys, pay attention too, said Kiyomi Park, and Naruto will look carefully. Snake, ram, monkey, wild boar, horse, tiger Kaiten. Gakkaku no Jutsu. Fugaku exhaled a large torrent of flames that quickly took the shape of a sphere. It remained like that for quite some time, until he cancelled the jutsu. Very well Sasuke, it's your turn, Fugaku said to move away a little to make room for Sasuke. Sasuke made the seals slowly. Snake, ram, monkey, boar, horse, tiger. Kaiten. Gakkaku no Jutsu. Sasuke took a deep breath and exhaled a small torrent of flames that went out and caused his lip to burn a little. Sasuke looked down. Mikoto approached her son and comforted him. Mikoto. Don't worry Sasuke, you can try again later. Sasuke calmed down and made way for Kiyomi to make her attempt. Kiyomi approached the shore of the port and slowly made the seals. Snake, ram, monkey, horse, tiger. Kaiten. Gakkaku no Jutsu. Kiyomi exhaled a small torrent of flames that turned into a small ball that then disappeared. Kiyomi looked a little disappointed. Mikoto comforted her daughter in the same way. Naruto approached Shisui and said in his ear. Naruto. I think I know what they're doing wrong, he said. Shisui nodded. He also realized that they were concentrating little chakra in the jutsu, which reduced its effectiveness. They also lacked some strength, and they also lacked a little in the change of nature within the lungs. Kiyomi heard what Naruto said and frowned. Perhaps he thought he could do better, after all they are the same age. Naruto approached the shore of the port to do the test. Fugaku was about to point out the seals again until he saw Naruto start making the seals at high speed. Snake, ram, monkey, horse, tiger. Naruto took a deep breath and concentrated a large amount of chakra in his lungs, imagining that chakra turning into fire. He held his breath until he felt a small warmth in his chest, at which point he prepared to exhale. Kaiten. Gakkaku no Jutsu. A large torrent of flames came out of Naruto's mouth, then turned into a gigantic fireball. The sphere radiated great heat. Sasuke and Kiyomi narrowed their eyes. The fireball was too bright for them. Naruto maintained the jutsu until his lungs couldn't take it anymore and he stopped exhaling air so the fireball would dissipate. Naruto blew, a bit of smoke escaping from his mouth, however, it wouldn't affect his lungs. Kiyomi and Sasuke looked surprised at the boy in front of them. He managed to make a really cool fireball. It even surpassed the size of Fugaku's fireball. Obviously Fugaku wasn't serious. Fugaku nodded and said. Congratulations, you have passed the test. From now on you have the right to carry the Uchiha clan logo on your back. Wear it with pride, he said with a small smile. Thank you, Naruto said while bowing slightly. Naruto turned to his brother who congratulated him. Mikoto and Itachi also congratulated him. Kiyomi and Sasuke approached Naruto. Kiyomi. That was great. He exclaimed with a big smile. Sasuke. Hey, you're really very good, could you give us some advice? Naruto. Ito, he said a little nervous. I don't think I can, I have to go home. Kiyomi. Oh, please stay a little, okay? I want to do the jutsu right and some advice wouldn't hurt. She sounded a little pleading. Naruto looked towards Shisui to silently ask permission. Shisui just gave him a thumbs up. Naruto just nodded. Naruto. Okay, I can stay a little longer. Yes. Kiyomi shouted and then grabbed Naruto's hand to take him to the edge of the pier next to Sasuke. Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi stayed all afternoon practicing the Gakkaku no Jutsu. Well, more like, Naruto stayed all afternoon teaching Kiyomi and Sasuke how to do it well. The truth is it didn't cost them much, they learned very quickly, and they are the typical twins who do not separate. Although Kiyomi's playful and somewhat hyperactive attitude contrasted with the calm and serene attitude of Naruto and Sasuke, but opposite poles look good, right? After practicing on the Kiyomi and Sasuke ended up with some burns, nothing serious, they stayed talking for a bit. Naruto. So what are you going to do now? Sasuke. I guess nothing, I murmur. Kiyomi. Hey Naruto, are you going to the ninja academy? Naruto. Ah, that yes, why? Kiyomi. We're going to. Naruto. Don't get so excited, Kiyomi. Why? Naruto. You see, Shisui told me that the academy has been lowered in level because we are no longer at war and other political things and blah blah blah. Sasuke. Naruto is right, Itachi also told me about that. Kiyomi. Ah, she said a little disappointed, but at least we will be together. Oh, I hope so, she said with a smile. Naruto. Yes, you know you are my first friends my age, Kiyomi. You are also our first friend. I see, Naruto said. The three children stayed looking at the sunset a little longer before saying goodbye and going their separate ways. Time skip. 1 week location. Konoha Ninja Academy, Konohagakure no Sado, Country of Fire. Naruto was on his first day at the Ninja Academy. He was in a row of pure children who were waiting. There were more rows. There were about 4 rows of new members of the academy. He was in the last one. In the row of up ahead were Sasuke and Kiyomi who turned to greet him. Naruto only returned the greeting. The current 4th Hokage was giving a very boring speech that is not worth narrating. Even he could see a little boredom on his face. Finally, the 4th Hokage's speech was finished, giving way to the children to go to their classroom. Naruto's classroom was the last one in a long hallway. He reached the door where Chunin was waiting for them. He had brown pineapple-shaped hair, he had the typical shinobi outfit with a light green bulletproof vest, he had a singular scar that ran across the middle of his face, passing through his nose. Naruto approached the man and said. Naruto. Good morning sir, they told me to come to this room. Man. Oh hello little one, what's your name? It's to see if you're on the list. My name is Uchiha Naruto sir said Naruto. Very well, Uchiha Naruto the man stammered okay, you can come in, my name is Yumi no Iruka, but you can call me Iruka-sensei. Understood, Iruka-sensei, Naruto said simply and then entered the room. Apparently no one had arrived yet, so he had time to choose the best position, well he simply sat in the last position by the window, in his view that position seemed relaxing, Naruto simply put his head on his arms and began to wait for his future companions, oh well, he would take the opportunity to get some sleep. A few minutes passed until a boy entered the room. He was a boy a little smaller than Naruto, his hair was in the shape of a pineapple, classic, he had a lazy look and walked with bad posture, hunching his back a little, he had a grey t-shirt with the symbol of the Nara clan, a short black shorts and blue ninja sandals, the boy continued walking until he reached Naruto, who did not open his eyes, although he was awake. When the boy saw Naruto he just smiled and sat in the same position as Naruto to fall asleep. Naruto opened his eyes and saw the boy who was next to him. Hey, Naruto said in a whisper. The boy next to him opened one eye and said. Hello Naruto. What's your name? Nara Shikamaru said the boy in a lazy tone. Nice to meet you Naruto said with a smile. A pleasure too, said Shikamaru, answering the smile. Shikamaru and Naruto talked a little more until three people entered, which were Sasuke and Kiyomi, and a chubby boy, well with wide bones Kiyomi. Hello, Naruto-kun. Said a cheerful Kiyomi. Naruto blushed a little at the suffix, the good thing is that no one noticed Naruto. Hello Kiyomi, hello Sasuke, how are you doing? Sasuke. Well you see we're here and I guess he's a new friend he said, pointing to the boy who was next to Naruto. Shikamaru. Hello, I'm Shikamaru and the boy next to you is called Choji. Sasuke. Huh? How do you know? Shikamaru. Well you see, he is my best friend. Choji. Hello. I am Akimichi Choji. Choji was wearing a green long-sleeved shirt with dark brown shorts and blue ninja sandals and he was carrying a bag of potatoes in his hand. Do you want? He asked, offering some of his potatoes to the others. They all nodded and took a potato from the bag. They all sat down. Naruto was between Kiyomi and Shikamaru, while Sasuke and Choji sat in front. Little by little, many more children arrived, some were just children of civilians, while one or another heir to the clan arrived. Once all the students arrived, the teacher entered the classroom and introduced himself to everyone. Hello everyone, my name is Yumi no Iruka, but you can call me Iruka-sensei, from now on I will be your teacher and the one in charge of leading you on the right path of shinobi. Yes, sensei. The whole class shouted. Very well, first of all, I want to try them a little, let's see, who can tell me, who founded the Leaf Village? Sasuke, Naruto, Kiyomi and Shikamaru raised their hands. Iruka. Let's see, you he said pointing at Sasuke. Sasuke. The founder of the Leaf Village was Hashirama Senju, along with his friend Madara Uchiha. Iruka. Very good Sasuke. Let's see, your girl, she said, pointing at Kiyomi, can you tell me the name of the current Hokage? Kiyomi. The current Hokage is called Namikaze Minato, also known as the Kiroi Senko, Yellow Lightning, Iruka. Very good Kiyomi he said congratulating the girl who gave a nice smile. Let's see he said, pointing to Naruto, can you tell me who all the Hokages were? Naruto. The Shadame Hokage was Hashirama Senju, the Nidame Hokage was Hashirama's younger brother, Tobirama Senju, the Sandame Hokage was Hiruzen Sarutobi, the current Hokage is Yondaime Minato Namikaze. Iruka. Great. You all responded well. Shikamaru had already lowered his hand, finding it problematic. Iruka. Well we are going to teach history class so pay attention. Iruka spent 2 long hours talking about the history of Konoha and the story was not yet complete, but that seemed enough to him. Naruto paid half attention, sometimes you learn new things from elders, plus you might learn something you didn't know, that was enough for him. Iruka. Okay, it's time to go out, we're going to do shuriken and kunai throwing tests. Finally something interesting they all thought. They all came out behind the teacher, ready to show who are the best. Iruka. Very good, get in front of the targets, I want you to throw 5 kunai and 5 shuriken, I'll see how I can help you. The civilians passed first and what can we say, they were pitiful, the only thing that stood out was a girl with pink hair who screamed a lot, had green eyes and had a green dress with a flower print, she managed to make 3 of 5 kunai and 2 out of 5 shuriken, that's an advance for a civilian, then the heirs of the clans passed and, here we get a little serious. The women, the heirs of the clans, passed first. Ino Yamanaka was a blonde girl with slightly short hair, she was wearing a pink dress and blue shinobi shoes. I throw the kunai and shuriken one by one. Score. 3 kunais and 3 shurikens. Then Hinata Hyuga passed by, a girl who at first glance was very shy. She had princess-style blue hair, she was wearing a purple jacket, blue pants, and blue shinobi sneakers. He timidly approached the launch site and threw the kunai and shuriken. Punctuation. 3 kunai and 3 shuriken. That was a good result for a Hyuga, after all, their clan is based on taijutsu. Then it was Shikamaru, who came to the front with an annoyed look on his face. Score. 3 shurikens, 3 kunai. Problematic, the Nara murmured. Then it was Chaoji. Score. 3 shurikens, 4 kunai. I did well, said Chaoji, he felt proud of himself. It's my turn, said a boy from the crowd. The boy had brown hair, it was messy and spiky, he had a grey shirt and dark brown pants and blue shinobi sneakers. Red marks stood out on his cheeks that resembled fangs, features of the Inyazuka clan. On his head he carried a white puppy. The boy approached the launch site and threw. Score. 4 shurikens, 3 kunai. After him, a boy approached the launching area silently. He was wearing a high-neck jacket that covered up to his mouth, long black pants and blue shinobi sneakers. He had glasses that covered his eyes. Eyes and long black hair that defied gravity. He seemed to be more alive than dead, he was a boy from the Aburam clan. He threw his kunai and shuriken. Score. 3 kunai, shurikens 4. After the Aburam did his performance, a girl passed by with very long blonde hair that she tied in 2 pigtails. She had really bright purple eyes and really light skin. She was wearing an orange shirt with a symbol of the Uzumaki clan on the front. She was wearing a red skirt and was wearing the typical ninja shoes. Naruto stared at her for a moment, that blonde hair seemed to shine like the sun itself, like the 4th Hokage's, purple eyes, like the 4th Hokage's wife. Okay, now it's clear whose daughter she is, Naruto thought. The girl approached the launch site and threw the kunai and shuriken. Score. 4 shurikens, 5 kunai. That's impressive, they all thought. After her, a red-haired boy approached, he had blue eyes and also had light skin. Naruto, thoughts. So the yondaime has 2 children. The boy did the same procedure as everyone. Score. 4 shurikens, 4 kunai. It was a good score. Wow. Those guys are good, Kiyomi said. Don't worry, don't be intimidated, you're also very good, Naruto told her to encourage her. Kiyomi blushed a little, then gave a smile and thanked Naruto. Kiyomi stepped forward to throw the kunai and shuriken. Score. 4 shurikens, 5 kunai. Kiyomi returned victorious to Naruto and Sasuke. Sasuke. Well done, Kiyomi. Kiyomi. Thank you, Nai-chan. Sasuke stepped forward while Kiyomi and Naruto wished him luck. Sasuke did the same procedure as the others. Score. 4 shurikens, 5 kunai. At the time of giving the score, a thunderous scream was heard, apparently coming from the pink-haired girl who passed by earlier. Sasuke-kun is so cool. The girl squealed. After her, many more girls shouted the same chorus. Naruto and Sasuke covered their ears, their brothers had told them about this, the terror of all those who are popular, the fangirls. Sasuke approached Naruto and Kiyomi, who congratulated him. Finally it was Naruto's turn. Naruto approached the launch site. Kiyomi. Good luck, Naruto-kun. The girl shouted. Naruto smiled and nodded in thanks. Naruto threw the kunai and shuriken with precision. Score. 5 kunai, 5 shuriken. There was a long silence until Naruto-kun is so cool. A group of girls shouted. The poor Inyazuka boy's ears rang with pain and suffering, as did his little dogs. Naruto approached Sasuke and Kiyomi, they congratulated him, nothing more. Haruka. Alright guys, the sensei called, come, let's do taijutsu tests. This test is just to see what they have. First come the girls' tests. It only remains to say that. It was unfortunate, none of the girls had received training other than Kiyomi, Hinata, and the blonde girl, whose name was Mito. Mito defeated Hinata in the semifinal, so only her and Kiyomi were left, which would face each other in the final of the mini-tournament. Kiyomi was in front of Mito, both had half a seal of the ram ready for battle. Haruka was in the middle of the two as a mediator of the meeting, he looked towards Mito. Are you ready? Mito just nodded. And you? She said, looking at Kiyomi, who also nodded. Okay, start. Kiyomi and Mito lunged at each other. Mito attempted a blow to Kiyomi's chest, who deflected it with his hand. Kiyomi quickly tried to hit him with his other hand, however, Mito managed to stop it easily with his other arm, giving a quick blow to Kiyomi's side, which she backed away a little. Mito wanted to take advantage of that and tried to hit him again. Kiyomi's chest, however, Kiyomi stepped aside and landed a kick on Mito's side. Kiyomi took advantage of her superior speed and hit Mito in the chest, then delivered a left blow to her head, destabilizing her a little, but Mito recovered and dodged Kiyomi's blow that was aimed at her other cheek, quickly giving a hit Kiyomi's shoulder, and then hit his stomach. Mito tried another blow, however Kiyomi stopped it with difficulty and took a small jump to get away. Mito followed her and tried to hit Kiyomi in the face, however, she crouched down and did a leg sweep on Mito's feet, who lost her balance. Kiyomi quickly stood up and bombarded Mito with a series of blows. Fast at different parts of the body. Kiyomi managed to hit Mito in the back of the head, who was somewhat disoriented. Kiyomi then kicked Mito directly in the stomach, who left the combat area, thus losing. Kiyomi sighed a little before straightening up and giving a small smile. Haruka. The winner of the fight is Kiyomi Uchiha, he said with a smile. The two girls had done too well. Very good, now comes the men's combat. Many of the boys were not so good, not much was expected from the civilians, however, the clan heirs were not so bad, the Aburam clan is not long distance, Shikamaru gave up when he was going to fight Chaoji, it seemed to him problematic, he also did not want to fight against his friend, even though the Nara clan is of medium distance, and the Akamichi is very good at close range. Chaoji had his turn against the Inyazuka boy whose name was Kiba. Chaoji lost because the Inyazuka's speed was superior. The red-haired boy was also somewhat good in hand-to-hand combat, so he also passed, and no one could face Naruto. No one who faced him lasted more than 15 seconds. Sasuke Uchiha and Kiba Inyazuka, please come forward, Iruka said. Sasuke and Kiba came forward. Sasuke wanted to fight Naruto, so he wanted to end this fight quickly. Ready, Iruka asked. The two boys nodded. Okay, start. Kiba approached Sasuke, who would show no mercy and would receive him with a blow to the chest and then hit him in the face. Kiba stepped back and this time he thought a little before attacking. He quickly approached Sasuke with a blow in the stomach that the Uchiha caught. Kiba tried to land another blow, but the Uchiha was determined and turned around, giving Kiba a roundhouse kick in the face, thus leaving the arena. Haruka. The winner of the fight is Uchiha Sasuke. Way to go, Sasuke-kun, the pink-haired girl squealed, followed by more cheers from Sasuke's fangirls. Sasuke just rolled his eyes and turned to Naruto to tell him. I'll wait for you in the final, Sasuke said in a defiant tone. Naruto just smiled. Uchiha Naruto and Uzumaki Menma, come forward please, said Iruka. Menma approached the arena with an arrogant smile, while Naruto went with a calm look. You can do it, Naruto-kun. Kiyomi shouted, and to her annoyance, some more girls repeated her phrase. These fangirls her brother was talking about were really annoying. They are ready? Iruka asked. The two boys just nodded. Get started. Iruka shouted. Menma pounced on Naruto, he was confident that he would win the battle, however, Naruto also wanted to fight Sasuke, so he would end this quickly. Menma was going to punch Naruto in the face, however, Naruto crouched down and gave a quick elbow to Menma's stomach, then he swept his legs, just when he was going to fall, Naruto gave a push to his chest. Making him fall quickly and hit the ground with a thud, Naruto positioned himself above him, preparing a fist for his face that never reached. Naruto only left his fist centimeters from Menma's face, who was stupefied. He was completely subdued in less than 10 seconds. The winner is Uchiha Naruto, Iruka said a little surprised. Naruto just left the battlefield. Naruto walked next to Sasuke and said may the best win. Naruto was face to face with Sasuke, both had half a ram seal, symbolizing that this is a battle between shinobi. Both had a serious and serene face, each one analyzing their opponent, seeing how to create a strategy, or simply, test each other. Iruka looked at the two boys with some excitement, they were both very good, he wanted to see how this would end. Are you ready? Iruka asked Sasuke, who nodded his head. And you? He asked looking towards Naruto, who also nodded. Iruka. Okay, then begin. Sasuke and Naruto did not waste time and went against each other, both were going at high speed until they met in the middle of the field where they collided forearms to stop their opponent's attack. Sasuke quickly separated and attempted a kick that Naruto deflected. Easily, Naruto landed a direct blow to the face that Sasuke stopped with relative ease. They both engaged in a somewhat addictive taijutsu battle, even though they were 6-year-old boys, they did it very well, two specimens worthy of carrying the Uchiha shield on their backs. The blows came and went, at one point Sasuke dodged Naruto's high blow, then he swept his legs with the intention of making him lose his balance, however, Naruto jumped back. Then moved forward and began another encounter of fists and kicks that were all blocked. At one point Naruto gave a low kick to Sasuke's shin, making him bend a little, then he hit Sasuke's belly, making Sasuke bend completely. Naruto then kicked Sasuke in the side, making him fall a few meters away from him. Naruto approached to subdue him, however, Sasuke quickly got up using his two hands, applying a double kick to Naruto's stomach, who recoiled from the force of the blow. Naruto. Wow, Sasuke is very good, he said to himself in his thoughts, however, I must stop holding back if I want to win, I must not trust myself, he thought. Sasuke lunged at Naruto aiming a blow at his face, but Naruto blocked it and counterattacked with a blow to Sasuke's already sore stomach. Naruto gave a combo of blows that went to different parts of the body. Sasuke managed to block some blows, but he was starting to become overwhelmed under Naruto's speed and tenacity. Sasuke got tired of being on the defensive and began to counterattack with almost the same speed as Naruto. Sasuke attempted a blow with his left to Naruto's face, who stopped him with one hand. Naruto tried to hit him with the other hand, however, Sasuke also parried the blow. Sasuke. You really are too good, he said while making efforts to win the fight of forces. Naruto. You are also very good, it shows that you have trained a lot, however, I must finish this now Sasuke. I dare you to try, he said defiantly. Naruto. Bad choice he said. Naruto suddenly crouched down, elbowing Sasuke in the stomach. Sasuke recoiled from the blow, this time it hurt more than the previous ones, it shows that Naruto used more force. Sasuke tried to hit Naruto's face, who grabbed his arm to deflect it, then Naruto pulled Sasuke over to knee him, making Sasuke grunt in pain. Naruto hit Sasuke's face, who was disoriented. Naruto gave a light kick to Sasuke's leg to finish destabilizing him, then he jumped and kicked Sasuke's chest who flew out of the battle zone, thus losing the match. The winner of the match is Naruto Uchiha Iruka said. Naruto approached Sasuke who was getting up, Naruto helped him finish getting up. Iruka. Well, to finish this meeting between companions, I want you to make the symbol of reconciliation. Naruto and Sasuke crossed their index and middle fingers between their hands. Naruto. You are very good Sasuke, it was a good battle Sasuke. You are also very good battle. Very good class Iruka shouted let's go back to the classroom all the boys went after their sensei to finish the class period. Time skip. End of classes. Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi were leaving the academy, this time they were accompanied by Choji and Shikamaru. Shikamaru and Choji's mothers were waiting for them outside the academy, so Choji and Shikamaru said goodbye and finally left. While the three boys waited for Sasuke and Kiyomi's mother to arrive, the blonde girl who fought Kiyomi approached them. Hi guys. The girl shouted Kiyomi. Oh, you're the girl I fought, good fight, by the way. Mito. Yes. That's me, my name is Mito Uzumaki, nice to meet you. Sasuke. Oh wow, this girl is just as active or more active than Kiyomi he said while putting his hand on his face. Myth. And what problem do you have with that emo child? Said Mito who had a small frown. Kiyomi had to hold back her laughter at the nickname they gave her brother, Naruto just gave a small smile. Sasuke. I'm not an emo, he said with a frown. Myth. If you are bitter. Kiyomi now laughed out loud, while Naruto let out a light laugh. Sasuke. Enough, you want said Sasuke, somewhat blushing with embarrassment. The boys and Mito talked a little more until the red-haired boy who fought Naruto approached them with a somewhat angry face. Hey you. The boy shouted, pointing at Naruto. Said Naruto while pointing at himself somewhat confused. If you. The boy continued I am Menma Uzumaki and I officially challenge you to a rematch he said. No, the boy shouted, as if he wanted everyone to hear him. Naruto. This no thanks, I don't feel like fighting now Naruto said somewhat dazed. Menma. What? Are you afraid? Naruto. No, hey, just I know how. About we fight another day, okay? Menma. Ha. I think what you are afraid of facing the great Menma Uzumaki, son of the fourth Hoka Menma, was stopped by Mito's blow to his head. Aren't you a little embarrassed? Mito asked, angry with her brother. Don't get involved in this, Menma said. Myth. Enough, Menma, or I'll tell mom that you were misbehaving in class. Menma suddenly became quiet. Menma. If you even have any affection for me, you wouldn't be able to do that to me Myth. If you keep bothering me I will do it, you understand. Menma. Yeah, but sooner or later I'll have my revenge, you hear? She said pointing to Naruto. Naruto. Surely yes, someday. The boys talked for a while longer until a woman with really long red hair approached them, although of course, they already know what Kushina is like, so it's not worth describing her Mito Menma. Oka-san. The children shouted, running towards their mother who received them with a hug. Kushina. Hello children, how was today? I asked, rubbing Myth's head. Myth. We did very well, we did some shuriken and kunai throwing tests, and then we did taijutsu matches. Kushina. I see that well, it's time for us to go. Mito. Wait Oka-san, I want to show you my new friends. Mito grabbed her mother's hand and dragged her towards the three Uchihas. Myth. Look Oka-san, this is Naruto, Kiyomi and Sasuke. The three boys bowed towards the Hokage's wife and then said. Naruto Sasuke Kiyomi. Nice to meet you Kushina-sama. Kushina. Nice to meet you too and straighten up, so much formality is not necessary, Kushina said with a smile by the way, you can just call me Kushina. Naruto Sasuke Kiyomi. It's okay Kushina-san. Kushina. That's better but. Hey, we don't have to go, it was a pleasure meeting you little ones. The three Uchihas responded. Likewise. A few more minutes passed before Makoto arrived to pick them up. The three boys and the woman greeted each other and went to the Uchiha complex where they separated to each go to their homes. Naruto went towards his house, which was apparently empty. It seems that Nai-san hasn't returned from the mission Naruto thought. Lately Shisui has been very busy, Naruto saw him very rarely, even so, Shisui always came, Naruto went to bed after cleaning himself a little, he was not so motivated to wait for his brother like a good child, besides, tomorrow he had academy, again. Time skip. 1 year. A year has passed since Naruto's first day of school, and it really has to be said that it was boring. Naruto knew practically everything they taught at the academy, in addition to the fact that physical tests were scarce and only focused on theory, which, for a ninja, is definitely useless. That is, you are in a life or death situation, and while you're at it, you're not going to tell your enemy the history of Konoha, you know. Although of course, there is also the good side of all this, and those are the friends that he has managed to make throughout the year. Choji, Shikamaru and Sasuke became his best friends, and Kiyomi had made a true friend, Mito, at the same time. Who despite being somewhat hyperactive, was very friendly, the opposite of her brother, Menma. He was even more hyperactive than her, and in addition to the fact that it seemed that his arrogance surpassed him, the reason may be the way in which the villagers treat him for being the son of their greatest hero. It almost seemed like they threw themselves on the ground so that he could walk on them and not dirty their shoes. Thank goodness Mito didn't let his arrogance get the better of him. Naruto has managed to make other friends, such as the boy Aburam, who was called Shino. He is very quiet, but being next to him is comfortable. You feel that he listens to everything you say, and that he supports you in some way. However, there is something that worried him too much, and it was the fact that there were more and more meetings in his clan. He very rarely saw Shisui and Itachi, who are almost always busy. However, from time to time they had time to train him. Naruto was able to learn other fire-style jutsus, such as Kaiten, Hasenka no Jutsu. But this jutsu Naruto is able to launch a series of small fireballs at high speed. This jutsu uses less chakra than the fireball, so he is able to use it several times without getting tired. Another jutsu that he learned was the Kaiten, Ryuka no Jutsu. With this jutsu Naruto is able to launch a large flame of fire through his mouth. This jutsu uses more chakra than the fireball, so he does not use it much, however, it is very effective. Shisui also had time to teach Naruto his star technique, the Shunshin no Jutsu. It was a simple technique to learn, however, Shisui wanted Naruto to have extreme control over the technique, to be able to use it in battle, just as he does. That's why Shisui is so recognized in the village, because he is the only one who can use this technique in battle. However, something in which he has made a lot of progress is control over his Sharingan. Although he has managed to fully mature it, he must practice with it so that it does not consume more chakra than normal. Itachi has taught him to create Jinjutsus with a Sharingan because this is the only Dijutsu capable of creating illusions with gaze. Itachi was very good at Jinjutsu, so he taught him some. But as I had already said, Itachi and Shisui were acting more and more distant than normal. They were almost always on missions or they said they were busy with important matters. Naruto may be a child, but he wasn't that stupid. He knew that the village was releasing a lot of hatred towards his clan because of the Kyuubi incident, and of course, thanks to that the Uchiha clan has been separated from the village, and generally, he is no longer called for important matters. That led to the head of the Uchiha clan calling too many clan meetings. Naruto believed that they were up to something. He couldn't tell if it was something good or bad, but who knows location. Konoha Ninja Academy. Naruto was in his usual position, last place near the window. Next to him were Sasuke and Shikamaru. Kiyomi went to sit next to Mito one position ahead. Naruto was lost in his thoughts. He may not see Shisui that often anymore, however, he saw him at least 3 times a week, but this time, Shisui had practically disappeared. He hasn't seen him in 2 weeks, and that's what he said. Worries a lot. Shikamaru noticed that his friend was lost in thought. He had a worried face. "Hey, are you okay?" Shikamaru asked. Naruto had a hard time hearing Shikamaru's voice, but he managed. "Why yes, don't worry," Naruto responded with a small, somewhat forced smile. Shikamaru didn't miss that, however, he didn't investigate further. The class continued. For Naruto it passed too quickly, he hardly heard anything they said. He simply got up, picked up his bag with his books and headed to the exit. Kiyomi approached him quickly and said, "Kiyomi. Where are you going, Naruto-kun?" "Naruto. I'm just going to the training ground, I have some things to think about." Kiyomi. "You're worried about your brother, right?" Naruto. "Yes, how do you know?" Kiyomi. "We have all noticed that you are more thoughtful than normal, but only Sasuke and I know that he is worried about your brother. We have not seen him anywhere in the complex either, but don't worry, he will eventually appear, don't worry." "Worry okay?" she said as she gave Naruto a comforting hug. She was so sweet. Naruto. "Thank you," Kiyomi said. Naruto with a smile, this time true. As he said, Naruto headed to the training ground he used in hopes of finding his brother there, perhaps practicing marksmanship or a new jutsu or in a friendly encounter with Itachi. Upon arriving at the training field, he met his brother. However, he met Itachi, who was in his Anbu uniform. Naruto admired Itachi as much as his brother. Itachi became an Anbu captain at 13 years old, a pretty impressive feat. Itachi was very skilled and intelligent, and most of the time he had a completely expressionless face. He was a person who, deep down was loving, and had shown it to Naruto a couple of times. Itachi felt Naruto enter the training field. "Itachi. Hello Naruto, how are you?" Naruto. I don't know how to tell you. Itachi put on a sad look which was very unremarkable. Itachi. Naruto, come on a moment, sit down. Naruto sat on a log which was on the ground, he stood next to Itachi who was already sitting. Naruto. Itachi began. I want to ask you what Sasuke and Kiyomi mean to you. Naruto. They are the best friends I have, said Naruto. Itachi smiled at that. They were the first friends I had my age, they are great, and I must admit that I love them very much enough to give your life for them. Itachi interrupted. Naruto thought for a moment and then responded. Yes, he said weakly, I'm sure I would, they are one of the best things that have happened to me. Itachi smiled and said. Itachi. I'm glad you said that, he said softly. Naruto, I want to ask you another question. Naruto just nodded. Itachi. If I did something really bad, would you still love me as much as you do now? Naruto. Itachi. I hesitate a little. Itachi choked a little. I would never be able to hate you if you have any valid reason for doing what you did. Itachi. That's enough for me, he whispered while hugging Naruto, who didn't understand the action at first, but returned the hug. Itachi released the hug, hitting Naruto on the forehead with his index and middle fingers. Naruto rubbed his forehead with a pout that sometimes hurt. Itachi smiled at Naruto's expression and stood up, slowly moving away from Naruto. However, before entering the forest he stopped and said. Itachi. Naruto, please promise me that you will always take care of Kiyomi and Sasuke, okay? Naruto found himself confused at that statement, but he didn't hesitate. Naruto. I promise you, Itachi. I promise you that I will take care of them with my life. Itachi smiled at that and then lost himself in the darkness of the forest. Time skip. 7 hours later. Naruto had been training all the time with shadow clones to train the other aspects, such as his own style of taijutsu, which was advancing well. He practiced a little chakra control to expand his reserves, and the original did the inevitable physical training. I think it's time to go home, Naruto murmured, dispelling all his clones. A slight dizziness took over his body. I should stop dispelling them all at once, he thought. Naruto left the training ground heading to the Uchiha clan compound. Location. Uchiha clan compound. It was a very quiet night in Konoha. The moon was covered by translucent clouds which gave a mysterious air to the sky. The stars were simply there, observing the world from a long distance. Naruto was walking through the streets of Konoha going directly towards the Uchiha complex. He hoped that his brother was at his house, he was really worried about him. Naruto arrived at the entrance to the Uchiha complex which was empty, not a single person was there. Naruto was surprised by that, there were almost always people there, he didn't give it any importance, maybe there is a clan meeting. Upon entering the complex he was confused because most of the lights were off, even though the children should have gone to sleep now, at least the adults should be awake. This alarmed him a little, what was happening? A feeling of danger took over his body while a chill ran down his spine. His Sharingan activated on its own, its 3 tomos were spinning lazily around his pupil, as if they were waiting for something to happen. Naruto continued advancing until he turned a corner. When he looked again, the air he contained in his lungs vanished and he opened his eyes in total shock. Many bodies of different people were lying on the floor of the street, they had cuts all over their bodies, some were headless, others were missing a limb, there were even bodies of children, which had minor injuries, however, they were still dead. Naruto was completely stunned, all those people were completely dead, their blood dyed the floor red, it almost looked like a sea of thick and shiny red liquid, it was a terrifying and bizarre landscape. Who could have done this? Naruto asked himself in a low voice, he didn't know that someone was listening to him. I did it, eh? Dark and soulless voice echoed throughout the street. Naruto saw a figure of a young man who was kneeling on a light post. The moon previously covered by clouds was now completely visible, and he gave his show right on the back of the man who was looking attentively at Naruto with a completely mature Sharingan in his eyes. Naruto unconsciously took a step back, he squinted his eyes to better see the person in front of him. It was not necessary, because the person came down from the post where he was perched to stand in front of Naruto, revealing the figure of a boy from no more than 13 years old, with 2 strands of black hair that framed his face and a low ponytail. Naruto would recognize that hair anywhere. Itachi Nai. Naruto whispered, that's right, Itachi whispered, his voice now sounded so dark and empty, it was too scary. But what do you think you are doing? Naruto shouted. Itachi. Simple, wipe out the entire Uchiha clan, he said it like it was no big deal. Naruto. Are you crazy? Because you did, Itachi. The reason is also simple, I did it to test my level. Naruto. You must be crazy, you couldn't do this for that reason. Itachi. And what if it is? Are you going to stop me? Naruto. Please Itachi, tell me the truth. Itachi. The truth has already been told, that your short mind cannot accept it is not my problem, but what happened to you? Naruto couldn't finish as he looked directly into Itachi's eyes, his Sharingan spinning rapidly as the tomos joined together to form a kind of 3-pronged shuriken. "But what is that?" Naruto stuttered, he hadn't seen a Sharingan change shape since his mother showed him. "Tsukiyomi," Itachi whispered. Naruto's world turned completely upside down, the sky was red, while the moon changed to black, the bodies and the Uchiha complex disappeared, a cross appeared behind Naruto, which chained him and pressed him against it, immobilizing him. "Welcome to my Tsukiyomi," Naruto whispered Itachi, who was in front of Naruto. "Itachi. In this genjutsu, I can do whatever I want, I can control everything, even time, basically, I am God in this illusion." Naruto tried to say something, but the words didn't come out. The space in front of Naruto changed again, now the Uchiha complex was again, however, this time Naruto could see how Itachi massacred every member of the clan that was in his way. Naruto tried to turn away, but he couldn't. It didn't matter, everywhere he looked he found Itachi killing someone in cold blood. He tried to close his eyes, but he couldn't. One of the things that hurt him the most was seeing Makoto's death, she had treated him so well since his own mother died, she was almost like a mother to him. The massacre was repeated in the illusion over and over again, and Naruto could do nothing but watch. Naruto couldn't take it anymore and began to sob openly. "Nai-san, please help me," Naruto said weakly. "Oh, Shisui won't be able to help you this time," Naruto Itachi's voice echoed throughout the illusion. Quickly the landscape changed to a waterfall, at the edge of it there was a Shisui with his back behind him, and Itachi with a sword was approaching, ready to cross him. Naruto tried to warn his brother, but nothing came out of his mouth. He could only watch as Itachi impaled Shisui and gouged out his eyes, and then gave him a kick that pushed Shisui over the precipice of the waterfall. "Nai-san," Naruto shouted with all his strength. Shisui's body fell cleanly down the cliff, right at the fall he looked directly at Naruto. Naruto could see how his brother turned to look at him and said these words, "Why didn't you help me, Atoto?" Naruto's mind broke completely, tears fell in droves from his eyes, his Sharingan shining too brightly as the tomos began to spin aggressively. "Nai-san." Naruto let out a heartbreaking scream. The sky of the Tsukiyomi seemed to break, then the entire landscape began to break, resembling broken glass. The Tsukiyomi broke in a strange way. The real scenery of the massacred Uchiha clan returned to normal. Naruto was lying on the ground, he was on his knees, and his hands were tightly tense on the ground. Naruto's tears turned into blood, which flowed freely from his eyes. Naruto's Sharingan tomos spun rapidly and then came together, the black of the tomos expanded across his eyes, showing a new Sharingan pattern. It seemed to be a pinwheel that resembled a vortex, it had 4 points and 2 red points stood out on each of its sides. "Manjikyu Sharingan," Itachi whispered in surprise. Naruto didn't know why his eyes were burning so much, he just saw how blood was splashing on the floor, apparently it was coming from his face. "I see that you have awakened the same power as me," Itachi said with a monotone voice. "It is really surprising that you awakened them at this age, I guess you have too much bad luck." Naruto: "I don't understand you, what do you mean by that?" Itachi: "I don't have to explain anything to you." Itachi: "Live with the hatred that you are cultivating right now, hate me and become strong. If you are too weak, in the end you will end up dying like these weak members of the Uchiha clan," he said, while kicking a body that was next to him. "I know that you can become strong, and when you think you are strong enough to defeat me, look for me. And let's decide which of the two of us is the strongest in the Uchiha clan," he said as he turned around. "You wouldn't be able to kill Nai-san." "Itachi Nai," Naruto whispered, however, Itachi heard him, and at that moment he stopped walking. Naruto: "In fact, you are too good to do this," he said as he raised his head and showed his Manjikyu shining. It rotated slightly as his eyes stopped bleeding a little. Naruto: "Don't worry, I know that sooner or later you will tell me the truth," he said, giving a small smile. Itachi only listened to Naruto's words, he continued advancing, but stopped his pace and turned his head to look at Naruto, who could see how silent tears fell from Itachi's eyes. "Goodbye Atoto," Itachi said quietly and then disappeared into a flock of crows. Naruto just stared at the place where Itachi was before until a thought crossed his mind. "Kiyomi, Sasuke," he thought before getting up and running to the house of the aforementioned. His Manjikyu Sharingan began to glow in despair. If the two of them were dead, he wouldn't be able to bear it, he wouldn't be able to. He arrived at the clan leader's house and entered. At first he did not see anything because all the lights were off, however, he continued advancing to find a door that led to a room to which it was open. Naruto's ears were able to capture the soft sound of crying coming from the room. He quickly approached the door and looked out, he could only see the lifeless body of Makoto and her husband Fugaku. Next to them was Sasuke, who was hugging Kiyomi, who was crying openly. Without thinking, Naruto entered the room calling the door. Sasuke's attention. "Sasuke." "Naruto. It's you," he said. Naruto: "Yes, it's me," he said simply. He could see the small tears escaping from Sasuke's eyes, which were now red with a tomo gently rotating around his pupil. Naruto moved a little closer to see Kiyomi, who was covering her face with her hands. Naruto knelt next to her as she was on his legs. "Naruto." "Kiyomi." Naruto whispered. Kiyomi looked up to see a Naruto staring at her, his eyes had a strange pattern, but that didn't matter to her now. Kiyomi. Naruto. Are you alive? She said as she hugged him and started to cry harder. Calm down now, Naruto whispered to calm her down a little. Naruto looked at Kiyomi's teary eyes, red and with a spinning tomo. So the two of them awakened the Sharingan, he thought. Sasuke. Naruto, what's wrong with your eyes? Naruto. What do you mean? Sasuke. They have a strange pattern and you're bleeding from them. Naruto let go of Kiyomi's hug for a moment and went to the bathroom. He had been in that house before so he knew where it was. He looked at his reflection in the mirror and watched as his Mangekyou glowed in the darkness. What is this? He asked himself. Naruto returned to Sasuke and Kiyomi, who was beginning to calm down. I'm going to kill Itachi, Sasuke said quietly, but Naruto heard him. I think you're jumping to conclusions, said Naruto. Are you crazy? Kiyomi yelled at Naruto. But Naruto, he killed them all. Sasuke also shouted at Naruto. Guys, think a little, said Naruto. Would Itachi really kill the entire clan just to test his power? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There must be something else, something we may not understand. You think? Kiyomi asked. Guys, you know very well that Itachi loved you very much, even everyone in the clan, he couldn't just kill you like that. I don't know, Sasuke murmured. Just think about it, will you? Ask. Okay, said Sasuke. The boys began to leave until another Kiyomi suddenly fainted. What happened? Sasuke asked, however, he also fell unconscious. Maybe they fainted because Itachi used the Tsukiyomi and showed them the same thing as me, plus they awakened the Sharingan for the first time, that must have consumed all their energy, Naruto intuited. Naruto carried Kiyomi and Sasuke on his own. For the first time he noticed the bruise that Sasuke had on his cheek. Maybe he's trying to fight Itachi, he thought. When he left the house, he could see how the Yondaime Hokage arrived with some Anbu at the scene. Minato could only see a small boy leaving a house with two other children. What surprised him was seeing the eyes of the boy who was still conscious. They were a totally different Sharingan. Naruto looked at the Yondaime Hokage, his eyes felt too heavy and burned a lot, but really, he was getting too tired. For some reason, he felt like his eyes were absorbing a large part of his chakra. He could only see how everything became black and finally dropped. Time skip. 2 days. The entire village was shocked to learn that the heir of the Uchiha clan, Itachi Uchiha, had massacred his entire clan, leaving only 3 survivors, which were his 2 younger brothers and 1 more boy. It was rumored that Itachi had collapsed under the pressure of being an Anbu captain at such a young age, and that caused him to perform such an act of madness, according to civilians. All the people presented their condolences to the now almost extinct clan, and a funeral was currently being prepared for all the members who fell on that fateful night. Location. Konoha Hospital. Naruto felt a very unfamiliar aroma from his house. It smelled like alcohol. He slowly opened his eyes, however, he had to close them again, since the light in the room had hurt him. He blinked a couple of times to get used to the light. He could only observe that he was lying on a bed surrounded by completely white walls. I'm in the hospital, he thought. It took Naruto a while to compose himself. His head hurt, plus he felt a slight discomfort in his eyes. He wasn't sure if what happened was real or was just a nightmare, a horrible nightmare. He slowly got up from the stretcher, messing up the sheets in the process, jumped out of bed, rubbed his eyes a little, walked to the door and opened it slowly. He didn't want the nurses to notice that he woke up and start to review it. When he opened the door a little, he stopped when he heard the conversation of 2 nurses who were a little further down the hallway where his room was. The hallway was quiet, so he could hear what they were talking about. Did you hear what happened to the Uchiha clan? Yes, I heard that the heir massacred the clan. There were only 3 children left as survivors, poor things, so it wasn't a dream, Naruto thought with a sad face. Wait a minute, he thought again, if that wasn't a dream then. Naruto silently left his room without attracting the attention of the 2 nurses. He quickly went to the end of the hallway where there was a bathroom. He silently slipped inside it. It was lucky that there was no one in there. Naruto stood in front of a mirror and looked at his reflection, closing his eyes so that when he opened them a completely mature Sharingan would be shown. If that wasn't a dream, then he said those words in his mind. He remembered that the moment Itachi put him in the Tsukiyomi, and when he saw his brother die, he felt his eyes burn like hell. He knew that this way he felt when his Sharingan evolved. He also remembered when he saw his new eyes in the mirror at Kiyomi and Sasuke's house. Naruto looked carefully at his reflection in the mirror. What was he supposed to do to see those eyes again? Maybe repeat the process to activate the normal Sharingan. Naruto directed much more chakra into his eyes when he suddenly saw the tomos of his Sharingan begin to spin rapidly, so that his tomos joined together and then expanded, showing the black background and pattern of his Mangekyou Sharingan. His Mangekyou glowed and Naruto took a step back involuntarily. He quickly grabbed his eyes. They hurt like hell, however, they didn't bleed like the other time. Naruto could only get used to the pain he felt. It took a while until he was able to remove his hands from his eyes. When he did so he could see his Mangekyou Sharingan very clearly. If before with the 3-volume Sharingan he had incredible vision, now he did. That I was seeing everything, I could see everything so clearly, but that was all, for now. Naruto deactivated his new eyes, instantly feeling how his eyes thanked him as he stopped feeling burning. Naruto left the bathroom with equal caution. He ran down the hall at high speed. He wanted to leave the hospital. He wanted to see how the Uchiha clan was doing. Naruto left the hospital unnoticed. When he reached the public streets, he began to run as fast as he could. He passed by ignoring the people, ignoring the hustle and bustle, ignoring everything. The people who saw him running so quickly only gave him a shout. Look of pity and empathy. Naruto didn't want to accept those looks. They don't know what it feels like to lose everything you love. Naruto arrived at the entrance of the Uchiha clan, which was completely covered with yellow tape. Naruto just crossed the yellow tape, as if he didn't care at all. He walked through the empty streets of the clan. It was so lonely, to think that all this before was full of people who lived their lives normally, people who loved each other like brothers, people who loved. Small drops of water began to fall from the sky. Those drops quickly turned into a drizzle that camouflaged the small tears that fell from Naruto's eyes. Naruto arrived at his hut. He was so the same, he simply entered. When he was inside he took off his slippers as was customary and put them in the corner of the door. Naruto passed through each room of the house until he stopped in the room by Shisui. Nai-san, Naruto whispered with pain. Naruto noticed something different on Shisui's bed. It looked like a scroll. He simply picked it up. It didn't say anything more than a sentence. Go to the clan meeting room. At the back of the room there is a hatch that will take you to an underground room. There is a stone that will clarify the doubts you have about your new eyes. Naruto was a little confused by the scroll he was reading. He had never heard of a secret room in the meeting room. To have information like that, you must have a giant link with the Uchiha clan. It could be that the leader of the clan Uchiha knew about that room, and if so, his heir must also know about said room. This is left to Itachi, Naruto thought. After all, he is the only one who should know about that room besides his father. Naruto didn't waste any more time and headed to the Uchiha clan meeting room. When he arrived, he entered directly into the room. It had a low table and some cushions where the meeting attendees were supposed to sit. He advanced to the end of the room. Under a rug he found a hatch which was locked. Damn, Naruto thought. The key to the hatch must be in Fugaku-sama's room, after all he was the leader of the clan. I don't have time to waste, he said to trace a couple of stamps. Ram, monkey, rat. Shunshin no jutsu. He said so that later his body began to blink and in a moment he was at the door of the clan leader's house. He quickly went up to the room on the second floor, right where he remembered Fugaku's personal office was. Upon entering he found a desk and a chair that was located behind it. He simply approached the desk and opened the drawer that, for his surprise, it was open. He rummaged through the small drawer until he found a small gold-colored key, which was a little rusty. Naruto. Well, I guess this will be the key after that little thought. I perform the same hand seals that I later performed Shunshin no jutsu. In the blink of an eye, Naruto was back in the Uchiha clan meeting room. That jutsu that his brother taught him was really useful. He would have to learn to do it without hand seals and if possible, learn to use it in battle. Like his brother did. He quickly approached the hatch that was under the mat. He was actually surprised that such a simple hiding place worked there. Well, after all this room was not used much. Well, not before that. He placed the key in the lock of the padlock, turned it until he heard a click and the padlock opened. He opened the hatch and found a hallway of stairs that descended. Without any fear, he went down the stairs until he found a longer hallway. That it was completely dark. He activated his Sharingan and could see some small torches which were obviously unlit. Naruto concentrated a small amount of chakra into his lungs and converted it into fire-style chakra. He simply directed the chakra to his mouth and gave a small puff. A very thread of fire emerged from Naruto's mouth, which lit a torch. Naruto grabbed the torch and used it to light the others that extended along the hallway. He advanced down the long hallway, occasionally lighting the other torches to have a better view. His Sharingan was already deactivated. There was no need to spend chakra. It was a small expense, but it didn't matter. It was badly wasted chakra. Finally he reached the end of the hallway. There was a huge room, so you could barely see it with the torch that Naruto was holding. However, he lit the other torches that were in the room. He could see the large rock that was in the middle of the room. On the top it had the symbol of the Uchiha clan painted. However, beyond that nothing else could be seen on the rock. Naruto was a little confused until he thought. Naruto. Whoever put this here surely wanted the Uchihas to be the only ones to read what is supposedly engraved on this rock. So he simply activated his Sharingan again, 3 tomos spinning lazily as always. Apparently Naruto's Sharingan liked that rhythm of rotation, and Naruto wasn't complaining. Like magic, the rock that was previously empty except for the Uchiha logo painted on its tip now had letters that were apparently engraved on it. The rock basically had information about the Sharingan that Naruto already knew, thanks to the book he had read previously, that was all, because Itachi had left him a note about a rock that contained information that he already knew, until he remembered something. It will clarify doubts about your new eyes, Itachi knew about his Mangekyou Sharingan. Naruto closed his eyes, and when he opened them the tomo spun aggressively and then took on the pattern of Naruto's Mangekyou. Naruto rubbed his eyes again in clear pain, however, this time it hurt less. Naruto watched with wide eyes as more letters appeared on the large rock in the middle of the room. He only managed to read what was engraved on the rock. If you are reading this part, it means that you awakened the power beyond the limit of the Sharingan, the Mangekyou Sharingan. At the beginning you must know why you awakened said eyes. For an Uchiha to obtain the Mangekyou, the first requirement is to having a completely mature normal Sharingan, in total, 3 tomos in each eye. The second requirement is to experience the death of a loved person in the front row. Although the cost of power is too cruel, rest assured that you will obtain guaranteed power. At the moment of awakening the Mangekyou Sharingan, the pattern will change to an independent one, replacing the normal pattern of pupil and tomos. Before telling you the benefits of Mangekyou Sharingan, you should know the great risk you run when using it. First of all, this form of Sharingan drains more chakra than normal. At first it may hurt a little, but rest assured that you will get used to it. Pain. Now, the main consequence is that the more you use the power of Mangekyou, you will lose the light in your eyes until you become completely blind. The only way left to cure blindness is to exchange your eyes with a relative of blood that also awakened the Mangekyou Sharingan. By transplanting that person's eyes, you will obtain the so-called eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, which eliminates the consequence of blindness, and at the same time, your abilities will gain a little more power. Naruto stopped at that point if he ever had to resort to the power of his Mangekyou to protect those he loves. Who would he change his eyes with when he became blind? His brother's eyes were not an option because according to what he saw, Itachi ripped out Shisui's eyes and he kept them. But then he remembered. At the time his mother died, Shisui had notified him that he removed his mother's eyes to seal them in a scroll that now kept the secret drawer that they have. The drawer was under Shisui's bed and there they kept the most important things. Important to them, their mother's eyes were still a command. However, was it right? Was it right to use their mother's eyes to gain power? To use their mother's eyes? Naruto left those thoughts behind and continued reading. Now, let's move on to the abilities that the Mangekyou Sharingan grants, as well as a new vision. Amaterasu, Black Flames, God of the Sun. Generally the most common ability that the few Mangekyou users awaken, the Amaterasu requires a great concentration of chakra in the eye when firing. You will be able to invoke the Black Flames, which never extinguish until they completely consume their target. They are not extinguished even by water. Tsukiyomi, God of the Moon. Tsukiyomi is a really powerful genjutsu. Within the illusion you are truly a god because you can control everything, matter, time, space. You can make 3 days pass within the illusion, while in the real world, it will only be 3 seconds, this for torture purposes. Susanoo, God of Storms and the Sea. It is an ability that Mangekyou users awaken in each eye. The Susanoo is a spectral figure in the shape of a skeleton which protects its user. Its resistance is so much that it is capable of resisting the most powerful attacks. It has phases, which you will discover. Kamui, Authority of the Gods. Kamui is a really strange ability even among Mangekyou users. It is a space-time jutsu capable of giving you access to a pocket dimension which has too many uses. You can send parts of your body to that dimension to become intangible. You can even directly access it to teleport anywhere in the world. The rest of this ability is a mystery. Kodomatsukami, Distinguished Celestial God. This ability is even rarer than Kamui. This genjutsu can be known as the strongest in the world. This genjutsu is capable of controlling the opponent's mind, creating false memories, and exchanging them for true ones without leaving a trace. This genjutsu is capable of controlling the opponent's mind even without them ever realizing it. The only disadvantage is that this genjutsu is capable of being used only within a period of 10 years. If Naruto was previously surprised just by the Sharingan changing its pattern, now he was speechless. This was truly a rush. Thinking that the Uchihas had such power was insane. Really, is this right? He asked himself as he placed a hand on his right eye, his Mangekyou shining brightly. Protect others Itachi, I know you are not a traitor. Sasuke, you are my best friend. I would never forgive myself if something happened to you. Kiyomi, you have been so good to me. If something happened to you, His Mangekyou shone again, this time in anticipation of what could happen if Naruto wasn't strong enough to protect the ones he loved. He didn't want to feel that feeling again, that of losing someone he loved in front of you. I will become strong, he said in a low voice. I will protect those I love, and I will seek the truth about you Itachi Nai. I will ensure that no one else suffers what we suffer. I am Naruto Uchiha. His Mangekyou began to spin rapidly as he shone even brighter. I will protect those I love and I will become strong to do it, just like you did. Odo-san, Oka-san, Nai-san, just watch me. Naruto was at the top of Mount Hokage, specifically above the head of the third Hokage, the man who sacrificed himself for his village. Naruto was completely attentive to his thoughts. He was thinking about everything, about him, about Sasuke, about Kiyomi, about his training, about Itachi, about the village. Naruto was already clear about what he was going to do, he was clear about his goal, he would become a shinobi, that was his dream, since he was little, however, now he was clear about why he would do it, he would become strong to fulfill the promise he made. He did to Itachi, he would protect Sasuke and Kiyomi with his life, but he also had another objective, well, to be specific he had two more. He had seen with his own eyes the tears that Itachi shed before his departure. Naruto knew that he had not annihilated his clan like that, because so, he knew that there was a reason behind all that. He would become strong to look for Itachi and know the truth about the Uchiha clan. That was one of the things that I longed for most, and the other objective was a secret. Since it was a very long-term project, however, I couldn't keep it a secret forever. At just 7 years old, Naruto has experienced how ruthless the shinobi world was, because from one moment to the next, he lost almost all the people he loved because of one person, and he lived in the best of villages. So that made him wonder, what was the childhood like of those who lived in other villages even smaller than Konoha? What if somehow more children live horrible childhoods because of shinobi confrontations? There may be children who have grown up between wars and who have had to see or experience horrible things. Naruto didn't even want to think about that led him to think about his ultimate goal, peace, or at least, the absence of wars between the great nations. Absolute peace was impossible, however, tranquility between the nations is still possible. Nations, the absence of major conflicts that ruin people's lives, he would fight for that, he would achieve it. Naruto stood up from the Hokage's head, breathed a little in the calm afternoon air, then traced the Shunshin seals. Ram, monkey, rat. In the blink of an eye Naruto was at the entrance to the hospital. He still had to learn to do the Shunshin without seals. Naruto entered the reception. "Good afternoon," said Naruto, addressing the nurse who was the receptionist. "Good afternoon, child, what do you need?" asked the nurse. "I would like to know what Sasuke and Kiyomi Uchiha's room is." "It's room 121, on the second floor, thank you very much," said Naruto, bowing slightly. "It's nothing," said the nurse with a small smile. Naruto climbed the stairs to the second floor. He arrived at Sasuke and Kiyomi's room. He opened the door slowly, in case one of the two was awake. He slowly entered the room and closed the door softly. He could see a Kiyomi looking at him. The window with melancholic and dull eyes. Sasuke was still asleep, but he was moving, a sign that he was about to wake up. Naruto approached Kiyomi, who did not turn to see him. When Naruto was a few steps away from Kiyomi, he started a conversation with a question that Naruto wasn't expecting. "Why do you defend him so much, Naruto? Why do you defend Itachi so much? Kiyomi, what do you think about what happened? Why do you think Itachi annihilated the clan?" Naruto responded with two more questions. I don't know," Kiyomi responded. "I already said it before, do you really think that Itachi would kill the clan to test his power? Please, Itachi was an Anbu captain at 13, that was enough proof of how strong he was. There must be one more reason why he annihilated the clan. He loved us all very much, but especially you two, so much so that before the massacre, he made me promise that I would protect you." Kiyomi was surprised by that. Sasuke was listening to them from the bed, since he had already woken up. "And what did you say?" Kiyomi asked. Naruto smiled. "Obviously I said I would. I love you two very much, you were my first friends, and now you are the best I have. I have to admit that I have grown fond of you. I don't know what I would do without you two." Naruto sat on Kiyomi's bed, who was now facing him. "Kiyomi, now I will tell you straight, I promise that I will protect you, not only because I promised Itachi, but because now I consider you something important to me. I promise that we will become strong, and we will seek the truth about Itachi. I promise that I will take care of Sasuke and you." Naruto felt his cheeks a little hot when he said that. Kiyomi felt a tingle in her body when Naruto said that. She couldn't help but feel happy. She gave a smile and hugged Naruto while whispering, "Thank you." Naruto just returned the hug. He could feel Kiyomi's silent little tears. "Don't put all that weight on yourself, we will protect you too." A voice was heard on the other side of the room. It was Sasuke who spoke even while lying down. "I'm counting on that," said Naruto. Sasuke just smiled. "When they leave the hospital tomorrow, we'll start training, okay?" Sasuke and Kiyomi nodded. Time skip. One day. The entire village was currently at a funeral organized for the Uchiha clan, each clan of Konoha, offering their condolences to the only survivors who accepted it. The fourth Hokage presented a short speech in honor of the Uchiha clan, one of the founding clans of Konoha. After the funeral was over, Naruto told Sasuke and Kiyomi to meet him at the forest training ground. Naruto knew that Sasuke and Kiyomi had already been there, so he didn't worry about them getting lost. Location: forest training ground. Naruto was throwing kunai and shurikens left and right, he did it to kill time. Behind him, some clones were meditating attached to the branch of a tree, on their body they had a lot of leaves stuck. Naruto did this to expand his reserves and in the process improve his chakra control, although at this point, that was easy. Naruto strangely felt a chakra approaching from behind him, he didn't understand why, but apparently he was able to sense when someone was approaching him. This had happened a couple of times when Shisui tried to scare him. Naruto felt that the chakra was slowly approaching behind him until a small sound of the tinkling of a bell rang in his head. It was a little faint, but he managed to hear it. He quickly turned around to see how Kiyomi was trying to scare him. Kiyomi was a little paralyzed. How come Naruto turned around before she scared him? "Hello Naruto," he said with a nervous smile. "And Sasuke?" Naruto asked. "He came after me, he stayed a little behind because I ran away. Well, this one scare me? Not as you think. Alright." Kiyomi saw how Naruto closed his eyes and seemed to concentrate. She was confused but decided to watch and see what happens. "And if I concentrate maybe I can feel Sasuke just like I did with Kiyomi," Naruto thought. Naruto could feel a chakra slowly approaching. Suddenly Sasuke appeared on the training field walking calmly. Naruto simply stood up, making a mental note that he would go over his new skill later. "Very well guys," Naruto called the attention of the two brothers. "The first thing I will do is test your abilities. I want you both to fight against me without holding back that." "You're sure?" Kiyomi asked. "Don't worry guys, I'll be serious too, otherwise I wouldn't ask you." "Okay, let's go," Sasuke said. Kiyomi hesitated a little, but then nodded. After all, she saw Sasuke and Naruto fight. She knew that Naruto was very strong. The two brothers positioned themselves in a standard battle pose that their father had taught them, while Naruto got into the Uchiha intercepting fist pose. Since he still hasn't finished his own taijutsu, it was taking more work than normal. Sasuke and Kiyomi quickly approached Naruto, who was waiting patiently for them. Both brothers began to attack with consecutive punches and kicks, however, Naruto was able to block them all. Naruto was a little surprised to see that Sasuke and Kiyomi were not lost in battle, even when fighting the same opponent at the same time. They have very good teamwork. I even have a hard time stopping the blows, Naruto thought while getting a little defensive. Kiyomi tried a side kick that was blocked by Naruto's forearm. At that moment Sasuke tried to hit Naruto's other side, who blocked it with some difficulty. Naruto jumped back and advanced at high speed against the brothers. Kiyomi and Sasuke could barely see Naruto, thanks to the speed he was going. Sasuke could not react to the blow that fell towards his face. Kiyomi, seeing that his brother was hit, tried to hit Naruto's face, but he turned around and gave a roundhouse kick to Kiyomi, which was thrown backwards. Naruto advanced quickly towards Sasuke and started one-on-one. Unlike the other time, Sasuke had a harder time stopping Naruto's blows. Sasuke retreated after receiving a blow to the stomach, then he received a kick in the side. Naruto was being a little tougher. Kiyomi tried to take Naruto by surprise, however, when he hit, Naruto disappeared, showing a log. A substitution. Kiyomi thought. Naruto didn't give Kiyomi time to think and kicked her calf, causing her to lose her balance, then he swept her legs, causing her to fall completely. Sasuke approached Naruto to hit him from behind. Naruto heard the tinkling in his head again. But what? Naruto thought. He quickly turned around and narrowly avoided Sasuke's blow. That was weird, Naruto thought. However, he didn't waste any time and gave another blow to Sasuke's stomach. Naruto jumped back and waited for his opponents to compose themselves. Sasuke and Kiyomi managed to forget about the pain of the blows and stood next to each other, waiting to see what Naruto would do. Apparently they haven't noticed, thought Naruto. "I'm going to give you a little help," said Naruto. "I want you to concentrate chakra and direct it towards your eyes, okay?" Kiyomi and Sasuke didn't understand why they would have to do that, however they obeyed. The moment he directed the chakra towards his eyes, they began to burn slightly, however the pain disappeared almost instantly. Kiyomi and Sasuke opened and closed their eyes and then opened them, showing a novice Sharingan, or with just a Tomo. "What happened?" Sasuke asked. He felt that he could see better. Naruto picked up a kunai and carried it in front of Sasuke, showing his reflection on the blade of the kunai. Sasuke was surprised to see a Sharingan in his eyes. He had already read about it in a book. Naruto directed the kunai blade at Kiyomi so that she could see her Sharingan. Kiyomi was excited to know that she had awakened her Sharingan until she remembered something. "Why did we wake him up?" Kiyomi asked. The impact of the massacre plus the death of his parents must have influenced the Sharingan to awaken, Naruto explained. "Before we fight again, I must tell you something quickly. The Sharingan is a very good tool, however, it is not he is all-powerful. Do not be influenced by his power. You should not depend on him. After all, you cannot depend on anything that will make you weak. Do you understand?" "Yes," said the two Uchihas. "Very well, now, show me what your Sharingan can do," he said with a challenging smile. Kiyomi and Sasuke looked directly at Naruto, their Sharingan spinning slowly, analyzing Naruto who was preparing to attack. Naruto ran towards the brothers at high speed, however, Kiyomi and Sasuke Sharingan were able to see him, the movements that were very fast before could now be seen well. Naruto attempted a hook at Sasuke, however, he was able to block it, he quickly counterattacked with a blow to Naruto's stomach, who blocked it. Sasuke and Naruto engaged in an exciting taijutsu battle, Kiyomi wasted no time and joined his brother. Naruto struck at high speed, but Sasuke and Kiyomi blocked them thanks to their Sharingan. They were immersed in a battle of fists and kicks, Kiyomi could see a slight opening in Naruto's defense, she took advantage and gave a low kick, Naruto instantly became destabilized, Sasuke took advantage and landed a big blow on Naruto's stomach, revenge it is best when served cold. Kiyomi kicked Naruto in the chest, sending him backwards, Sasuke quickly advanced and attempted a blow on the stunned Naruto. Naruto felt the tinkling in his head resounding loudly and instinctively dodged Sasuke's blow, however he did not expect Kiyomi to appear and punch his face, Naruto stepped back and took a breath, he did not expect such a beating. "You guys are good," he said, praising the two Uchihas. "However, I have trained a lot, it's time to show results." Naruto disappeared in a blur of speed appearing in front of Sasuke. The Uchiha Sharingan was barely able to follow Naruto's movement. Naruto extended his arm with the intention of hitting his stomach. Sasuke tried to block it, but he was very slow, so the blow landed on his body. Sasuke almost screamed in pain, Naruto had used great force, Sasuke was thrown back, Kiyomi tried to hit Naruto, however, Naruto crouched down and leaned on his arms to kick Kiyomi in the stomach. Kiyomi and Sasuke compassed themselves and looked directly at Naruto who spoke to them. "And that's why you can't completely trust the Sharingan, their eyes may be able to see my movements, but if your body isn't able to respond just as quickly, what does it help? That's why they have to train your body as well as your sight, if you do it, you can go far," he said as he closed his eyes and activated his Sharingan, 3 tomos rotating lazily around his pupil. While the brothers whispered, they didn't know that Naruto had a completely mature Sharingan. "Now attack me," said Naruto as he focused his attention on Sasuke and Kiyomi. Kiyomi and Sasuke advanced at their maximum speed against Naruto, Naruto watched them calmly, his Sharingan shining in anticipation. He was able to see each of their movements in super slow motion, he could dodge them all without any problem, he was even able to predict what they were going to do. Naruto disappeared from Sasuke and Kiyomi's sight. Sasuke only felt a blow on his back and then a kick which sent him to the ground before Kiyomi could react, Naruto was in front of her, she tried to attack however Naruto was very fast and he hit her in the back. The pit of her stomach, Naruto didn't hit her that hard, after all it was training, plus she was a woman. Naruto created a clone that subdued Sasuke to the ground, placing his hand on the boy's back and the other on the boy's head. Naruto finished off Kiyomi by sweeping her legs causing her to fall. He picked up a kunai and pointed it at Kiyomi, symbolizing that he won. "I win," said Naruto. "Okay, you win," said the brothers. Naruto loosened his hold on Sasuke and removed the kunai that was aimed at Kiyomi, then helped them up. "Naruto-kun, you are very strong," Kiyomi said, praising the boy. "I'm not one to brag about that, besides, you can be just as strong, you just need to train more, you are just as capable as me," said Naruto with a smile. "Well, now that you've awakened the Sharingan, I think it's necessary. Let them learn the interceptor style of the Uchiha." Time skip. 12 hours. Generally Naruto was used to training for too many hours, since he did it with Shisui and Itachi, however, this is the first time that Sasuke and Kiyomi trained for so long. Kiyomi was almost falling, while Sasuke was crouched breathing deeply. Naruto was standing in front of the two of them, with some signs of fatigue, nothing more than that. "Alright guys, I guess that's enough for today," said Naruto. At the moment of saying that, Sasuke lay down on the ground catching his breath, while Kiyomi walked over to a tree to lie down on it. "If you wait for me a moment," said Naruto and then made the Shunshin seals. Ram, monkey, rat. Shunshin no Jutsu. Naruto's body flickered and suddenly disappeared from the forest. The brothers were too tired to be surprised by that, so they just waited. About 2 minutes later, Naruto appeared in the forest again, this time with 2 bottles of water in his hand. Naruto went to Sasuke and gave him a bottle, then sat next to Kiyomi and handed him the bottle which he received with enthusiasm. Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi began to talk about trivial things until Naruto felt a weight fall on his shoulder. He turned his head to see a sleepy Kiyomi, who was slowly falling asleep. "Wow, you're tired," said Naruto. "I don't know how it's possible that you feel so good after so much training," said Kiyomi. "There's a reason I'm the teacher, how arrogant, oh come on, you're very good too, I already know it, who is believed now?" Kiyomi just laughed. "Well, I guess it's time to go home," Naruto said, getting up. Kiyomi tried to get up, but when she tried she fell to the ground again, apparently her body was too tired. "This I can't get up," she said a little blushing. "Don't worry," he said as he turned around, "get on my back." "Huh? Are you sure?" "Sure," said Naruto as he crouched down. Kiyomi just climbed on Naruto's back. Naruto approached Sasuke and helped him up, obviously without letting go of Kiyomi. Location: abandoned Uchiha complex. Naruto and Sasuke were walking, while Kiyomi was on Naruto's back. "Hey, what are we doing tomorrow?" Sasuke asked. "I don't know," Naruto replied lazily. "I'm almost sure that tomorrow the Hokage will call me to talk about our pension, since we're orphans now, plus I think he'll give us a new apartment and stuff. Why would I call you?" "I honestly don't know, however there is something I want to talk to the Hokage about." "What is it about?" "It's something of my interest, could you tell me?" "You ask a lot of questions, you know. I guess I'm a curious guy." Sasuke and Naruto arrived at the clan head's house and entered. Naruto took Kiyomi up to her room and laid her down on her bed. She was already fast asleep. Sasuke went to his room, but not before saying goodbye to Naruto and telling him that he could use the guest room to sleep. Naruto just fell on the bed and started to think. "I have so many things on my mind," I whisper. Time skip. One night Naruto was in the living room of Sasuke and Kiyomi's house. He knew that the brothers would sleep a little more because of yesterday. He was preparing breakfast for them. The most he could do is a sandwich. He would have to learn to cook, not now there was no one to do it for him. Naruto sat down on the couch and started eating his own sandwich. He was eating patiently until he heard a knock on the door. "It's about time," he thought. He approached the door and opened it, showing a person in silver armor with a mask that had dog features, silver hair that defied gravity. It was clearly an Anbu of the Hokage. "Hokage-sama requests your presence Uchiha-san." The Anbu got straight to the point. "Understood," said Naruto, so that the Anbu grabbed him by the shoulder and they disappeared in an explosion of smoke. Location: Hokage Tower, hidden village in the leaves. Naruto and the Anbu appeared outside the Hokage's office. The Anbu opened the door and let Naruto in. As Naruto passed he could see the fourth Hokage sitting calmly as he watched him pass. "Uchiha-san is here as requested by Hokage-sama," said the Anbu. "Thank you Inu, dog, you can leave." The Anbu bowed and disappeared in another explosion of smoke. "Okay Naruto," said the Hokage. "How do you know my name?" Naruto said. "I am the Hokage, it is my duty to help the Leaf and therefore know everything about my village, but don't worry, I'm sure you know why you are here." "Yes, he's going to tell me about Sasuke, Kiyomi and I's pension." "That's right, well, I just wanted to tell you that you will get your sum every month, also here," he said, throwing him some keys. "They are the keys to your new apartment. Unfortunately I can't allow you to live in the Uchiha neighborhood for now, we have to wait for Sasuke or Kiyomi to become leader of the clan, either way. I managed to give them an apartment somewhat away from the hustle and bustle of the streets," he said with a smile. Naruto smiled and thanked the Hokage. "If you'll excuse me, Hokage-sama, I would like to ask you a favor." Sure, tell me, I'll see what I can do." "Vera, I will become a Leaf Shinobi, so I have been training for that." "Continue," said the Hokage. "Well you see, I once read about Fuinjutsu, sealing arts." The Hokage opened his eyes slightly. "I investigated a little more and I realized that this art is very useful and versatile, however, I realized that very few practice it, but at the same time I realized that the Uzumakas were the greatest representatives of this art. I think I already know where he's going." The Hokage thought with some interest. "Your wife is in Uzumaki, so with all due respect, I want to know if she could train me a little in Fujutsu, with her permission of course. This could turn out well, for him and for everyone." The Hokage thought again. "Besides, from what I know, he is half Senju, so technically he is a cousin of the Uzumakas. I don't see anything wrong with that." "I studied it, you are someone very interesting Naruto. Very few people understand how good Fuinjutsu is, and of those people who understand it, most are not interested in studying it. Come by my house in the afternoon, so you can talk to Kushina, okay?" "Thank you very much Hokage-sama." Naruto almost jumped with excitement, knowing that he would have a chance. Location: Forest training ground. Kiyomi, Sasuke and Naruto were doing physical training. After Naruto's Sharingan is not everything lesson, they have decided to train their bodies more. After physical training, Naruto got up and called the brothers to an area of the training field. "Alright guys, it's time to know something essential for any shinobi. I guess you know what elemental ninjutsu is," said Naruto. The two brothers nodded. "Well, as you know, there are 5 elements of the nature of chakra, which are fire, water, wind, earth and lightning. Each one has its different jutsus, and well, you know however. We have to know which element of nature we possess, that's why these things exist," he said while taking out 3 papers from his pocket. "What are those?" Sasuke asked. "These are chakra papers, they are papers that are created based on a special tree that contains chakra, that's it. The functions of these papers is to determine the nature of your chakra, infusing it with a little of it," he said and handed him a chakra paper to each one. "How do we know what nature we have?" Kiyomi asked. "According to what I read, when you pass your chakra towards the paper, it has different reactions that tell you your nature. These are: If the paper burns it is fire, if the paper gets wet it is water, if the paper is cut, half is wind, if it turns into dust it is earth, and if it wrinkles it is lightning. Now, how about we start? You're first, Kiyomi. Okay, said Kiyomi, and then began to direct chakra towards the paper, which had the following reaction. The paper crumpled and then burned badly. Wow. What does that mean? Kiyomi asked excitedly. Apparently you have two chakra affinities, one is lightning, and the other is fire brilliant. Kiyomi shouted. Okay Sasuke, it's your turn, said Naruto. Sasuke directed his chakra towards the blade which reacted the same as Kiyomi's. Wow, it seems that you also have fire and lightning chakra. You really are twins, said Naruto. Well, I guess it's my turn. Naruto began to direct his chakra towards the paper, which had the following reaction. The paper was cut into two pieces, one part of the paper was crumpled into a ball, and the other part was burned to ashes. Incredible, Sasuke said. What affinities do you have, Naruto-kun? Asked a curious Kiyomi. Apparently I have affinities to fire, wind and lightning. That's great. The girl shouted. It is obvious that I would have an affinity for fire due to my Uchiha blood, lightning must be my own affinity, but wind. It is very rare for there to be wind users in Konoha from what we have been taught, the only thing I can intuit is that the wind comes from my Senju blood. Thought Naruto. And now what do we do? Sasuke asked. Well, the first thing we will do is train our affinities, by training them it is easier to do elemental jutsus, and they will also use less chakra. How do we do that? Naruto walked over to a leaf on a tree and picked up about 3 leaves. Shisui taught me that to train an elemental affinity it is necessary to follow a series of steps. The first thing is to train our fire affinity. I assure you that this will be easy, because it is the main affinity of our clan. Shisui told me that what we have to do is set this leaf on fire with our chakra. Okay, let's start. 1 hour later. Naruto regrets having said that it would be easier, training an elemental affinity was the most tedious he knew. A full hour has passed, and he has only managed to heat the blade a little. It was becoming very annoying, until he remembered something. How could I be so stupid, Naruto said. What's wrong? Sasuke asked. Do either of you two know Kage Bunshin no Jutsu? No, they responded simply. Naruto made the cross seal and said. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Instantly, 10 shadow clones appeared at Naruto's side. But if they are normal clones, I don't see anything different about them, said Kiyomi. Go closer to them and try to touch them. If it's a normal Bunshin you won't be able to touch it. Kiyomi approached the shadow clone and touched his shoulder. Instantly the clone touched Kiyomi's forehead with his index finger and middle finger. Just as Itachi did, the clone smiled and said. Hello, hey. Kiyomi said, how can the clone talk? Naruto explained to Sasuke and Kiyomi about the Kage Bunshin, so these clones are physical and also have their own consciousness. That's right, said Naruto. This is very cool, Kiyomi said while playing clapping games with a clone. But shadow clones have a secret, and that is that everything they learn is transmitted to the original user, so training with them makes training with them faster. However, they do not transmit physical experiences. I see, Sasuke. Let's see how many you can do. Sasuke made the cross seal and said. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 2 clones of Sasuke appeared next to him. Apparently he couldn't do as many as Naruto, he needs more chakra. Can I only do 2? It's better that you leave it like this, you shouldn't go overboard with the amount you do. These clones, as I already told you, spend more chakra than normal, so if you do more than your body allows you could die, said Naruto in a tone serious. Now I'm going, said Kiyomi, and then made the seal of the cross. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 2 Kiyomi clones appeared. Okay, now, we have to train our control of fire chakra. Each clone will take a leaf and try to set it on fire, understood? Yeah. All the Sasuke and Kiyomi clones nodded. Time skip. 10 hours. The 10 hours of training the Uchihas had been really satisfactory. After about 3 hours of training with the clones, they were already able to set the leaves on fire. They practiced that for another hour, and then they started practicing their taijutsu again. Sasuke and Kiyomi improved more and more. Even Naruto himself learned from their weaknesses by fighting against them. Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi were now going to the location of their new apartment. Naruto knew the address because the Hokage gave it to him. After a few minutes of walking they arrived at their new home. It was a simple apartment. Upon entering they could observe a room that seemed cozy. It had a few armchairs and a small table. It was a little spacious. It was simple but contained what was necessary, a kitchen, which strangely had a full refrigerator. The Hokage took care of that, Naruto thought. It had a bathroom and 4 rooms, 3 are bedrooms and 1 was empty. The 3 Uchihas quickly settled down, they would have to go get their belongings from the Uchiha neighborhood later. I ask for this room, said Kiyomi. I ask for this one, said Sasuke. Okay, well, I guess I'll take this one, said Naruto. Hey, what are we going to do with that one? Said the girl pointing to the empty room. Naruto looked at the empty room and had an idea. I ask for it, said Naruto. Okay, I guess, said Kiyomi. Time skip. 2 hours. The three Uchihas in these 2 hours arranged all their belongings in their new house. Naruto took the opportunity to collect the drawer where his mother's eyes were kept. Mini flashback. Naruto was in Shisui's room. It was somewhat nostalgic and very sad. It hadn't been that long since he died. He went to Shisui's bed and crouched down to see underneath it. The drawer was supposed to be there. At first it couldn't be seen, but Naruto didn't seem to care. Shisui had hidden it with a genjutsu. Naruto activated his Sharingan and whispered, "Kai, release." The genjutsu dissipated, showing a small drawer. Naruto took it out from under the bed and opened it, showing a scroll on which his mother's name was written. Naruto opened it and saw the seal that his mother's eyes were sealed in. "At least I have this part of you, Mom," Naruto thought sadly. And flashback. Naruto was walking through the streets of Konoha towards the Hokage's house, and he had told the brothers that he was going there and that he did not need them to accompany him. Thank goodness they had not taken it the wrong way. Finally he arrived at the Hokage's house. Apparently they were not interested in what was striking, since despite being the Hokage, he lived in a simple house. It was a little bigger than the others, however it was not a mansion. Gigantic. He approached the gate and knocked a few times. After a while the door began to open, showing a girl with 2 blonde pigtails that Naruto knew very well. "Oh, hello Naruto, how are you?" "Hello Myth, I'm fine, are your parents at home?" "Yes, they are there, why?" "I would like to talk to them." "I see, come." And Mito led Naruto towards the house. When they entered, Naruto could see the 4th Hokage, who was reading a newspaper. Lego could see Mito's brother, Menma, who was there. Well, Menma was simply sitting in an armchair. While the mythical mother, Kushina, was in the kitchen, from which a truly delicious and appetizing smell came out. Mito approached his father and told him that Naruto was waiting for him. Minato looked up from his newspaper to see a Naruto who greeted him with a slight bow. "Good afternoon, Hokage-sama." "Hello Naruto, come on, don't bow anymore, we're at my house and I was already waiting for you." Minato got up and led Naruto towards the kitchen, where Kushina was. "Kushi-chan," Minato called. "Kushi-chan?" Naruto thought. He never thought that the most feared person of the 5 elemental nations would say that. He just looked at him strangely. Minato felt Naruto's bewildered gaze on him and couldn't help but blush a little. Kushina heard her husband's call and turned to see that he was accompanied by one of her daughter's friends. "Oh, but it's one of Mito-chan's friends." Sorry, what was your name?" "My name is Uchiha Naruto." "Kushina-sama, I see, you are Itomi's son, right?" Yeah, how do you know?" "Mikoto and her were friends, plus I was friends with Mikoto, so we have seen each other a couple of times, and Itomi told me about you and Shisui." "I understand, I'm sorry for what you've had to go through," Kushina said with a sad look. "Don't worry, everything recovers slowly," said Naruto. "Well, the thing is that Naruto wanted to tell you something." Kushina. Minato interrupted. "Oh yeah? And what is it?" Kushina said. "Vera." "Kushina-sama, I remember I once told you not to treat me with so much respect, right?" "Okay, well, what I wanted to say is, could you teach me Fujitsu? Please?" Kushina remained a little silent at that question. Naruto began to worry about Kushina's silence. He even believed that she was not going to accept it. He looked towards Minato, who was not worried. Minato grabbed Naruto's shoulder and told him, "Calm down, he's just assimilating the emotion," he said calmly. Naruto was confused until he started to look at Kushina, whose eyes seemed to start to shine, and she clenched her fists as if she were excited. "Of course yes, Tebane," Kushina shouted excitedly. Naruto raised an eyebrow in confusion. "Tebane?" he asked himself. "It's a little verbal tic that she says when she's excited," Minato clarified. "Of course I will train you in Fuinjutsu," Kushina stressed. "Really? Just like that?" "Of course, look, there are not many people who are interested in this art, and I really like it. It was one of the best skills of my clan. There is almost no one who is interested in learning it, despite being a such great art, so the fact that you want to learn from it seems exciting to me. And that you ask me to teach you only excites me more." "Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much for accepting me as your apprentice, Kushina-san." It was one of the few times you could see emotion in Naruto. "Alright, let's start with your first lesson." "Wait, what? So fast? You still need to finish dinner and set the table." "Don't worry about that, Myth. Help me with dinner and set the table, okay?" "Of course mom," she said, Myth while making a cross-shaped hand seal. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 6 Myth clones appeared, 3 to help Kushina and 3 began to set the table. She can also make shadow clones, Naruto thought. After a few quick movements the table was completely served. Kushina was guiding Naruto towards a room. "Okay, Naruto," Kushina began, stopping in front of the door. "You are going to start learning Fuinjutsu. This is a very special art. Once you master this art, the only limit there will be is your imagination. But just as it is very powerful, you should know that it is just as dangerous. Any creation you make, you must abstain from the consequences that this brings, understand? Whether good or bad." Naruto nodded determinedly. Kushina opened the door in front of her, revealing some kind of library. I'm sorry to tell you that you cannot start making stamps without first having practiced your spelling. Spelling is too important a factor in stamps. If the stamps you make are misspelled, they will not work as you thought. What I will give you now are some books so you can learn about the easiest stamps and improve your spelling at the same time. Kushina took out a pen with an inkwell from a drawer, then she approached a shelf from which she took out 2 books. Naruto managed to read what their titles said. The first book said, Fuinjutsu for Beginners, and the second said Fuinjutsu Level 1. This book, he said, pointing to the book of Fuinjutsu for Beginners, it will help you understand more about Fuinjutsu, and at the same time it brings kanji spelling exercises. Don't worry, they won't be difficult at all. And this one, he said, pointing to Fuinjutsu Level 1, I will teach you the types of Level 1 seals and how to make them, just as the title says he. Well, the fact is that you will come every weekend and I will evaluate how you are doing, and by the way, I'll give you some advice, okay? Yes, Kushina-san, but I have a question. In total, how many levels of Fuinjutsu are there? There are 10 levels, each one is much more difficult than the last. I just hope you don't get discouraged. Don't worry, I will continue studying. I will reach level 10. The Fuinjutsu is too good to leave half done. You have no idea, Kushina said, smiling. By the way, Kushina-san, will you return to shinobi service? Of course, but I won't do it so soon. I want to enjoy time with my little children. I will return to shinobi service when they become genin. I may even be their jonin sensei, but I won't stop training. I will continue to be the most powerful kunoichi in the Databane village. So the whole tick is Databane, Naruto pressed with a smile. Well, thank you very much for your help, Kushina-san, he said, bowing. Don't worry, it was a pleasure, and remember to come on the weekends, okay? She said, rubbing Naruto's head. Sure, he replied simply. Kushina led Naruto towards the exit until a scream was heard. Hey you. A certain Ritid shouted. Naruto turned to see Menma, who looked irritated. Hello Menma, what do I need? You and I, let's have my revenge now. Menma. Her mother shouted, stop shouting, besides, what do you mean by revenge? Kushina turned to look at Naruto, who had a somewhat nervous face. Menma, how about we fight another day, okay? Not at all. You've been saying that all year, not this time. Naruto gave a sigh of resignation. Kushina remembered her children's first day of school. Menma was in a bad mood. He said it was because he had lost into jutsu with someone, but he didn't know it was Naruto himself. He turned his gaze to the black-haired boy, who motioned for her to come closer. She crouched down to his height. I promise I will finish this quickly and painlessly, Naruto whispered. Kushina nodded, somewhat worried. Naruto put his new belongings on the floor and stood in front of Menma, then motioned for her to come closer and whispered, come. Menma approached Naruto at high speed. He attempted a blow to his face, but Naruto easily dodged it. Naruto grabbed his arm and turned to charge Menma. Naruto used strength to lift Menma off the ground. He crouched down so that Menma passed over him. The rest was done by gravity. Menma hit the ground, however, his head was protected by Naruto's foot. I win, said the Uchiha. TSK, Menma whined. Naruto let go of Menma, gathered his things and said goodbye to Kushina with a bow. That boy is very good, he subdued Menma with a single movement, and to think that he wants to learn Fuinjutsu, I guess that will be interesting, Kushina thought. Time skip. 1 year. A year has passed since those events, since the massacre, a year since the awakening of Naruto's Manjikyu, a year since Naruto's promise, and well, you know, this year, Naruto would classify it as one of the most tiring, and here's why. In this year, Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi had to adapt to their new home and also learn to be independent, which meant learning to cook, wash their clothes, even manage money, and of course, learn to bargain. Author's note. In my country, haggling refers to negotiating with sellers. End note. Not only that, but Naruto began to exaggerate a little with his training and that of the boys. After all, he promised that he would become very strong to achieve his goal. Naruto began his training with physical conditioning, about 200 push-ups, 200 squats and 200 sit-ups at least. Every 2 days he increased 50 of each and went around the village a few times. Then he started with chakra training, practicing his control, and at the same time increasing his reserves, which, for some reason, were larger than the normal ones of a boy of his age. Then he began to practice his taijutsu, which was advancing rapidly again. He had everything planned. His taijutsu would be a combination of defensive and offensive. His offensive would be based on fast and strong movements, with great certainty, and that they would really seek to do damage to the pressure points of the body. With these he refers to the body's weak points, in addition to containing the splendid counterattack of the Uchiha interceptor style. His defense is to alternate between flexibility and rigidity, something really difficult, but he would not give up. His Fujutsu training was going great. His spelling had improved too much, and he was already able to create simple storage seals. He was able to seal kunai, shuriken and somewhat larger tools, such as swords and small armchairs. He is currently at level 3 of Fuinjutsu and is learning to make basic resistance seals. They were having a hard time, but once he achieves them, he will be able to advance to high resistance seals and even gravity seals, which were of the level 4 to 5 of Fuinjutsu. Sasuke and Kiyomi kept up with him in physical and chakra training. For some reason, Kiyomi was too good at managing her chakra, so much so that she was able to perfectly concentrate her chakra to increase her strength momentarily, however she was not an expert at that. Like a certain blonde Sannin, Sasuke seemed to have very good control with weapons. Kiyomi was striving to create her own style of taijutsu just like Naruto. She would take advantage of his superior flexibility to create a fast and how to put it dazzling style. And finally, they continued training their elemental affinities. They already controlled their fire affinity and lightning affinities very well. Even Naruto was able to complete his training with wind because now he could make more shadow clones. The Uchiha library had too many scrolls with fire jutsus, while Naruto could learn some wind jutsus thanks to Kushina. Because wind is a typical affinity of Uzumaki's, they were even the affinities of Menma and Mito, however, they had no one to help them. Showed lightning, but it didn't stop them from searching. However, there is something that Naruto wanted to try, regarding his eyes, well, his new eyes, and this time he wanted to do it secretly. Location unknown. Naruto was in a clearing in the forest completely alone. In the clearing there was a small lake. At 8 years old, Naruto was a few centimeters taller than boys his age. He was wearing a black high-necked shirt and grey shorts. Once he wore blue sandals. He was sitting on a rock, with a pensive position. He was thinking about his new eyes, about what they could do. The abilities of the Manjikyu, Amaterasu, Kamui, Susanoo, Tsukiyomi and Kotomatsukami. I wonder which one I will have. Let's see, let's analyze for a moment. It is very unlikely that I have the Kamui or the Kotomatsukami, even less likely that I will awaken them now. I guess I'm still too young to unlock the Susanoo if it's as strong as the rock says, and the truth is, I wouldn't want to have to deal with the Tsukiyomi now. Besides, I wouldn't have anyone to try it with. The only thing left to check is the Amaterasu. After all, the rock says that that is the most common ability. In the few Manjikyu users Naruto approached the lake, from which a rock protruded. Naruto took off his shirt and shoes. I guess a dip wouldn't hurt, he said and then went into it. Naruto looked at the rock and dove into the water. He could see that the rock was bigger than he thought. It reached a small elevation deep in the lake. This will do, he thought. Naruto came out of the lake and shook his head a little to get rid of the water. He looked carefully at the tip of the rock that stood out of the water. He closed his eyes and then opened them, showing the pattern of his Manjikyu Sharingan. I just hope this doesn't get out of control, he thought. Naruto looked carefully at the tip of the rock. In his head he imagined the rock being consumed by black flames. Unconsciously, he began to conduct a large amount of chakra towards his left eye, which began to glow. Naruto felt that his left eye began to glow. Burning incredibly, he wanted to stop, but it was too late. His left eye began to bleed. The key words came to his mind, and he unconsciously recited them. Amaterasu, Naruto whispered. Instantly, black flames began to consume the rock. They were so hot that the rock crumbled easily. Naruto could barely see how the rock began to melt until the flames reached the water. Naruto quickly submerged to see if the flames they would continue consuming the rock. Instantly I couldn't see anything until the black flames appeared again, consuming the rock even under the water. The flames will not go out until they completely consume their target. That phrase sounded in Naruto's head like a catchy song. The blood that was running from his eye began to be cleaned with the water. The flames advanced until there was no more left of the rock. Literally it had just been completely consumed. There was no left of it, not even small debris. He quickly rose to the surface and got out of the water. He felt so tired. It seemed like that the technique took away a large part of his chakra. Naruto was breathing heavily and his Manjikyu turned off. So this is the power of the Manjikyu, the power of the Uchiha clan. Time skip. 4 months. Naruto was returning from a special Fuinjutsu training this weekend. He had taken a little longer in the training, so much so that it was already too late. However, Kushina didn't mind much delaying a few more hours. The streets were somewhat lonely. It must have been due to the visit of some representatives of Kumagakure no Sado, village hidden in the clouds. Apparently they came to sign a supposed peace treaty between Konoha and them. Kushina did not trust them. They were greedy. They wanted bloodlines like bears love honey. For this reason, they had tried to kidnap Kushina when she was a child. However, Minato had saved her. It was so romantic. Words of Mito and Kushina. Naruto had taken a shortcut through the Hyuga clan complex. That would be faster to get to his house. It was a fairly quiet journey when suddenly, in Naruto's head, the peculiar tinkling of danger sounded. Naruto vaulted everywhere, spotting the slight movement of a shadow. Apparently it was an adult man. He could see that this man was carrying a sack that for some strange reason seemed to move. You didn't have to be a genius to deduce what was happening. They're kidnapping someone, Naruto thought. Naruto moved quickly behind the person following him. He was chasing them for a few moments. He knew that this would lead to nothing, so he had no choice but to get their attention. He took out an emergency kunai that he had in a small bag and threw it at the person in front of him. The person's instincts warned him that something was approaching at high speed and he narrowly avoided the kunai. It cut his cheek, making a small cut. He instinctively took out a kunai from a kunai's holder. A boy no more than 8 years old. "This has to be a joke," said the man. "Hey, let go of the person you're carrying in the bag," Naruto demanded. "Hey, you little bastard, who do you think you are? I only know that you are carrying a fellow leaf in that sack, so I order you to let him go." "Oh yeah, why don't you come and take it from me, kid? I guess I don't have a choice," Naruto thought as he approached the man in Taijutsu. His opponent had a headband that had a pair of clouds carved into it. "Wait, it's from Kumagakure, weren't they supposed to come to form a peace agreement?" Naruto launched himself against the Kumonin to start a fight. Even though Naruto was very good for his age, he was fighting against a jonin. This person had much more experience and strength than him, so his blows were easily countered. No matter how hard you tried, it was almost impossible to land a hit against someone who had much more experience than you. Naruto attempted a direct blow to the stomach, however, this was easily stopped by the Kumo ninja, who punched Naruto in the face and then kicked him in the stomach. Naruto actually felt that kick, he almost screamed in pain, he felt like something broke, he tried to move back, however the Kumonin gave another kick to his side which sent him flying. Naruto stepped back and took a few long breaths. "I should be more careful," he thought. "You really think that you, a child, can beat a jonin like me? You hardly even laugh, trust was never good," said Naruto. "As if that affects me now," the jonin mocked. Naruto approached the jonin who was waiting for him. Naruto felt the tinkling in his head again and he crouched down a little, narrowly avoiding the blow that was aimed at his face. He quickly directed a blow to the jonin's stomach which he barely missed. Dodge it, however Naruto swept the jonin's legs, which destabilized a little, but quickly recovered. The Kumonin attempted a kick that Naruto narrowly dodged and attempted a kick that the jonin blocked. The two they engaged in a taijutsu battle that the jonin was obviously winning, however, Naruto was not backing down. The Kumonin kicked Naruto back. "This is costing me a lot," Naruto thought. "I need to think of something. I need to save the person who is in the bag and warn the Hokage of the betrayal. There is no other option. I'm going to go all out," he said, closing his eyes and activating his Sharingan, 3 tomes spinning in a different pattern, in a somewhat more aggressive pattern, analyzing his opponent. "Oh, a Sharingan, it's a very good bloodline," thought the Kumonin. "The Raikage will be very proud of me if I manage to take him to Kumo." He gave a macabre smile. Naruto and the Kumonin threw themselves at each other starting a taijutsu battle. This time the battle was a little more even, because now Naruto was able to see his opponent's movements, he was even able to predict them, however, the same rule of the Sharingan applies to him, if your body is not able to follow the speed, what's the point of watching his movements? Naruto jumped back and passed through hand seals. Snake, ram, monkey, wild boar, tiger horse. Kaiten. Kikaku no Jutsu. A torrent of fire came out of Naruto's mouth, it transformed into a gigantic fireball, which headed towards the Kumonin, who was surprised, however, he did not allow himself to be intimidated and dodged the fireball, but a Naruto appeared. Behind him, he backhanded Naruto, who disappeared in a ball of smoke. A shadow clone, thought the Kumonin. Another Naruto appeared in front of the jonin, who began to fight with the jonin, another Naruto appeared next to the ninja, while another began to attack him from behind. What the hell? The ninja was distracted for a moment and received a blow to his stomach. The clones began to move the ninja away from the bag, to which Naruto approached him with a clone accompanying him. Naruto untied the knot that the bag had and opened it, showing one of Kiyomi's friends, Hinata Hyuga, who was there. Almost fainted. Hinata wake up," said Naruto. Hinata started to wake up when she saw a black-haired boy with very strange red eyes. The last thing she remembered was that she was in her room, then someone came in, and then everything turned black and then now she was here. She could barely recognize the boy in front of him. "Naruto-kun," Hinata said weakly. "Hinata, I need you to do me a favor." Hinata could see the bruises that Naruto had. "Naruto-kun, what happened to you? Did you?" "Hinata, I don't have much time, I need you to go to the Hokage Tower and announce the betrayal of Kumagakure and please ask for help, I will distract the understanding ninja a little more." Hinata turned to look elsewhere, she observed the 3 Naruto clones who were fighting against the jonin, who was beginning to dominate them abysmally. She quickly understood the situation and headed towards the Hokage Tower. Naruto watched as Hinata jumped from roof to roof and when he was at a safe distance, he turned to face the ninja again, who dispelled his 3 clones. "I have to admit, you're a very annoying brat." The ninja could see some marks from blows, however, he's walking more than that, plus he didn't look tired, this is the level of a jonin. "But the games are over, I'm going to defeat you and you will come to Kumo, so you can give us the Sharingan." Naruto once again engaged in a battle against the Kumonin, this time his blows were more accurate and faster, he could see them, but he was not able to block them, his body was not so fast, in addition, the kick he received still hurt. The ninja said. The lightning ninjas separated and passed through a series of seals. Naruto was able to follow them with his Sharingan Bore, Ram, Snake, Raiden, Jabasi, Lightning Element. Electromagnetic Assassination. The Kumo ninja extended his arms, and a very powerful wave of electricity came out towards Naruto. His Sharingan was able to see the jutsu, however his body took its toll when he tried to dodge it. He was able to move quickly, but a small lightning bolt was able to reach him, giving him a small shock that stunned him. The Kumo nin approached and hit his stomach. Naruto let out saliva from the blow, stepped back a little and took a breath. I have to stop it, I'm going to finish this. Naruto's Sharingan glowed as he traced hand seals. Bore, Ram, Snake, Raiden, Jabasi. Naruto extended his arms giving a discharge of electricity that was directed at full speed against the Jonin. A bolt of lightning was able to reach him, stunning him. Naruto repeated his action and hit the ninja's stomach with all his strength, who spat saliva. The Kumo nin recovered and tried to deliver a blow that Naruto dodged. A clone of Naruto appeared behind him. Jumped and kicked the ninja's upper back, sending him towards Naruto, who supported himself on the ground with his arms, pushed himself up and drove. Chakra towards his foot, making the kick on the ninja's chin stronger. The Kumo nin shot out of the ground somewhat. A third Naruto appeared in the air and gave an axe kick to the ninja's head, which fell into the ground. Naruto picked up a kunai and tried to stab the ninja, but he stopped. The ninja took advantage of that to get up and kick Naruto, sending him backwards. What is it, kid? Are you afraid of killing? And so you hope to become a shinobi? Hahaha, how pathetic. I don't know what to do, I've never killed before. The fact of taking the life of someone who is only following someone else's orders terrifies me, but if I don't do anything, it will be their life or mine. Do I use Amaterasu? No, I can't risk that, I have an idea, I just hope it works. The Kumo ninja ran towards Naruto with the intention of finishing this. Apparently he was very confident, a serious mistake. Naruto ran towards him, apparently slow, however, he had something in mind. Please make this work, Naruto recited in his mind with all his might. Shunshin no jutsu. Naruto disappeared in the blink of an eye. The Kumo nin only felt the sensation of something cold burying itself against his chest, right in the area of his heart. He looked down to see a kunai buried in it. He put on a face of complete terror, however, he felt increasingly weaker. He felt like he was short of breath until everything just went black. Naruto simply felt the shinobi's body fall to the ground, completely cold and lifeless. He crouched down and rested on his knees. He felt that his arms were hanging. He just stayed there with an expressionless look until tears began to fall. Silently, her hair covering her teary eyes. The first death can be a traumatic event even for an adult. Many shinobi have abandoned their career after their first death, but he had to be strong. He could only see the Hokage arrive with Hinata and Samanbas before fainting. 1 day later, location. Konoha Hospital. It smells like alcohol. Again Naruto opened his eyes little by little. He stood up slowly, getting used to the now characteristic light of the hospital. Naruto sat on the stretcher rubbing his eyes. He felt that the pain in his body had decreased, but it had not gone away, it was still there. I hear the noise of a door opening, from which 4 people entered. Kiyomi, Sasuke, Hinata and the Hokage. Kiyomi quickly approached Naruto and climbed onto the bed. Naruto-kun, are you okay? You could see the concern for miles. Naruto nodded. Kiyomi hugged him tightly. Don't scare me like that again, she whispered as a few small tears came out that never came since Naruto separated and wiped them away. Don't worry, sometimes you have to sacrifice yourself for others, he said looking at Hinata. Thank you very much for saving me at night, it's no big deal dude, you really faced a Jonin by yourself, said Sasuke. Naruto remembered the event yesterday, his first death, and immediately made a sad face. The Hokage noticed this and said. Children, could you leave me alone with Naruto? The 3 boys did not understand, but nodded and left the room. The Hokage approached Naruto who had a low look. I know you feel bad about last night. I feel terrible, it's just that I feel so guilty, because that ninja was only following the orders of his superiors, and I took away his life, the opportunity to see his loved ones again, I took away a part of a person's family. It is normal for you to feel this way, in fact, for you to feel this way shows that you are human, but you must understand that this is the life of shinobi, we train to kill, we do it to protect our own. If you had not intercepted that ninja, he would have taken Hinata, and if you hadn't killed him, he would have taken you, separating Sasuke and Kiyomi. Would you want either of those 2 things to happen? Naruto shook his head quickly. Well, I just want you to know that what you did yesterday was the right thing. You successfully stopped an enemy shinobi who tried to kidnap a clan heiress. I just need you to tell me the events. Naruto told a story about what happened last night, including how he defeated the shinobi. I must admit that you are very good for your age, too good to be true, but hey, remember that what you did may break some of your morale, but remember that you did it to protect a companion from the blade. Naruto just nodded. Become strong, Naruto, protect the ones you love, just like all our ancestors did. I see great things in you, just move forward without looking back. Well, sometimes yes, he said, taking something out of his pocket and leaving it on Naruto's bed. Naruto picked it up, it was an envelope. B rank mission fulfillment payment. Naruto's eyes widened a little, but then he smiled. This is the first step, the training of a true shinobi. Today I slept wonderfully. A serene and calm voice resonated in a room which looked like a bedroom. On the other side of the bed rested a chikudo, straight sword. On the other side there was a nightstand where a book with the title Fuinjutsu level 10 rested. Next to it were sheets with what seemed to be kanji engraved on it. The kanji were completely organized and written perfectly, it looked like a work of art. Further back there was a portrait with a photo of a woman with very fine features, with black eyes and long straight hair of a dark blue color, almost black. The woman was smiling while hugging two boys, a tall boy of approximately 13 years old. He had hair messy black. This boy had his hand resting on the other boy's head, who looked to be 5 years old, black eyes and black hair with blue tips. He had two strands that framed his face. His hair was a strange mix between messy and plain, but it looked good on him. The boy who was in bed stretched to push the sleep away from his body, letting out a slight yawn. A very good dream, the boy murmured again. He didn't seem to be more than 14 years old. The boy got up and went to the closet in his room. When he opened it he could see different combinations of clothes, high-necked shirts, short and long sleeves, black and white pants and bandages. On the side of the door, you could find kunai and shuriken hanging, there were a few of them. Naruto went to another closet that was next to it. Opening it, he could see a large amount of shurikens and kunai, ninja wires, smoke bombs and other tools. Everything is complete, said the boy. He closed the doors of his closets and prepared to tidy up the room when he stopped in front of the aforementioned painting. Nai-san, Oka-san, today I graduated from the academy. These 7 years have been very hard, you don't know how much I have trained, but I know that everything will be worth it. I hope you are watching me. The boy left the room to find a hallway which had more rooms which were closed. He started walking and stopped in front of a door which seemed normal. The boy put his hand on the door and suddenly, kanji started glowing all over the door. A click was heard, that was the signal he was waiting for. He turned the handle and entered the room. The room seemed to contain a desk next to a lamp. It had shelves with too many books. There were some shinobi tools around the room that were organized. There were other shelves that this time were filled with parchments with seals. The boy passed by the table which had quite a few inkwells and quills, along with scattered papers that had kanji engraved on them. The boy approached a shelf which had a very strange kunai. It had 3 points and seemed to have a series of kanji engraved on the handle. I'm not done with you yet, but I'm close, the boy murmured. The boy approached a kind of box which was closed. He put his hand in the box and kanji shined again. When they went out a click sounded and the boy opened the box showing a scroll. Apparently it's still in good condition, he said, looking at the parchment and then closing the box again. The boy went to the door of the room and left it. He approached the door again and closed it, leaving the room. He put his hand on the door and the kanji shone again. A click sounded, indicating that the room was closed again. The boy went to a room at the end of the hallway, which seemed to be the bathroom. He entered and began to brush his teeth while looking in the mirror. Today is the day, Naruto, today is the day, he said as he finished brushing his teeth and splashed water on his face. Naruto walked down the hallway again while knocking on the doors of 2 rooms. It's time to get up, he said out loud. The doors to the rooms opened to show 2 boys who seemed to be the same age as Naruto, specifically a boy and a girl. These were Sasuke and Kiyomi, who were also ready to start their day. Good morning, Sasuke, Kiyomi said with a smile, giving her brother a hug. Good morning, Kiyomi, Sasuke responded, reciprocating the hug. Kiyomi approached Naruto. Good morning, she said with the same smile and a small hug. She was still as sweet as ever. Naruto smiled. Good morning, he responded and returned the hug. You have to prepare, today is graduation day. It's true, well I'm coming, he said heading to the bathroom. Naruto made a half seal of the ram with his right hand. Instantly a shadow clone appeared next to him and headed to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. The original Naruto went to his room and sat on the bed. He hid his mouth behind his hands, which were crossed, and closed his eyes to remember everything that had happened in these 6 to 7 years. Flashback clarification of Naruto, Kiyomi and Sasuke's progress. These years have been the hardest, however for Naruto, it was completely worth it. After overcoming his slight depression due to his first death, he realized the level he must achieve to protect those he loves. He was aware that he was able to defeat the Kumo Jonin by pure luck because he trusted, in addition to that he did not want to kill him, since his main objective was to take him to Kumagakure so that he could produce a Uchiha offspring. If before Naruto seemed like he was exaggerating with his training, now he was torturing himself. Naruto began to train day and night. This helped him forget about the blood that rested on his hands due to his murder. His training in Taijutsu went extremely beyond what he had planned. Naruto towards the shadow clones that he could, and he ordered that they attack him in a group. Basically everyone against him, so that the clones could differentiate him. Naruto tied a red band to his forehead and began the fight. After that training, Naruto came out with too many bruises, and sometimes even he felt like something was really breaking. But his Senju blood did not let itself be intimidated, and it resisted as best it could. Naruto would be as good as new in 4 days. Those days he dedicated himself to training Fuinjutsu on his own, although of course, he was still going. With Kushina on the weekends, experience is a good source of learning. Because Naruto was now practicing Fuinjutsu alone, well, accompanied by a few dozen clones, he was beginning to advance in an amazing way. His physical conditioning consisted of strength and resistance exercises, basically the well-known exercises, squats, sit-ups, push-ups, etc. However, he was now concentrating on handling weights with his hands, such as lifting large rocks or logs that he found lying around. Sasuke and Kiyomi followed him. A year passed and Naruto was already 9 years old, and in that year he managed to reach level 6 of Fuinjutsu, a great advance, because he could now make resistance and gravity seals. It didn't take him long to learn to master them and adhere them to his body. The first time he put on gravity seals, he fell to the ground with no way to get up. Far from getting angry, he was happy because that proved that his seals were working. The gravity seals increased his weight, making every movement he made require more effort. Basically, the mere act of walking was already exercising his body, but the resistance seals, which had the function of restricting his movements, made Naruto have to make more efforts for everything he did. Kiyomi and Sasuke began to increase their training as well, as they did not want to be left behind, while Naruto advanced by leaps and bounds. Sasuke began to work physically with Naruto, they even almost always had friendly combats, so that each one could cover their weak points. Sasuke had the bad luck to be the test subject of Naruto's new Taijutsu style, and what can I say, it didn't work out nothing good for him. Naruto's style was really ruthless. He felt like his body was receiving blows without stopping in places where it hurt too much, and combined with Naruto's strength it was not pretty at all. Naruto made up for it by playing a little prank on Mito, because she almost always bothered Sasuke. Sasuke told Naruto his plan and he was saddened by Mito, but he owed it to Sasuke. Mini flashback in the flashback. Naruto was in front of the door of the myth house, it was noon, so it was almost time for lunch. Naruto looked to the back where he saw Sasuke at the back of a bush. Naruto gave Sasuke a somewhat worried look, but Sasuke just raised his right thumb as a sign that this would turn out okay. If she gets angry, I'm sorry to tell you that you will receive the punishment, Naruto thought. Naruto knocked on the door of the house waiting for someone to open the door, which luckily, was Mito herself. Hello Naruto, what brings you here? Mito asked with a smile. Oh Myth, I'm sorry about this, Naruto thought. Hello Myth, you see, I've noticed that your family goes to that restaurant called Ichiraku a lot, right? That's because. Well, I was wondering if you want to go eat some of that ramen with me, you know, to pass the time. Mito gave Naruto a somewhat inquisitive look, however, he was able to hide his true emotions, so Mito remained silent. Really? Yes. Wait and I'll ask my mother's permission. I can't believe that ramen is her weak point, Sasuke, you really fell low, Naruto thought, feeling sorry for the girl. Mito left the house with shinobi slippers and grabbed Naruto's hand to drag him towards the restaurant, while Sasuke followed them from a distance, jumping from roof to roof. Well, everything is going according to plan, the only thing missing is the final touch, Sasuke thought maliciously. While Mito was practically dragging Naruto to go to Ichiraku Ramen, he was preparing to execute the final phase of the plan. He had already gotten into this, so there was no other option. He promised Sasuke, and Naruto Uchiha keeps his promises. Naruto touched Mito's shoulder, and she turned to look at him. Mito swore she saw red eyes with 3 tomos staring at her. She shook her head to look again at Naruto, who seemed to have a confused face. Is something wrong with you, Myth? This and nothing, it's just that I thought I saw something, Naruto just shrugged. Maybe you shouldn't pay too much attention to him, Naruto advised. Mito continued taking Naruto towards the restaurant. Mito thought he heard crows cawing sometimes, but he didn't pay attention. When I arrived at Ichiraku Ramen, Mito got the worst surprise of all. The restaurant was closed in the middle of the day, and it seemed to be somewhat abandoned because the paint was starting to peel off. The paper that Mito picked up to read what it said was stuck to the wall of the restaurant. The Ichiraku Ramen restaurant has been closed. Currently this lot is in possession of the civil council to build a vegetarian food restaurant. This must be a joke, they couldn't have closed the restaurant for that. Naruto could see how Mito's mouth began to tremble as small tears began to appear. I can't believe it, they closed it to make a vegetarian restaurant, there is supposed to be one because they would want to make another one, he said as he knelt down and began to cry comically. Now I will never taste Ichiraku's delicious ramen again, the little blonde sobbed. Naruto was really getting uncomfortable. He couldn't continue seeing his friend like that, so he simply sighed and made half a ram seal. Mito opened her eyes to see how the image of the closed restaurant faded out of nowhere, showing the real restaurant which was open. She could see how the owner of the restaurant, Tucci, looked at her strangely with her daughter Am. It was not until that moment that she realized that she was surrounded by a lot of people who were looking at her strangely. The people around her were confused because she had started crying for the restaurant if it was in service. Mito-sama, are you okay? Asked a confused civilian. Mito noticed the looks directed at her and blushed with embarrassment. Everyone had seen her cry for nothing and she had thrown herself on the ground as if throwing a tantrum. He directed an annoyed look at Naruto who had a sad face. You did this, you put me in a genjutsu. Mito said extremely upset. Well, I did put you in a genjutsu, but it wasn't my idea. Then whose was it? Naruto and Mito looked towards a roof where laughter could be heard that turned into laughter. Naruto grabbed Mito's shoulder and Shunshin. Naruto and Mito were in front of a Sasuke who was clutching his stomach from laughing so much. I cannot stop laughing. Sasuke was literally wasting his breath in pure laughter. He could admit that his bones hurt like hell, but he wouldn't stop mocking. It was his revenge, and he would enjoy every second of it. Hey, you Sasuke, heard a voice calling him. Sasuke stopped his laughter to see an angry Mito, who looked at him with her arms crossed, and there were still a few small tears in her eyes. Sasuke watched her for a moment before falling back into a pit of laughter. I can't believe you cried because a restaurant closed, that's the most pathetic thing I've ever seen, Sasuke mocked. Hey, I think you should put him down, said Naruto, looking at the aura that Mito gave off. The bell in his head was ringing loudly, warning him that there was a lot of danger. Sasuke stopped laughing when he heard Naruto's words, then he noticed that Mito was too upset. I think I'm leaving, said Naruto, disappearing in his Shunshin. Sasuke not only felt the blows of Naruto's new Taijutsu, but also all the anger that an Uzumaki can give off. End of the flashback. In the flashback, Sasuke received a beating from Mito, but it was worth it in his own words, while Naruto had to pay for the bowls of ramen that Mito wanted, in compensation for the bad time he gave her. For now let's go with the progress of Kiyomi. His battle style was tested by Naruto, and it has to be said that he was a complete pain. Naruto's words, Kiyomi was very flexible for his age. His battle style was very fluid, so landing a hit was a difficult task even for Naruto. It was almost as if he danced while fighting. Naruto was able to land blows because his battle style is fast, but even so, for anyone else, it would be very difficult. Naruto began to help Sasuke create his own battle style, because this was motivated after seeing Kiyomi Naruto create his own styles. After Sasuke advanced a little in that aspect, Naruto began to add acrobatic movements to your battle style, this in order to give you more attack options. Now we move on to something important, his ninjutsu. The Uchiha library contained many scrolls of fire-style jutsu, because this is the main nature of the Uchiha clan, so it was not that difficult to find jutsu of this style. Naruto was instructed in the wind by Kushina. If before she was excited because Naruto wanted to learn Fuinjutsu, she almost exploded when she knew that Naruto and she had the same affinity for wind. Naruto trained his wind affinity with Kushina and her children, since Menma and Mito had the same affinity as their mother. When Naruto asked about the brothers' affinities, he was surprised that they have wind and water. Basically they counteract two of their affinities, which are fire, which is obviously neutralized by water, and lightning, which is neutralized by wind. He recognized that a battle against them would be difficult. The last affinity was missing, which he shared with Sasuke and Kiyomi, lightning. Naruto only knew one lightning jutsu, which was precisely the one he copied from the Kumo-nin on the day of the kidnapping. He taught that jutsu to the Uchiha brothers, however there was no more than that. But, Naruto was saved again by Kushina. When Naruto confessed to her about his lightning problem, she entered his house and returned with rolls of said element. When Naruto asked her how she had those jutsus, she said that Konoha stole them. In the middle of an attack on Kumagakure in the Third Ninja War, and she had some, she said this with a very smiling face, she really didn't like Kumo. Naruto took the lightning scrolls to the apartment and put them away to train another day. Now let's go to another really important topic. The Sharingan. Sasuke and Kiyomi Sharingan evolved into two tomos when they were 8 years old, approximately 1 year after the massacre. They evolved thanks to the training that Naruto gave them. This evolved into a mature Sharingan when they were 9 years old. Naruto taught them how to do Genjutsu with the Sharingan, since he was an apprentice of Itachi himself in this area, so he was very gifted in teaching them that. Sasuke and Kiyomi were good at Genjutsu, but not as good as Naruto. Itachi taught him too well. Itachi was able to do Genjutsu just by pointing at someone, which was a pretty big feat. Naruto could know a lot about Genjutsu, but it was too long to reach Itachi. Naruto got used to the feeling of his Manjutsu Sharingan. He had to do it, after all, if he ever needed it to protect the people he loved, he couldn't fail, just because his eyes hurt. And he had also told about his eyes to the Uchiha brothers, he trusted them to keep his secret. When Naruto turned 10, he began to be interested in Kenjutsu, sword art, like Sasuke. There were many Kenjutsu scrolls in the Konoha library, however, Kushina heard the news and wanted to teach Naruto. After all, the Uzumakas were not only good at Fuinjutsu, but also at Kenjutsu, they even had their own style. Naruto accepted, but this time he chose to be more self-taught, he couldn't depend too much on the red-haired woman. From there Naruto began to train in Kenjutsu. At first he trained with wooden swords, then he began to save some money to buy his own sword and also Sasuke's sword. Sasuke and Naruto leaned towards Shakudo, they seemed very versatile. Naruto discovered that he can infuse wind or lightning chakra into his tools in order to improve their effectiveness. Lightning increases the penetrating power of a weapon, while wind increases its edge, making it easier to cut things. At the age of 11, Naruto began to develop a jutsu that Itachi taught him, Bunshin Daibakuha, explosive clone, which, as its name says, consists of creating a shadow clone that explodes, which would take advantage of his ability to create many shadow clones. To make combos with this jutsu. And as a complement, the Shunshin, but not use it normally, but use it in battle, just like his brother did. Naruto's training with Shunshin consisted of using it repeatedly to get used to the speed and to be able to make movements while moving. Attacking with the Shunshin is a pretty good technique. Shisui was able to teleport over and over again in different places while moving. This gave the illusion that there were several copies of him, assimilating shadow clones, however they were not clones, either. They were afterimages, it was simply an illusion created by the continuous use of Shunshin. By doing this technique, consecutive attacks could be made from different areas or locations. Naruto called that technique Shunshin level 3. Level 2 will be explained later. Naruto turned 12 and finally reached level 9 of Fuinjutsu. Kushina said that she could no longer help him from level 7 of Fuinjutsu, so the Yondaime helped him, since he was level 9. Minato helped Naruto advance towards said level of Fuinjutsu. These seals already presented too high a difficulty, with this level you could already make chakra storage seals. Sealing trigrams and seals of giant things. With this level 1 was already able to create the seal of 8 trigrams, the seal with which the Kyuubi was sealed in Myth and Menma. This seal was the most qualified to seal tailed beasts. It consisted of 2 parts, the seal in yes, and the key to the seal. Naruto learned to make those types of seals. With the level he currently had, he was able to create chakra suppression seals, storage, trigram seals, super high gravity seals, specialized seals, resistant seals, super advanced storage scrolls, and almost any type of stamps. Day and night, Naruto studied the penultimate level of Fuinjutsu until he finally reached level 9. Minato gave him a test, and Naruto passed it without problems. As a reward for his success, Minato gave him a gift that would help Naruto decipher a really powerful technique. It was the technique for which Minato was known as the Yellow Lightning of Konoha, the Hiraishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God Jutsu. This jutsu was a work created by the second Hokage, Tobirama Senju, and this technique was improved by Minato. The Hiraishin is a space-time technique based on the principle of teleportation, although at first glance, it seems like a very high-speed movement. Speed, like the Shunshin, the Hiraishin is actually a jutsu capable of creating a space-time rift through which you teleport to a place previously marked by a seal originating from this technique, so basically, the Hiraishin is ridiculously faster than the Shunshin with this technique. Minato was able to kill a battalion of 1,000 men from Iwagakure no Sato, a village hidden among the rocks, in less than 15 seconds, which is why that village holds such a grudge against him. Minato gave Naruto one of his Hiraishin kunai. It was a 3-pronged kunai, which had a wider handle than normal, on which the Hiraishin seal was printed. Naruto asked Minato for a test of the Hiraishin, who demonstrated it to him with no problems. Naruto had Minato's 3-pronged kunai in his hands, while Minato was about 100 meters away from him, activating his Sharingan, hoping to even see a bit of Minato when using the jutsu. When Naruto prepared to try to see Minato, he was surprised to see that he was practically subdued on the ground. He had not finished preparing when Minato already had him subdued. Surprising was the only thing that could come out of his mouth. From that moment on, Naruto studied Hiraishin and, incidentally, studied the least studied branch of ninjutsu in the world, even less than Fuinjutsu, a mysterious branch known as Jikiken ninjutsu, space-time ninjutsu, a series of techniques capable of challenging space-time. One of those is the already known Hiraishin. However, studying that was not easy at all. He would wait until he was level 10 of Fujutsu, the last level he needed. Kushina and Minato told him that they could no longer help him and that they simply trusted him to be able to reach the end of level 10. Of Fuinjutsu, after all, Naruto was very intelligent. With everything on top, Naruto became a training machine. He had to improve his taijutsu style and improve his physical condition as much as he could, fill his arsenal of ninjutsu, and learn to do the techniques with the least amount of hand seals possible, learn to use Shunshin in battle, improve their jinjutsus, finish level 10 of Fuinjutsu. Decipher the Hiraishin and also make their own Shiki formula, since each Hiraishin user needs their own formula to teleport, practice their Kenjutsu, practice their sensation of danger, and also improve his sensor range, because he is one, he had to improve his Shuriken Jutsu techniques using ninja cables, train with Sasuke and Kiyomi, and incidentally, endure the academy. Although he sent shadow clones, except on days of Taijutsu practices, because if for some reason they managed to hit his clone, it would dissipate and they would discover that he was sending clones. Naruto had a hectic schedule, but after all, it will be worth it, he was sure of that. He only had to advance the last few years before graduating from the academy, at 14 years old. End of flashback progress clarifications. Naruto came out of his thoughts when he heard a voice at the door of his room. It was Sasuke who had a towel tied around his waist, indicating that he had just left the bathroom. "Hey, it's your turn to take a bath," he said while drying his head with another smaller towel. "I'll be right there," Naruto said as he got out of bed. Sasuke and Naruto had changed since they grew up. One of the things that stood out the most was the defined physique that they both possessed. The physical training had borne fruit, giving them a defined body, not very robust, although their abs and biceps were detailed. However, they did not brag about it. Naruto's height was 1.69 meters, 1 centimeter less than me at 15 years old, too big for his age, while Sasuke followed him with 1.65. The blue tone in Naruto's hair had extended a little beyond the tips, however it still maintained the shape it has had since childhood. The one on the cover of the story, Sasuke's hair also remained the same. Kiyomi had also changed, but she did change a lot. Naruto didn't know how Kiyomi made her skin look softer with each passing year. Her hair had grown, reaching just below her back. She was a few centimeters shorter than Naruto and Sasuke, approximately 1.63, at least she was taller than the girls in his class except for Mito. Kiyomi had grown to become a representation of what a kunoichi is, deadly, but also beautiful. She had evolved a lot since she was little, her body obviously reached development, and what can you say, it was a great development. Physical training, plus good nutrition and good care of her body, led her to have really soft and clean skin, almost like porcelain, a really enviable figure, well-defined curves and nothing exaggerated, it was a perfect balance. Between her skin and her shape, her breasts also developed, they were neither so small nor extremely large. You don't know how sad it makes me to write this, it was as if her body were a mathematical equation where everything was in balance. Its place, and in the end, you get a good result. Naruto was not one to show feelings such as love towards a girl in particular, however when he was with Kiyomi, and by chance he made her smile, Naruto felt his heart warm, something strange, because it doesn't happen with anyone else, he felt that I wanted him to smile all the time. Naruto left his thoughts and went into the bathroom to clean up, after all he couldn't waste any more time. After bathing he dressed in the clothes he would wear as a shinobi. It consisted of Anbu-style pants that had black bandages tied at the ankles. He put on a long-sleeved black shirt, like the one Jonin have under their vest, you know. Only black, on top of she put on a high-neck shirt with short sleeves that was dark blue, and finally she wore black shinobi sandals. Naruto placed a type of wristbands that contained storage seals, in them there were shurikens and kunai. The wristbands with seals were faster and more practical than the kunai bags, however, Naruto refrained from carrying a kunai holder on the right leg. Naruto covered his special wristbands with his long-sleeved shirt. He quickly went to the kitchen where Sasuke and Kiyomi were, who were having breakfast with the food that the clone prepared. After all, he had learned to cook. A simple breakfast, eggs, bacon and toast, however next to the main course was a small plate containing apple slices. Naruto sat at the table and said thanks for the food. Meanwhile Sasuke and Kiyomi got up from the table to wash their dishes, the two were already dressed for their day. Sasuke wore black Anbu pants with white bandages around his ankles, he had a black high-necked and short-sleeved t-shirt, he wore black wristbands, however, under these were special wristbands with seals that Naruto prepared him. Kiyomi was wearing tight shorts that reached to the middle of her thighs. This was under a skirt that reached a little above her knees. She was wearing a somewhat tight and sleeveless kunoichi shirt. She had gloves that reached up to the middle of her arms and left her fingers uncovered. Naruto adapted the wristbands to be bandages, which Kiyomi tied to her wrists. He finally wore blue shinobi sandals. "How was your night?" Naruto asked. "It was difficult to sleep because of the excitement," Kiyomi responded smiling. "It's true, I already want to win the exam," said Sasuke. "What arrogance," said Kiyomi. "I would call it confidence in my abilities, that's good," Naruto added. Naruto finished breakfast and washed his plate. After that, the three Uchihas left their apartment and headed towards the academy. Location: Konoha Ninja Academy. Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi were at their positions at the academy. Kiyomi was next to Mito, her best friend, they were talking calmly and letting out light laughs. Naruto was next to Sasuke and Shikamaru, while Choji was in front of them with a quiet Shino. Author's note: being quick with the descriptions. Everyone's clothes are the ones from the original program. The myth clothes are similar to Kushina's when she was genin. It was just dark blue and black stockings that reach up to her knees and blue sneakers. Menma's is orange pants with a shirt like the original protagonist's and gray pants and blue sneakers. End of note. The whole atmosphere was calm, the friends talking among themselves, the sweet giggles of Mito and Kiyomi, the jokes of Menma and Kiba among themselves, Sasuke and Naruto talking calmly with Shikamaru and eating the chips that Choji offered them, even Shino spoke a couple times. Everything was quiet until a pink blur entered the room. Sasuke shivered when he saw a pink-haired girl enter the room. "Sasuke-kun," the girl squealed. "Shit," Sasuke whispered. The pink-haired girl approached Sasuke and then started talking to him. "Hello, Sasuke-kun. How did you wake up? Hey, do you have anything to do this afternoon?" Naruto and Shikamaru looked at Sasuke's situation with some amusement. "Troublesome Sasuke, I guess you have bad luck today too," said Shikamaru. "I would worry about Naruto," said Sasuke, looking at the aforementioned. "Me what?" Naruto asked confused. Sasuke pointed behind Naruto. Naruto turned his head realizing that he was surrounded by many girls who looked at him with heartfelt eyes. "Hello Naruto-kun, how are you today? Are you hungry? Can you sit next to me?" "No. I want him to sit next to me." More questions and dreamy whispers escaped the group of girls behind Naruto. Great, Naruto sighed. After a while, Iruka-sensei entered the room and observed the bustle that was in the classroom. "Please guys, be quiet," Iruka called. The sensei could only watch as the three Uchihas and Mito turned to look at him. The other students continued talking, while the girls were murmuring behind Sasuke and Naruto. Iruka took a deep breath before doing his famous jutsu known to everyone, giant patented head jutsu. "Everyone be silent now," Iruka shouted, his head grew enormously. Immediately the entire class went to their positions and became quiet. Iruka looked pleased at this action. "Alright guys," Iruka began, "as you know today is Genin graduation day, so I'll get to the point. You are going to go through a series of tests which will qualify you to know if you will become Genin or no. These will consist of a knowledge test, which will be written, a shuriken and kunai throwing test, a taijutsu test, and finally an ninjutsu test, understood?" "Yes, sensei." The whole class shouted. "Very well, here my assistant Mitsuki will give you the written test. As soon as you receive the test you will start taking it. Good luck to everyone." After Mitsuki handed out all the exams, each of the students began to answer their exam. A few minutes later, Naruto left his exam, because he had already finished it. For him it was not difficult at all. He did not even have to make an effort. In fact, he asked himself, did he ever really make an effort at the academy? After that, Shikamaru finished the examination of him. Naruto knew that Shikamaru had delayed on purpose. In fact, he himself would admit that Shikamaru was smarter than him. He and the Nara boy had played some games of shogi, which was a strategy game similar to chess. Naruto already knew it made it difficult for him to beat Shikamaru. They have played approximately 110 games, 60 victories for Shikamaru, 50 for Naruto. After Sasuke and Kiyomi finished, after them the whole class finished. Mitsuki went through all the stalls collecting the exams to go grade them with Iruka. After about half an hour, Iruka went to the classroom to tell them to go to the kunai shooting yard. The entire class got up from their positions and headed towards the aforementioned area. "Very well students," Iruka called everyone's attention. "You are going to have to throw 20 kunai and 20 shuriken. To pass the test you have to hit at least 10 of each." The girls went first, and they were still pitiful. Some barely hit 6 kunai or shuriken. Naruto knew the reason for this. Generally fangirls care more about looking pretty for their precious boys. Naruto felt sorry for them. You're supposed to prepare for the shinobi world, not be the girlfriend of someone who tries not to pay attention to you. The only girls who really stood out were Hinata, who hit 17 kunai and 18 shurikens. Naruto granted it to Hinata. After all, he had already said it, her clan is based on pure taijutsu. The fact that she is so good at shuriken jutsu is admire. Mito hit 20 shurikens and 20 kunai, a perfect score for the ramen-loving blonde. Sakura, the pink-haired girl, hit 16 kunai and 15 shurikens, not bad at all. For a fangirl, Ino Yamanaka, another Sasuke and Naruto fangirl, however, she hit 17 kunai and 16 shurikens. Finally, Kiyomi, 20 in each weapon, as expected, the best student in the class, along with Mito. Then there were the men, who were still pitiful, just with a little more level. They tried to look great in front of Kiyomi and Mito, because they believed that they were the most beautiful and well, you know, how stupid it can be. A man in front of the girl he likes. The only notable ones were the clan heirs, Kiba Inyazuka, 18 shurikens, 16 kunaes, Shino Abiram, 18 kunaes, 17 shurikens, Choji Akimichi, 17 kunaes, 18 shurikens, Shikamaru Nara, 18 kunaes, 17 shurikens. Troublesome, the Nara muttered. Menma Uzumaki followed, 20 kunai, 19 shuriken, pretty good. Menma immediately put on an arrogant smile. Sasuke stepped forward and threw the kunai and shuriken, 20 out of 20 each, perfect score. Sasuke swore he heard a squeal and sighs from the crowd behind him. Naruto stepped forward and threw the kunai and shuriken 5 at a time, hitting all the targets, getting a perfect score. Alright students, it's time to go to the Taijutsu test, let's go to the combat zone. Iruka shouted. Summary of the battles. The results were what was expected from civilians, but at least they had increased their level since the first grade. Kiyomi had a tough battle against Hinata, who is already less shy than before, however Kiyomi obtained the victory, due to that she is faster, and was able to dodge Hinata's Juken, gentle fist, blows. Kiyomi reached the final match, which was against Myth, and it had to be admitted that it was a very good battle between the two best in the class in the Kunoichi area, but it ended in a draw, because the two left the ring. At the same time. Then came the men's battles, and as always, the heirs of the clan stood out resoundingly, except for Shikamaru and Shino. Shikamaru simply gave up, since it was his turn against Choji. At the time of starting the fight, he simply left the ring for on his own account. He said that it would be very problematic to fight, and he also did not want to face his friend. Shino lost against Kiba because the Aburam clan does not specialize in Taijutsu, while Kiba's was more versatile in that art. Menma also easily advanced through the mini-championship until he had to fight against Sasuke. It was a somewhat battle. Entertaining, however Sasuke won. Naruto faced Kiba, who did his best against the Uchiha, however, he failed due to the black-haired man's tenacity. So again, the final of the tournament is Sasuke versus Naruto. Naruto was once again in front of Sasuke. The two had half a ram seal, indicating that this is a battle between fellow Leaf Shinobi. I guess we have to face each other again, said Naruto, amused. Yes, this time I'm eager to graduate, I'll show you how much progress I've made, said Sasuke, challenging. Very good, but I hope you know that I have also advanced, prepare yourself. I'm always prepared, a shinobi never lets his guard down. What a good attitude. I guess we have to start. Iruka looked carefully at the two aspiring genin. Are you ready? I asked, pointing to Naruto. Always, whispered Naruto while doing a battle pose, legs apart, right in front of left, knees bent, left fist retracted towards the hip, while the right arm stretched forward with the palm facing outwards, is the pose of his own battle style. I call it certain fist, because he attacks weak points with great strength, speed and precision. Sasuke put himself in the pose of his own battle style. It was a kind of reverse version of Naruto's style, since it is based on the extreme counterattack, a series of defensive-offensive movements that seek to use the movements of his opponent to his advantage. Please patient fist, wait for the perfect moment to attack, that's why Sasuke used that name. And you are ready? Yes, Sasuke said as he nodded. Alright, then begin. Naruto and Sasuke wasted no time and attacked each other. After the fight, I do this because otherwise the chapter would be very long and I don't have much time. The battle of Sasuke versus Naruto had been the most entertaining for the spectators. Sasuke had improved in such a way that he was capable of giving Naruto problems, obviously. The two boys did not fight with everything, much less activated their Sharingan. In the end, the winner of the fight was Naruto. The Taijutsu section had ended up leaving Mito and Kiyomi as the winners in the women's field in a tie, while in the men's field, the winner was Naruto. Now all the students were heading towards the classroom to perform the ninjutsu test. Which was about performing the basic jutsus of the academy, something too easy. Naruto had learned them when he was only 6 years old because Shisui taught them to him. Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi sat at their positions waiting for their turn to come forward. After all, they were the last on the list. After a while, Kiyomi's name was heard and she came forward to take the test. After a moment, she returned with a dark blue Konoha hit I-8 wrapped around her neck like a small scarf. She looked very happy. She sat next to Naruto while Sasuke walked forward to take the test. After a while, Sasuke returned with Konoha's hit I-8 tied to his forehead. Like most shinobi had, the band was the same color as Kiyomi's. Uchiha Naruto was heard throughout the room. Naruto got up from his position and headed to the front to do the ninjutsu test. Upon arrival, he could see Iruka and Mitsuki who were sitting in some chairs. Iruka was holding a board in his hand, with a pen, surely writing down the students' scores. Alright Naruto, please do the Henge no Jutsu, transformation jutsu. Naruto was able to perform this jutsu without hand seals. He simply brought forth his chakra, and in an explosion of smoke, Shisui Uchiha was in the middle of the room was the same as the original. Iruka looked somewhat sad, after all Naruto still missed his brother. Very good Naruto, now do the Kawarini no Jutsu, substitution jutsu, with a log in the corner of the room. He said, pointing to a log that was leaning against the wall. Naruto was also able to perform this jutsu without seals, so he simply channeled his chakra again, and in another explosion of smoke, instead of Naruto was the log, while Naruto was in the place where the log was before. Alright, now do the Bunshin no Jutsu, Iruka said. Naruto thought a little and then performed a half-ram seal, making 2 shadow clones appear behind him. Wow. You can make shadow clones too. Iruka said surprised. Mito and Menma also made this type of clones. I guess it's okay, congratulations Naruto, you passed the tests and reviewing your points, you graduate as the Rookie of the Year. Iruka got up and went to a table which had a few Konoha hit I-8s, he stood in front of the table and picked up two, one black and one blue, then he went towards Naruto. Very good Naruto, choose the design you want. Naruto looked at the designs and chose the black hit I-8. Iruka smiled. I see, okay, you are officially a Konoha ninja, carry the leaf symbol with pride and protect our village. Naruto smiled as he looked at his ninja band, he simply tied it firmly on his forehead. He bowed and walked to his seat. Kiyomi and Sasuke watched with a smile as Naruto returned with a ninja band on his forehead. Well, I guess it's done now, said Sasuke. That's right, next week they will assign the teams, who do you think is our Jonin-sensei? We couldn't really know that, said Sasuke. Let's leave that for the other week, will you? How about when the academy ends, we go get some ramen at Ichiraku? Naruto felt something approaching at high speed until he saw a small blonde blur appear next to him. Did they say they're going to Ichiraku? Mito said, he had sneaked in among the Uchihas. Yeah sure, what's up, do you want to come? Kiyomi said. Sure, but I'm sure Menma will also want to see well, if you insist so much, little sister, Menma said, interrupting Mito. The boys leaving the academy to head towards Ichiraku's restaurant. Time skip. 1 week later. Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi were at the academy, they were waiting for Iruka to announce the teams. Team 7, Uchiha Naruto, Uchiha Kiyomi and Uchiha Sasuke, Jonin-sensei. Kakashi Haddock Naruto was now confused and happy because he was on a team with his lifelong friends, however, he was confused because of the team rules. The Genin of the Year was supposed to be with the Kunoichi of the Year, hence he is on the same team as Kiyomi, but myth where is he, in addition. Sasuke was the second best, the worst in the class was supposed to be on a team with the two best, but he had been with Sasuke, second best, that was strange, but I wouldn't question it. Team 8, Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburam, Kiba Inuzuka, Jonin-sensei, Yuhi Kurenai Hinata is from the Hyuga clan which has the Byakugan. The Byakugan is a bloodline class Dojutsu from the Hyuga clan of Konoha. This visual jutsu gives the wearer 360-degree vision, an ability to see through solid objects, a vision range of kilometers, and is capable of to see from long distances, and is capable of seeing a person's chakra network in great detail, being able to even see the tenketsus or pressure points of the chakra network. Hinata has the Byakugan, which gives her a very high range of vision. Kiba's Inuzuka clan has dogs with tracking abilities, even the Inuzukas themselves have an infallible sense of smell, and the Aburam clan is very good at following trails with their insects. Without a doubt Team 8 is a tracking team, thought Naruto. Team 9 is already on duty, so a little suspense huh? She thought again. Team 10, Yamanaka Ino, Akamichi, Chaoji, Nara Shikamaru, Jonin-sensei, Asuma Tsurutobi, the famous Ino Shikacho trio, A. Besides the fact that they are led by the son of the Sandaime, it is a very good team, after all their skills are very good when they get together again, he thought. Finally Team 11, Menma Uzumaki, Mito Uzumaki and Sakura Haruno, Jonin-sensei, Kushina Uzumaki. So Kushina-san did what she said, she returned to shinobi service. It was more than obvious that she would choose to train her two children. I don't know if Sakura will have any ability beyond incredible determination, seriously, how is it? Who doesn't realize that Sasuke doesn't want anything to do with her? He thought. Very well, students, my work of guiding you has reached this point, now you will be part of a team and carry out missions as Shinobi of the Leaf. Without further ado I will leave, wait for your senses to arrive, Iruka said. The minutes passed quickly as the different senses went through their teams, however, Kushina and Kakashi were taking longer than normal, much longer than normal. Almost 3 hours had passed, the sensei of Team 11 and 7 still had not arrived. Kiyomi was talking to Mito, while Sasuke was meditating, or basically deep in thought. Menma and Sakura were walking back and forth desperately. Naruto was reading the level 10 Fuinjutsu book. Every time you get closer, Naruto whispered while reading, every time you get closer to the end. Each one was involved in their activities and complaints, until suddenly the door opened abruptly showing Kushina in a standard Jonin uniform. She had her hair tied up in a really long ponytail with 2 strands framing her face. She was wearing from her ear to a silver-haired Jonin that rose defying gravity. The Jonin had a mask that covered half of his face, and his ninja band was tilted covering his left eye. He also wore the common Jonin uniform. The man had an orange cover book in his hand, from which he did not take his eyes off. It seemed that he did not even realize that he was being pulled by his ear. "Hi guys," said an elated Kushina, sorry for the arrival time, but this scarecrow wanted to be late again. This time she said it with a more annoyed tone. What is the reason why you wanted to be late?" Sasuke asked. "Don't say it," said Kushina. "I got lost on the path of life," were the only words that came out of Kakashi. "Why are you like this? I can't believe that." The real genin couldn't believe what they were seeing, a Kushina scolding a jonin as if he were a capricious child. "Anyway, guys, see you on the roof," said Kushina, and then left in a shunshin of swirling leaves. Naruto gave a nod to Sasuke and Kiyomi, the brothers vanished in fire, while Naruto's body began to flicker and then disappeared. Mito vanished into the wind, Menma followed him with the same shunshin. Sakura did not know this jutsu, so she walked up the stairs somewhat annoyed. Kushina and Kakashi watched impassively as their genin climbed to the roof with their respective shunshin. They know how to do shunshin no jutsu, it seems like everyone is somewhat skilled. Kakashi thought his thoughts were interrupted when a pink blur appeared on the roof door. Well, almost all of them, he thought. "Alright guys, it's time to introduce yourself to your team and your sensei. I know we already know each other, but I want to know more about you. Besides, it's Jonin sensei protocol. I'll start. My name is Kushina Uzumaki. I like ramen, spending time with my family, kinjutsu and fuinjutsu. I dislike perverts, a certain orange cover book." Kakashi put his book away quickly, "And I also dislike those who hurt my friends. Companions, my hobbies are training kinjutsu and spending time with my children, and I have already achieved my dreams for the future," he said with a smile. "Now that my team presents itself, first your myth," he said, pointing to the aforementioned. "My name is Mito Uzumaki Namikaze. I like spending time with my friends, training and Ichiraku ramen. I don't like those who think they are better than others, those who belittle women, and perverts. My hobbies are training with Oka-san and Oto-san, going out with my friends and the two emos Uchihas." Nice hint, Sasuke and Naruto thought. "My hobbies are training and learning to cook. My dream for the future is to become the Hokage and be the strongest kunoichi of all, and at the same time, start a family." She said the last thing with a cute blush. "Wow, that's a dream," Naruto thought. "Okay, now it's your turn, Menma. My name is Menma Uzumaki Namikaze. I like ramen, my family and training. My dislikes are weak people. The 3 minutes you have to wait for the ramen to be ready." And Naruto baka, "Idiot, actually I don't know what I've done, but up to this point I don't care," thought the aforementioned. "My hobbies are eating many types of ramen, going out with my friends and training. My dream for the future is more than simple, and I believe it will come true. I will be the strongest ninja in the world, the next shinobi no kami, god of the shinobi. Okay Menma, now your girl," he said, pointing at Sakura. "My name is Sakura Haruno. My likes, well, the person I like." She looked at Sasuke, well, blushing. "My hobbies." She looked at Sasuke and blushed a little more. "My oldest dream." He looked at Sasuke and let out a screech. "Ugh," everyone thought. "Bless you, ignorant," Sasuke thought, "and the things you dislike." "Nothing in particular." "Okay, Kakashi, it's time to introduce you to your team." "Okay, let's get to it," he said in a lazy voice. "My name is Kakashi Haddock. My likes, I don't think you're interested. My dislikes, either my hobbies they're too young to know about them, and my dream for the future I've never thought about that," he said in a bored tone. "Great, he only told us his name, and we already knew it," the three Uchihas thought. "Alright, it's your turn, black-haired girl." Kakashi pointed to Kiyomi. "My name is Kiyomi Uchiha. I like training, dangos, going out with my friends and being with Sasuke Nai and Naruto-kun. I don't like arrogant people, those who abandon their teammates, and perverts. My hobbies are training with my brother and Naruto-kun, and my dream is to become a very strong kunoichi, and know the truth about my brother, bring pride to the Uchiha clan and start a family." I play a little with his index fingers while he blushed. He didn't realize that he looked slightly at Naruto. Thank goodness he didn't notice. Kakashi nodded and pointed at Sasuke, indicating that it was his turn. "My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I like dangos, training, and spending time with Naruto and Kiyomi. I don't like arrogant people, those who don't make an effort, those who abandon their teammates and those who are prejudiced. My hobbies are training and spend time with my friends. My dream for the future is to find my brother, restore my clan and its pride." Kakashi nodded. "Apparently they don't keep the curse of hatred from the Uchihas. That's a good sign. The only thing missing is the other one. I've heard from Minato-sensei that he's the very talented one. I guess I'll try that," he thought. "Very good, just missing things." You pointed to Naruto. "My name is Naruto Uchiha. I like to train, spend time with Sasuke, Kiyomi and my friends, and I also like dangos and Ichiraku ramen." "I knew it," Myth whispered happily. "I don't like traitors, arrogant people, people who abandon their companions, prejudiced people, and I don't like them to hurt my friends. My hobbies are training, spending time with my loved ones and experimenting with Fuinjutsu. My dream is to find Itachi Uchiha, to ask him certain things, and become the strongest ninja of all." He still would not reveal his plan to obtain peace. "Alright guys, tomorrow we will take the test to pass A. Aren't we supposed to have already done a test? That's cheating." Sakura screeched. "Haha, you're wrong. In reality, of all those who have graduated, only 12 will become completely genin, even less," Kushina said, smiling. Menma and Sakura were surprised, the others too, but they managed to remain calm. Anyway, Team 11, I'll see you tomorrow at training camp 11, get ready for the test okay, I want you there at 9 in the morning. Kushina disappeared in a swirl of leaves, while Mito and Menma vanished into the wind. Hey Sasuke-kun, said Sakura, do you want to go on a date with me? I'm sorry, but you see I have things to do, he responded disinterestedly. Okay, next time will be, he said, leaving the place. Okay team, I want you at the training ground at 7 at 9 in the morning, by the way, I recommend that you don't eat, you might vomit he said giving an eye smile, and then disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Well I guess we'll have to get ready, said Kiyomi. That's right, but I wonder what the test is. Sasuke asked. Whatever it is, I guess it won't be easy, but let's not worry about that now, how about we go to lunch said Naruto the next day location. Training ground 7. Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi were at training ground 7, only some things had happened. First, Naruto woke up Kiyomi and Sasuke at 8:30 in the morning without any worry, they thought they were going to be late for the test, however Naruto told them to calm down while he prepared breakfast for them. Kiyomi replied to this but ate it anyway, because Naruto insisted too much, besides, he had prepared some dango Sasuke didn't resist either. Then Naruto told them that they would arrive at the training field at 10:50 am, he told them that they would arrive at that time, because according to what he saw the day before, Kakashi had the habit of arriving late everywhere, yesterday he was late 3 hours, so Naruto risked arriving 2 hours and 50 minutes late, leaving a 10-minute wait before Kakashi was supposed to arrive. The 10 minutes passed quickly and as Naruto expected, Kakashi had arrived 3 hours after the stipulated time. You were right he heard Sasuke whisper. Yes, apparently our sensei is a lover of being late, he whispered. Hello guys, sorry for being late, you know I crossed paths with a black cat and I had to go the long way Kakashi excused himself. Don't worry sensei, we're fine said Kiyomi smiling. Kakashi looked appraising his team. They're not tired and they look good for someone who hasn't had breakfast. Guys, you had breakfast right? I told you not to, he said with a stern look. Wrong sensei, you only recommended that we not have breakfast, but you didn't order us said Naruto cunningly. Kakashi gave a smile, it couldn't be seen behind the mask, however, he closed his eye in a curve, indicating that he was smiling, that's the eye smile. You're very clever, well, since we're here, I'm going to explain to you what the test is about, he said while taking out 2 bells tied to a rope from his pocket. The test consists of the following, you have to simply take these bells from me, whoever gets a bell passes the test, it's that simple, but sensei, there are only 2 bells, said Kiyomi. You are very observant, the person who does not get a bell will be returned to the academy. Kakashi watched as his students lost their composure a little, Kakashi tied the bells to a belt at his waist with some threads. Well, he said as he took out a small watch, you have until 12:30 to take the bells off, so. Kakashi stopped his talk as he watched Naruto lunge towards him at a decent speed. Naruto stretched out his fist which was stopped by Kakashi. Naruto attempted a side punch, but Kakashi jumped back to dodge Naruto's assault. The Jonin watched as Kiyomi pulled out a shuriken out of nowhere and threw it while making hand seals. Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu the girl shouted. Kakashi watched a little alarmed as the shuriken multiplied and turned into 24 sharp tools headed towards him. Kakashi quickly used a kawarini to replace himself with a log, the silver-haired man appeared on the other side of the training field. Kakashi's expert reflexes reacted by dodging an axe kick from Sasuke, who appeared in front of him. He quickly found himself involved in a taijutsu combat. Kakashi managed to land a blow on Sasuke, who backed away a little. He tried to land one more blow on Sasuke. The boy's face, however a hand stopped him, it was Naruto's hand, who finished deflecting his fist and tried a spinning kick which Kakashi blocked with relative ease. Kiyomi quickly joined the fight trying to hit the boy. Jonin who was finding himself cornered. Kakashi took a large leap back, watching his genin carefully. I didn't tell you to start attacking me, Kakashi said to the boys. In a real battle, you should not give your opponent time, use any opportunity to attack said Naruto. Interesting Kakashi thought. That's right, besides, you attacked really well, without forgetting the intention to kill me, what can I say about you I'm starting to like you said Kakashi smiling with his eye. Now let's start Naruto Sasuke and Kiyomi dispersed across the training field, disappearing from the Jonin sight. Well, at least they know how to hide well, he thought. Naruto was in the trees analyzing the one-eyed Jonin from a distance, who had begun to read his orange-covered book. There are only 2 bells, but why only 2? Kiyomi was behind a bush suppressing her chakra so they wouldn't find her. I don't understand, whoever doesn't get a bell goes back to the academy, but Sasuke was behind a tree, he was also thinking. Something is not right here, it is not possible for only 2 to pass the test after all, there has never been a genin team of 2 members and a Jonin sensei. Naruto thoughts. A team of 2 genin and a jonin would never be taken into account, furthermore, according to power standards, a genin would be incapable of defeating an experienced jonin like Kakashi, unless. He fought with someone at his side. That's it. Teamwork, the three Uchihas thought at the same time. Naruto quickly made half-ram seals. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, two clones of Naruto appeared and began searching for Kiyomi and Sasuke. Once the clones notified the brothers, she told them that they should make a plan to remove the bells from Kakashi. Kakashi meanwhile was quite calm, waiting for one of his students to attack. Suddenly, Kakashi had to dodge some shurikens and kunai that were heading towards him. He jumped back dodging the projectiles. Kiyomi suddenly appeared at his side and started a taijutsu battle. It was the first time that Kiyomi was going to use his own style of taijutsu against someone who is not Naruto or Sasuke. Kakashi encountered a little difficulty when trying to hit Kiyomi, however he could handle her without problems. He continued fighting until he managed to kick her in the stomach. Kiyomi was pushed back, however, she went through hand seals. Kaiten. Kakaku no Jutsu. Kiyomi spit out a torrent of flames that took the shape of a sphere. The fireball headed towards Kakashi, burning the ground a little in the process. The silver-haired Jonin jumped out of the range of the jutsu until he was intercepted by Sasuke, who involved him in another taijutsu battle, Kiyomi joining his brother. Kakashi was overwhelmed by the brothers, they had pretty good coordination, they just needed Naruto to appear. Kakashi blocked a direct kick from Kiyomi which sent him backwards. Sasuke took out 3 kunai from his wrist guards and threw them with deadly precision towards Kakashi. The Jonin jumped out of the trajectory and now Naruto appeared and began to fight with Kakashi. Kakashi was a little surprised to see Naruto's taijutsu style, it was very aggressive, however, when he tried to attack, he became so defensive, he was able to see slight details of the counter-attacking style of the Uchiha Interceptor Fist. Kakashi tried a blow to the face, Naruto tilted his head and let Kakashi's arm pass, the Uchiha tried a knee that was blocked by Kakashi's same knee. They continued in an addictive display of kicks and fists until Naruto managed to land a strong blow on the left side of Kakashi's trunk, which bent a little. Naruto bombarded Kakashi with punches and kicks which went to critical points on the body. Kakashi blocked the blows with very little difficulty, however, when he blocked the blows, he noticed the force with which they were directed, this led him to get a little serious, increasing the strength and speed of his blows and reflexes, making Naruto step back a bit. Naruto immediately felt a change of pace and became a little defensive. Kakashi punched Naruto in the stomach and then kicked Naruto's chin, which was propelled upwards. However, Naruto created a clone that grabbed the arm, spun around and pushed off and prepared a kick towards Kakashi, who put his arms in the shape of an X. Naruto's foot collided with Kakashi's arms. The force was such that Kakashi was pushed back a little, Kakashi under his arms to observe how different shurikens were heading towards him. The Jonin dodged them with experience. The launcher of the projectiles had been Kiyomi. When the shurikens were out of their path, Kiyomi moved the fingers of his hands, showing that he had ninja wires between his fingers which was tied to the shurikens, which made the tools return towards Kakashi. Kiyomi played with his fingers, making the shurikens surround Kakashi. This action caused the wires tied to the shurikens to tie the Jonin. Just at that moment Sasuke went through hand seals. Kaiten. Kakaku no Jutsu. Sasuke launched a fireball from his mouth which was heading dangerously towards Kakashi. From the Genin's view, the fireball hit its target, raising a curtain of smoke. After the smoke dispersed, a burned log was seen which was turning to ashes. Substitution, the young Uchihas thought. Kakashi appeared from behind a tree. They are very good, their teamwork is very strong, they managed to put me in trouble, that last move was very effective, this is becoming very interesting. Kakashi directed his gaze towards a trunk of a tree, he could see how some sphere-shaped holes were formed in it, at the moment he focused his gaze, he could see small bullets of air heading towards him, he quickly began to dodge. Gyuden. Shinkajoku. Wind style, vacuum sphere, Naruto said in his mind as he shot bullets of pressurized air from his mouth. Kakashi dodged the air projectiles with too much agility. It wasn't until one of his projectiles hit his arm, making a rather deep cut on his shoulder. I shouldn't let them get to me, they are extremely dangerous, he thought. After a moment Kakashi emerged from the forest with few injuries, just a small cut. You are the best students I have had so far, he said with a smile. But how about I get something serious, she said while taking a taijutsu stance. Sasuke launched himself into the attack with Naruto and Kiyomi backing him up. Sasuke attempted a direct hit, however, Kakashi dodged and delivered a strong blow to his stomach, a knee followed by a kick that sent Sasuke backwards. Kiyomi tried to hit, but Kakashi had now increased his speed, landing a series of somewhat strong blows. Naruto approached and began to attack Kakashi, who countered the attacks efficiently. However, Naruto did not retreat, Naruto began to move faster, without however, Kakashi easily kept up with him, now he had become more serious. Sasuke recovered from the blow and joined Naruto to counteract his sensei, Kiyomi was not far behind. I guess we have to finish this. I hope Kiyomi and Sasuke understand what I'm going to do. Let's overwhelm him as much as we can, then, we have to disconcert him so that he gets distracted, and I have the solution for that, finally. Snatch the bells. Naruto looked at the brothers and nodded to say that he has a plan. Naruto stepped back and created 10 shadow clones. Kakashi was a little surprised by the amount, but he did not let himself be overwhelmed and began to fight against the Naruto clones, which followed his pace. After Kakashi finished with the clones, he had to react quickly to what was coming. Sasuke and Naruto went through hand seals. Sasuke. Kaiten. Kakaku no Jutsu. Naruto. Futen. Tatapa. Sasuke launched a very large fireball from his mouth, while a large wave of wind came out of Naruto's mouth, fanning the flames of Sasuke's fireball. Kakashi stared unfazed at the great torrent of flames heading towards him, passing through hand seals. Doten. Doryuheki. A giant earth wall rose in front of Kakashi. The wall received the combined attack of Sasuke and Naruto and stopped it effectively, even though it was gradually wearing down. After the smoke from the collision between the wall and the attack dispersed, Kakashi had to react quickly to a series of seals that Kiyomi began to make. Kaiten. Hasenka no Jutsu. Kiyomi launched multiple smaller fireballs from his mouth, however they came at high speed and in greater quantity. Kakashi masterfully dodged the fire projectiles as he passed through hand seals. Kaiten. Kakaku. A large fireball of gigantic proportions was heading towards the genin. Naruto grabbed Sasuke and Kiyomi by the shoulders and Shunshin appeared on the other side of the field. It's time, Naruto thought. Shunshin. Kakashi could barely see Naruto's body blink before his instincts rose in alarm and he narrowly blocked Naruto's blow. Naruto blinked again and appeared behind Kakashi, kicking him in the back, sending him toward Sasuke, who made the seals as he threw his hand and threw another fireball directly at Kakashi, who stopped as best he could and jumped high, dodging the fireball. Kiyomi jumped to the same height as Kakashi and looked him in the eyes. Now Sasuke and Naruto thought. Kiyomi activated his Sharingan subtly and quickly. Kakashi was disconcerted and opened his only visible eye wide. At that moment Naruto took advantage of the distraction and activated his Sharingan in a hidden way and threw a kunai that cut the threads with which the bells were tied. He quickly deactivated his Sharingan while Sasuke grabbed the bells and threw them at Naruto. At that moment the alarm sounded indicating that the test was over. Kakashi and Kiyomi had already landed. The girl deactivated her Sharingan. What the hell was that? I got lost for a moment. Was that the Sharingan? Kakashi wondered in his mind. Looks like we won, Kakashi-sensei, said Kiyomi, pointing to Naruto, who had the bells. Kakashi opened his eye and then smiled with it. I see, but now, who are you going to give the other bell to? I ask. Naruto advanced towards Kiyomi and gave her a bell, then he went to Sasuke and gave him the other one. I guess we pass, plain and simple teamwork. Kakashi smiled. Well played, to be honest, you are the first team that I approve of. The other teams were full of selfishness and self-centeredness. It has been so long since shinobi were so respected and feared. Now you only care about learn ninjutsu or be genius, and they forget what the true goal of a shinobi is. Protect, they all said at the same time. Heh, that's what I mean, you are the best team I have seen so far. I am proud to be your new sensei, and as a first lesson I would like to tell you not to forget what you just did. Fight together to get one goal. Do not separate no matter how much the world asks you to, unless it is for the good of others in the shinobi world. Those who break the rules are scum, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than scum. I highlighted because this phrase is the best. Sasuke's, Kiyomi's, even Naruto's eyes began to shine. They were words that reached their hearts. By the way, Kiyomi, that was the Sharingan. You activated it for a moment to distract my mind. The fact that you have it makes me intuit that you two also have it, he said, pointing to Naruto and Sasuke. That's right, said Sasuke, who activated his 3-volume Sharingan. Naruto also activated his Sharingan. This team is more advanced than normal. They have good individual skills, and not to mention their teamwork, plus they have completely mature Sharingan. This will be interesting. Very well, I am pleased to report that we are officially the new Team 7, said Kakashi with a genuine smile. Yeah. Kiyomi shouted as he jumped. Sasuke and Naruto just smiled while sighing. How about we go eat some dangos? Kiyomi said as their mouths watered. It wouldn't be bad, said Sasuke. Does Kakashi-sensei want to come? I would love to, but I can't. I have to report the success of my team with the Hokage. It will be another day. By the way, tomorrow I want you at 8 o'clock at the Hokage Tower for our first mission. Understood. See you at 11 o'clock, Sasuke said. Goodbye. Well, how about we go now? You guys come forward, I have to see someone, said Naruto. Okay, see you at the Dango stand. Okay, location. Konoha Cemetery. Naruto was in the Konoha Cemetery. He had a bouquet of flowers in his hand and was looking for some specific graves. He quickly arrived in front of 3 tombstones. They were the tombs built in honor of his family. Shisui Uchiha Shunshin no Shisui. Itomi Uchiha Lady of Fire. Tenshiro Senju. Hello, Oka-san, Odo-san, Nai-san, sorry for not having visited you, but I'm busy with level 10 of Fuinjutsu, it's too tedious, but I'm finally completing it, I've been in it for almost 3 years. Anyway, today I finally did the team test, together with Sasuke and Kiyomi, we did very well, in the end our sensei is the ninja who copies, Kakashi Haddock, he is a good teacher and is very skilled, I can't wait for our first mission, change the flowers that were on the grave. I hope you are watching me wherever you are, I hope you are wishing me good luck, I have finally started my shinobi path, I can't wait to see what my path holds for me, I love you very much, and I miss you more than anything, Shisui, please don't bother my Oka-san in heaven, Naruto bowed before the graves of his family, and began to leave, today I'm hungry for dango. It's not in the commercial district Sasuke speaking, he is not at the Hyuga complex Kakashi speaking, he is not on the roofs, Kiyomi speaking, I don't see him around the walls, Naruto speaking I think I found it, it's among the branches of the park, we're going over there. Naruto was in front of a tree, on a branch of it rested a ball of brown fur, it was a cat of that color, it had a small red bow on one of its ears, the cat seemed to be asleep, without however, Naruto knew that the condemned man was aware of his presence. The Uchiha felt 3 presences approaching. Naruto's sensor abilities had increased over the years. At his side, 3 figures appeared, a tall man with silver hair and 2 kids his age with black hair, a boy and a girl. We finally found it, said Kiyomi. Why do we have to do this, Sasuke whispered. The 2 brothers could be seen with some scratches, apparently they were from the cat. Very good Naruto, we just need to catch him, Naruto nodded and carefully approached the cat, said cat was the pet of a lady called Shijimi, its name was Tora and it was known as the demon cat, it almost always escaped from its owner and wandered the streets of Konoha, this was because his mistress hugged him so tightly that it took the wind out of him. So he took advantage of every opportunity he had to escape from her. Now it's time for Tora to market, Sasuke whispered to Kiyomi who nodded. They had been attacked by the cat, that animal really looked like a demon. Naruto approached the cat and in an explosion of speed appeared in front of him, the cat was impressed to see how the black-haired boy with blue tips suddenly appeared, he tried to escape, but he felt a hand placed on his neck just behind him. His ears and began to caress him, it was the most pleasant and beautiful sensation that Tora had ever felt, he quickly relaxed his posture and let the boy caress him gently. I give up, Naruto is officially a cunning bastard, said Sasuke as he turned around and started walking. Kiyomi just shook her head and waited for Naruto to come down, Kakashi just smiled with his eye and gave a thumbs up. The cat climbed into Naruto's arms as he came down from the tree. Mission accomplished said Naruto with a smile. Well done, it's time to report the success of the mission to the Hokage. And Sasuke? Asked. Kakashi and Kiyomi pointed back to where Sasuke was standing with his back to them with his hands in his pockets. He's a little upset because Tora scratched him too much and you don't have any wounds. What a crybaby, Naruto said in a funny tone. Listen to that, said Sasuke. Very well, we have to report the mission to the Hokage location. Hokage Tower, Konohagakure no Sado. In the Hokage's office the Yondaime was surrounded by some paperwork, while in front of him was a plump woman with black hair tied in a royal hairstyle, with a kimono of a color that didn't really matter. The woman seemed to be waiting impatiently, her gaze was directed towards the door when she saw the handle turn and make a small noise, when it opened completely, Sasuke, Kiyomi and Kakashi entered along with a Naruto with Tora in his arms. Oh, there's my Tora, said the woman, snatching the cat from Naruto's arms. My bull, the woman cooed as she hugged the cat very tightly, which was trying to escape from the woman. Naruto looked at the small animal with compassion and approached the woman. If you'll excuse me, miss, do you know why Tora runs away? Not really, said the woman. Vera what? I have seen about Tora is that he likes tranquility and soft, slow movements, so you should stop hugging him that tightly. Naruto grabbed the woman's hand. Look, place your hand here, behind your ear. The woman began to gently caress the cat's ear, which felt the change in rhythm and snuggled against the woman, who continued caressing. The cat let out a purr. Oh, he purred, I'd never heard him purr before, said the woman. It seems that the problem of Tora is completely resolved, Minato said. Thank you very much, Shinobi-san, said the woman, leaving the room. No problem, very well Team 7, apparently another D rank mission solved, you have already done enough missions today, how about you go to rest, come back tomorrow for more missions, the Hokage spoke. See you tomorrow, Hokage-sama, said the 3 little Uchihas, and then left the room. How do you see them, Kakashi? The Hokage asked. Kakashi took his eyes off his orange book and looked at his leader with a smile. They are more than ready, that's good, I guess tomorrow I'll give them their first C rank mission. As a matter of fact, some teams will also come to receive their first mission, so you'll have to wait until noon. It is no problem, you may very well withdraw. The next day. Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi were at the entrance to the Hokage Tower, waiting for their sensei who was arriving late again. Kakashi-sensei is hopeless, Kiyomi complained. There are times when I think if he really is an experienced jonin, I wonder why he is so famous. You could be more patient, said Naruto speaking to demonstrate, Sasuke said as he looked at Naruto's eyebrow, which moved to show that he was a little irritated. In front of them an explosion of smoke appeared from which Kakashi emerged. Hello team, sorry for the delay, but you know I was helping a grandmother carry her shopping and she lived on the other side of the village. Oh, how generous, said Kiyomi. Yes, I know, how about we go for our first C-rank mission? The Uchiha's faces glowed with excitement. Team 7 arrived at the Hokage's office. Kakashi knocked on the door. Come in, the village leader's voice rang through the door. Oh, Team 7, I see you are ready for your first C-rank mission. The three Uchihas nodded. Alright, let's see what we have here. Minato stopped his review when a carrier pigeon appeared at his window. It had a scroll in its beak. Minato sharpened his gaze and picked up the scroll. Team 7 watched expectantly as Minato's brow furrowed as he read the scroll. Team 7, this is somewhat sudden, but I need you for an important mission. You see, a few hours ago I sent Team 11 on a rank C mission. It consisted of taking a bridge builder to the country of the Hello. It was a relatively simple mission, however, Kushina informs me that the client lied about the parameters of the mission. They realized this because halfway there they were attacked by the demon brothers of Kurigakure. Gozu and Mezu, Myth, Menma and Kushina were able to hold them back easily. Later they refused to continue with the mission, but they have learned the truth. It turns out that the country of the waves is in a really worrying financial crisis. This is because the country it has been controlled by a man who calls himself Gato-led. We explain, the country of waves is an island, so its economy depends on the export of products. Likewise, they depend on imports. Gato took over of this country, since he is a tycoon, easily one of the richest people on the elemental continent. He basically acquired the country of waves and restricted it from the countries outside it. Isolated all exits and practically took over all the riches of the country. That is why Mr. Tazuna, the client, went to Konoha's services to protect him from some bandits, while he returned to his country to finish a bridge that he is building. This bridge will connect the country of waves with the continent, which will give you the possibility of exporting and importing products again. All the members of Team 7 listened carefully to the words of the Yondaime Hokage. As you might think, this bridge is a great threat to Gato's monopoly. According to what Kushina says in the letter, Gato knows this and plans to send mercenaries, and the attack by the demon brothers makes us think that he is also capable of to hire renegade shinobi to fulfill their objective kill. Azuna I see, and since the country of waves is in an economic crisis, they do not have enough resources to pay for a mission of higher rank than a C. Kakashi sensed. That's right, maybe that's why Tazuna-san lied about the mission. Kushina asked for reinforcements because it's possible that Gato sent more renegade ninjas. They can even be very powerful. She's scared of having to fight against one while protecting the genin, continued the Hokage. Very well sensei, we will take the mission. Listen to me Team 7, I want you to gather your objects and